delicious. The meat is so tender. Li Menjiao savored the delicious food in her mouth, while looking up at Lin Xuan with a happy face. Lin Xuan looked at Li Menjiao's happy expression with a doting look. Let your husband have a taste. Li Menjiao brought her own piece of grilled lamb chop, which had a bite taken out of it, to Lin Xuan's mouth. She knew her husband liked to eat what she had eaten. Lin Xuan ate it in one bite and said with a smile, "My wife's is still the best." Shameless. Li Menjiao rolled her eyes at Lin Xuan, but a smile remained on her lips. Then she lowered her head and continued to enjoy the food. When Li Menjiao looked up again, she saw Lin Xuan's malicious eyes. "What do you want to do? You're eating." "I want to eat more." Before he finished speaking, Lin Xuan slowly approached Li Menjiao with a wicked smile, pressed his body against her, and stretched out a strong arm to gently embrace her slender waist, while with the other hand he gently lifted her delicate chin, and then kissed her affectionately. Li Menjiao stared blankly at her husband's face, then slowly opened her mouth. The two of them stayed together for a long time before continuing to finish their dinner. After dinner, Li Menjiao first made 2 cups of hot milk coffee. Then she brought the coffee to the living room, walked to Lin Xuan and handed one of the cups to him. At this time, Lin Xuan had already been leaning lazily on the sofa. Seeing Li Menjiao coming over, he quickly waved at her with a warm smile on his face. "Sit in my arms, the movie is about to start." Li Menjiao took light steps and slowly sat in Lin Xuan's broad arms. She held the coffee cup tightly in both hands and took a sip gently. "The coffee is hot, but my husband's arms are warmer." Lin Xuan took the opportunity to put his arms around Li Menjiao's slender waist, allowing her to lean on him more comfortably. Then the two of them turned their eyes to the TV screen together, just like a year ago, full of warmth. A few days later, Lin Xuan came back from Xuanmeng Company and received a voice message from Li Menjiao on the way. "Honey, when you go back later, please pick up the package at the door. I will be there later. Kiss my wife." Lin Xuan also sent a voice message. "No kiss Tilda." Li Menjiao's coquettish voice came from the phone. These 2 short words seemed to contain full of love, making Lin Xuan smile knowingly. Not long after, he returned to Haitian Yijing. Then I saw a dozen small express boxes piled together. Lin Xuan moved them into the villa one by one. I just lay down on the sofa and prepared to take a rest when I suddenly heard a familiar voice. "Honey, I'm back, Tilda." Li Menjiao came to Lin Xuan with a smile on her face, leaned over and kissed him. Lin Xuan felt his wife's kiss, a happy smile on his face. "The kiss is late, but it's here." "Okay, come with me to open the package," Li Menjiao said gently. Then she pulled Lin Xuan up from the sofa and stuffed him a package and a pair of scissors. Lin Xuan picked up the scissors and began to open the express package. "Have we got all the materials we bought?" "Well, everyone is here. Let's start preparing for the baby's first birthday gift tonight," Li Menjiao said with a smile. In a short while, all the express parcels, big and small, were opened. The living room is filled with various materials for decorating the first birthday gift. Then Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao blew balloons together, made a background wall, and posted photos. Later, Zhang Xuelin and Wang Shifeng also came over to help. At this time, Dabo and Zaya Aba were lying next to Yaoyu, reaching out to grab its furry little tail with great interest. Time passed quietly, and in the blink of an eye it was the next morning. The soft and warm morning light of winter gently falls on the charming coastline. At the same time, this ray of sunlight also shines through the window, quietly illuminating the living room in the Haitian Yijing villa. At this time, a bright red background wall appeared in the living room. In the very center of this background wall, there is a huge golden 3-dimensional 1-shaped letter, shining with bright light. Surrounding this eye-catching number, the entire wall is covered with photos of cute babies. There is the wrinkled face of the baby when he is just born, the surprising moment when he learns to roll over for the first time, and the heartwarming photos with his parents. These are photos of Dabo and Zaya Aba from birth to 1 year old. A large red carpet is laid on the ground below the background wall, with many red and gold balloons carefully arranged around the carpet. They float high or low in the air, and there are 2 beautifully shaped cartoon dragons and phoenixes placed on both sides. Chapter 429, The Overbearing President and the Pianist. When all preparations are complete, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao, each holding the lovely Dabo and Zaya Abo in their arms, walked down the stairs slowly step by step. Only 2 bang sounds were heard. Lin Sissy and Lin Zhengguo waited on both sides of the stairs and set off colorful firecrackers at the right time. Countless colorful flowers fluttered down like flowers scattered from heaven. Dabo stared with his big round eyes, looking around curiously. Zaya Aba was completely attracted by the dazzling colors in front of him. He waved his chubby little hands excitedly and laughed happily from time to time. Today, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao only invited family members to hold the first birthday ceremony. They carried the babies through the living room and finally arrived at the event site, which had been carefully decorated yesterday. On the red background wall, put the babies down gently. Mom Tilda, Xiaobao cried in a baby voice, and walked unsteadily towards Li Menjiao with his short legs, obviously still wanting a hug from his mother. Seeing this, Li Menjiao quickly squatted down, gently touched Xiaobao's head and said, "Sit still and don't act naughty later." Xiaobao nodded obediently. Then Zhang Xuelin hosted the one-year-old ceremony, while Lin Sissy held the camera and acted as a photographer seriously. Now, let's officially start the one-year anniversary celebration for this lovely couple, Lin Shikin and Lin Shui. Please ask the parents of our babies to come on stage and start the first process, washing their hands. The so-called hand washing means 2 small bowls filled with green onions, apples, and white rice. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao held Dabao and Xiaobao respectively and put their chubby little hands into wash. The babies seemed to find this very interesting and actually started playing with the water happily. Their innocent laughter echoed throughout the venue. There is a series of processes that follow. First comes the rolling disaster, which means to drive away disasters. Then comes the crown and clothes, which symbolizes the new life starting a new journey of life. And then comes the wearing of gold, which means to wish the babies a life of wealth and peace. When it comes to the Zhuozhu ceremony, a series of Zhuozhu items are placed on the red carpet. There are books, abacus, seals, small musical instruments, etc. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao placed the babies on the carpet. "Kids, go grab what you like," Lin Xuan encouraged gently. As soon as she finished speaking, Dabao Lin Shikin couldn't wait to stand up from the ground. She took unsteady steps and staggered forward like a little penguin that had just learned to walk. Soon, her attention was attracted by the many novel objects in front of her, but she walked straight towards the exquisite seal without hesitation. She grabbed the seal without hesitation, held it in her arms, and smiled happily. The seal represents power. It seems that our Dabao will be a domineering female president in the future, Zhang Xuelin said with a loving smile on her face. At this time, Li Menjiao noticed that Xiaobao was still standing there blankly, unwilling to move. "Xiaobao, hurry up, look, your sister has got the things she likes." Then she gently pushed Xiaobao's back with her hand. Xiaobao then slowly stood up from the ground and took shaky steps forward. He blinked his big watery eyes, looked around at the items for the special occasion curiously, and was at a loss for a moment. "Dear grandson, take what you like." Lin Zhengguo on the side also smiled and encouraged. Xiaobao looked around with his big round eyes again. Finally, his eyes were attracted by a small and exquisite musical instrument, so he walked towards that direction with a staggering step. Just as Xiaobao was about to squat down to pick up the small musical instrument, suddenly, his big eyes rolled around. It's like discovering something new and novel. Xiaobao immediately stopped bending over, stretched out his legs, and started walking towards a corner of the living room. Everyone is curious about what Xiaobao is interested in. Xiaobao staggered halfway and accidentally fell to the ground. Fortunately, there was a soft carpet. He is just 1 year old and still cannot walk independently for long. Xiaobao used his hands and feet to crawl towards the beautiful piano in the living room. Seeing this scene, Li Menjiao, who was standing aside, couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise, "Could it be that?" At this time, Xiaobao finally crawled to the foot of the piano. He hugged the piano seat, raised his head. A bright and innocent smile spread on his face, and he stared at the huge and mysterious instrument in front of him with joy. Lin Xuan showed a gratified smile and said softly, "It seems that our little treasure wants to become a pianist when he grows up." He could already imagine that one day in the future, his son would sit upright in front of the piano, gracefully playing moving music. After the performance, thunderous applause broke out from the audience, and the scene lasted for a long time. After the one-year-old ceremony, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao returned to the kitchen to make one-year-old birthday cakes for the babies, as well as a sumptuous lunch at noon. After a busy time, the delicious meal and exquisite birthday cake were ready. At noon, Li Menjiao gave Dabao and Xiaobao a small bite of birthday cake respectively, and her big eyes lit up instantly. The delicate texture and sweet taste are like discovering a new world. I stretched out my hands to show that I want more. Seeing this, Li Menjiao smiled gently and said, "My dears, you can only eat a little bit now. 1-year-old babies can eat some cake in moderation, but they still need to control their intake. However, Dabao and Xiaobao don't care about this. What if you can't eat what you want? Then cry." Dabao and Xiaobao started crying at the same time. In the end, Li Menjiao held them and coaxed them for a long time, stuffing their little mouths with delicious potato and beef risotto, and they finally calmed down. When it was night, Lin Xuan finished taking a shower, lay down on the bed, and gently hugged Li Menjiao from behind while she was playing with her mobile phone. Fragrant and soft, he leaned against his wife's shoulders and took a deep breath. "Honey, what are you looking at?" "I'm looking at the photos the babies took today. Sissy took really great photos." Li Menjiao turned around when she heard the voice, a happy smile on her face. As she spoke, she handed the phone in her hand to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan took the phone, and his eyes fell on the lovely photos on the screen. The babies are innocent, lively, and cute, and every photo captures their most innocent moments. And of course, there are photos of babies crying because they can't have cake. Chapter 430, 100 million. "It really looks good," Lin Xuan said with a smile. "Yeah, I didn't expect our child to be 1 year old so soon. Time flies." Li Menjiao put her cell phone aside and snuggled into Lin Xuan's arms. "Yeah, you're growing taller all the time," Lin Xuan said gently. Lin Xuan felt his wife's dependence on him, and his arms tightened unconsciously, holding her tightly in his arms. "Husband, look, today Dabao grabbed the seal and Xiaobao grabbed the piano. Will they become a domineering president and a pianist respectively in the future?" Li Menjiao raised her head excitedly and looked at Lin Xuan with shining eyes. "Ha ha ha, the 1 year old celebration is just one of our traditional rituals. As for what kind of careers the children will pursue in the future, the key depends on their own interests and growth experiences in the future," Lin Xuan said cheerfully. "Okay, Tilda," Li Menjiao nodded and continued to press her little face against Lin Xuan's chest. "However, if Dabo and Xiaobo want, I can also train them from a young age," Lin Xuan said gently, touching Li Menjiao's hair. "Then will the babies have a happy childhood?" Li Menjiao asked. "Well, half of their childhood will be spent studying and training hard. After all, if you want to achieve extraordinary success in the future, you always have to pay a certain price." Lin Xuan thought for a moment, then answered seriously. "I still want my children to grow up happily," said Li Menjiao. "Although we have everything we need now, we can't let the children be spoiled, right?" Lin Xuan nodded and continued gently. "That's true," Li Menjiao said, pursing her lips. "Okay, don't think too much. Let's talk about the future later. It's time to go to bed." Lin Xuan held Li Menjiao's face and kissed her, speaking gently. "Yeah," Li Menjiao nodded slightly and responded. Then they fell asleep in each other's arms. Ding dong! Just when Lin Xuan was about to fall asleep, the voice of the system suddenly rang in his mind. It woke him up from his near sleep. Couldn't this system come earlier? Lin Xuan said to himself. "Host, then I'll leave," said the system. "No, no, no, please continue speaking, Master System," Lin Xuan said. "That's better, there is a reward for the host. Are you still not happy?" "Nothing, please tell me, Master System," Lin Xuan said. "Congratulations to the host for completing the 12th month of accompanying the babies. Award 1 chance to draw a lottery. The current prize pool is 100 million yuan in cash. 2, thank you for your patronage." "Excuse me, host, would you like to draw a prize?" "Lottery," Lin Xuan said without hesitation. "Ding dong, congratulations to the host for winning 100 million yuan in cash. It has been transferred to your bank card through formal and legal channels. Please check it. 100 million yuan. Now it doesn't seem like a lot to Lin Xuan. Too lazy to check. He continued to hold his sweet wife in his arms and prepared to go to sleep. But the system's voice sounded again. "Oh right, there's one more thing I forgot to tell the host." Lin Xuan, "Host, don't be angry. Congratulations to the host for completing the baby's first birthday gifts. I will reward you with a 100x cash critical hit card. It can only be used for the last system reward. Would you like to use it?" "Last reward? Isn't it just 100 million in cash? 100 times is 10 billion. This amount of money is very considerable for Lin Xuan. How could I be angry? Ha ha ha, great system, I want to use it," Lin Xuan said. "Then congratulations to the host for successfully using the 100 times critical attack card. The total reward is 10 billion. It has been transferred to your bank card through formal and legal channels. Please check it." Lin Xuan stood up and picked up his phone to check. Maybe he was too excited and stood up with a big movement, waking up Li Menjiao. Her eyes, which were originally tightly closed, trembled slightly and then slowly opened, and she asked sleepily and dazedly, "What's wrong, husband? Is there something wrong?" Lin Xuan quickly responded softly, "Nothing, just checking the phone, honey, go back to sleep." When he looked down at the screen of his mobile phone, the long string of numbers made his heart beat faster instantly. A full 10 billion has been successfully received. Lin Xuan calmed himself down, took a few deep breaths, and gently put the phone back where it belonged. Then he continued to lie back on the bed, hugging Li Menjiao tightly. Li Menjiao seemed to feel her husband's embrace and murmured softly, "Hum." Although Lin Xuan was still very excited, when he saw the beauty in his arms, he soon fell asleep together. He decided to take out a portion of the 10 billion yuan and invest it in the daily operations of Xuanmeng Company to promote the further development and growth of the company. The remaining part was left to his beloved wife as a generous inheritance. Time passed quickly like a white horse passing by, and in the blink of an eye, several days had passed. The sun is exceptionally bright today, casting dappled shadows through the lush branches and leaves on campus. Li Menjiao held a stack of exquisite certificates tightly in her hand, walked briskly out of the office, and headed towards the class she was in charge of. When she stepped into the classroom, the originally noisy class suddenly became quiet. She walked up to the podium slowly with a smile on her face and gently placed the stack of certificates in her hand on the desk. Then her gentle and clear eyes swept across the faces full of vitality and expectation in the audience, and she spoke softly. "Students, today is our last class of this semester. Yes, Tilda, it's holiday time. Freedom." The primary school students in the audience cheered. Li Menjiao raised her right hand and made a downward gesture, smiling and saying, all right, students, please be quiet for a moment. Although the holiday is coming soon, we still need to hold on for the last 40 minutes. Okay, Tilda," the students responded in unison. "Teacher, please hurry up and don't delay the class," said a naughty classmate at this time. His words resonated with other children, and they echoed him. "Just be good and listen. Teacher promises not to keep you late," Li Menjiao answered patiently. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone instantly became quiet and sat up straight. Li Menjiao coughed lightly to moisten her throat, then continued with a smile. "Students, you have all worked very hard this semester, and everyone has their own shining points. Next, the teacher will present certificates of merit to the students who have performed well." The classmates all looked at the beautiful certificate in Li Menjiao's hand with anticipation. "Little role model for learning, Yang Lingeling." A well-behaved little girl with short hair stood up from the desk and walked towards the podium. When she walked to the podium, she first bowed respectfully to Li Menjiao and then said in a sweet voice, "Thank you, Teacher Tilda. Keep working hard next semester," Li Menjiao encouraged. The star who loves helping others, Li Kejian, a boy with a buzz cut, first widened his eyes in disbelief, then pointed at himself with his index finger and asked suspiciously, "Teacher, are you sure it's me?" Chapter 430, One Meeting Yi Zixuan. Li Menjiao couldn't help laughing when she saw his silly and cute look, and replied gently, "The teacher didn't call you wrong, it was you. You often help your classmates solve problems. The teacher has seen it all." After receiving a positive answer, Li Kejian immediately smiled and jumped up to the podium. After standing still, he also bowed deeply to Li Menjiao and said gratefully, "Thank you, Teacher Tilda. You're welcome, the next one is the Star of Progress." As time went by, the thick stack of certificates in Li Menjiao's hands gradually dwindled, and she gently handed the last one to the student. All the award certificates have been distributed, and now she is ready to start reading them to her classmates. "Students, during the winter vacation, please listen to your elders at home and pay attention to your own safety, including traffic safety." The students in the audience seemed to be listening attentively, but their minds were actually wandering outside the classroom. Did everyone hear it clearly? After a lot of effort, Li Menjiao finally stopped and asked her classmates. "I heard it clearly," the students answered in unison. "Well, I hope everyone can have a happy and fulfilling winter vacation," Li Menjiao said with a smile. "Thank you, teacher. Teacher, I love you. I wish the teacher a happy winter vacation, too." The students responded one after another, their faces filled with extremely excited and happy smiles. Li Menjiao looked at their happy faces and seemed to have forgotten something. What on earth was it? She frowned and tried to recall. With 5 minutes left before the get-out-of-class ended, she suddenly remembered. Afterwards, Li Menjiao left the classroom in a hurry. As soon as the teacher left, the classroom naturally exploded. The students were discussing how to spend a wonderful winter vacation. Wow, it seems that the teacher didn't assign any winter vacation homework this semester. Yes, I am so happy. Just when everyone was celebrating, having no winter vacation homework. At this time, an honest boy said, "Do you think? Did the teacher go to get the winter vacation homework?" The next second, Li Menjiao came in pushing a small cart, which was filled with piles of thick winter vacation homework books. "Students, the teacher forgot to assign winter vacation homework just now. Please have the class representative come over and distribute it to you." Li Menjiao said with a smile. After seeing the thick pile of winter vacation homework, the classmates looked at the honest boy angrily. Stinky Crow's mouth. Li Menjiao returned to her teacher's office and began to pack her personal belongings in an orderly manner. Looking at the neatly arranged teaching materials, lesson plans, and various stationery on the table, a happy smile spread across her face. Winter vacation is finally here. Just as Li Menjiao was happily packing her things, Zhang Kiki's pleasant voice came from the door. "Yiayo, are you done packing?" Li Menjiao quickly responded. "It's almost there, wait for me a little longer." After that, she quickened her movements and quickly put the remaining items into her handbag. Carrying an exquisite bag, she walked out of the teaching building with Zhang Kiki. While walking on the road, Li Menjiao asked curiously, "Where is Huaru?" Zhang Kiki explained with a smile. She drove to grab a seat first. The newly opened hot pot restaurant is very popular. If you go late, you will have to wait in a long line. "Then let's go over quickly," Li Menjiao said with a smile. The two of them quickened their pace. Today, the three of them had a dinner together to celebrate the winter vacation for the students and the upcoming vacation for them as teachers. Not long after, Li Menjiao and Zhang Kiki arrived at the door of this legendary internet-famous hot pot restaurant. Before entering the store, you can feel the lively atmosphere and the tempting aroma wafting out from the crack of the door. As the two of them were looking around for a seat, they suddenly heard a familiar call from the corner. "Yiayo, Kiki, over here." Li Huaru was standing beside a dining table with a smile on her face, waving at them happily. Li Menjiao and Zhang Kiki hurriedly walked forward and sat down in the empty seat next to Li Huaru. "You are finally here, come on, put some meat on," Li Huaru shouted with a smile on her face. She picked up the chopsticks swiftly, picked up slices of marbled beef, and quickly put them into the pot. The water in the pot boiled instantly, bubbling. "Huiru, why are you so quick? Did you sneak out early?" Li Menjiao asked jokingly with a smile. "No way, who told you to be so slow? I had already arranged everything in the previous class. The last class was for the students to study on their own, so I packed up my things in advance and ran away as soon as the bell rang." Li Huaru explained proudly while stirring the beef in the pot with chopsticks. After a while, the beef was cooked. Li Huaru quickly scooped it up and placed it in the bowls in front of Li Menjiao and Zhang Kiki, respectively. "Come, try it. This marbled beef is so tender. No wonder it's Yiayo's fault. She is the best freshman teacher this semester," Zhang Kiki said with a smile. Then she picked up the marbled beef and stuffed it into her mouth, with a look of satisfaction on her face. "Yes, Yiayo, I didn't expect that you could lead your class to first place in the grade in the first semester. How did you do it?" Li Huaru looked at Li Menjiao with admiration. "It's nothing, maybe just luck. Plus, I encourage and care about my students more, so naturally their grades go up," Li Menjiao said with a smile. "Yiayo is being modest again. It's obviously you who are the good teacher," Zhang Kiki said angrily. Then the three good sisters happily complained about work. "Kiki, let me go out for a while. I'm going to the bathroom," Li Menjiao said softly. "Oh, okay." Zhang Kiki quickly stood up and made way for Li Menjiao. Afterwards, Li Menjiao hurried towards the bathroom. Wait for her to come out of the bathroom and return the same way. Suddenly, she was surprised to find that not far away, there was a lonely figure sitting there quietly eating hot pot. Lin Xuan's ex-girlfriend, Yi Zixuan. Although Li Menjiao had only seen her photo in college, she didn't realize it until now when she observed her closely. She is indeed good-looking, although her makeup is a bit heavy, but her figure and face are both at the level of an internet celebrity goddess. At this moment, Yi Zixuan happened to raise her head, and her eyes met Li Menjiao's. Both of them showed shocked expressions, and time seemed to freeze at this moment. After a few seconds, Li Menjiao continued to walk slowly towards her seat. After Li Menjiao returned to her seat and sat down, she couldn't help but secretly glance at Yi Zixuan again. She was also eating hot pot here, and seemed to be eating alone. "Yiaya, why are you in a daze? This plate of beef will get cold if you don't eat it now." Lin Huaru, who was standing by, saw that Li Menjiao was a little absent-minded and quickly reminded her. "Oh, okay, thank you, Sister Ru." Li Menjiao smiled. Chapter 432, You're Just Lucky. After eating hot pot, Li Menjiao came to the parking lot and was about to open the door of Xiaomi SU7 when suddenly, a sharp and slightly sarcastic female voice came from behind her. "It seems that Lin Xuan doesn't treat you very well. He only bought you a car worth more than 200,000 yuan. Li Menjiao looked back and saw Yi Zixuan slowly walking out from a dark corner not far away. With the dim light of the street lamp, Li Menjiao could clearly see Yi Zixuan's face, which had delicate makeup but a hint of harshness. Facing Yi Zixuan's provocation, Li Menjiao replied expressionlessly and coldly. What kind of car I drive seems to have nothing to do with you, right? Yi Zixuan continued to speak more aggressively. It's really okay, but seeing you driving such an ordinary car, I can't help but sigh. How about we chat about it? As she spoke, she deliberately raised one hand, hooked the shiny Porsche key in her hand with her index finger, and kept spinning it in the air. At the same time, her face was full of disdain, staring at Li Menjiao. Li Menjiao couldn't help but feel angry when she saw this, but she still suppressed her emotions and responded firmly. I'm sorry, I really have nothing to talk about with you. Also, please stop fiddling with your so-called luxury car keys in front of me. I have many better cars at home. After saying that, Li Menjiao no longer paid attention to Yi Zixuan. She turned around, reached out again, opened the car door, and sat in the driver's seat. Yi Zixuan hurriedly walked to the car window and shouted to Li Menjiao in the car. That's Lin Xuan's, not yours. Don't think I don't know. I've already found out everything about you too. You just gave birth to 2 children for him. What's so great about that? Humph, who doesn't know how to give birth to a child? You're just lucky. If I had given birth to 2 children for Lin Xuan, he would have treated me well too. After all, he pursued me for a long time. Li Menjiao looked at Yi Zixuan coldly and said, Really? Why did my husband tell me that you were the one who was pestering him? As she spoke, she looked Li Menjiao up and down. Her eyes fell on the Porsche key case in her hand, and she laughed sarcastically. It seems that you are indeed a liar, just like the rumors in college. Maybe even the Porsche key shell in your hand is fake. Yi Zixuan was so angry that she was shaking all over. Before she could continue, Li Menjiao hit back again. In the end, even if I hadn't given birth to these 2 children, Lin Xuan and I would definitely be together, and you wouldn't have any chance. After saying that, Li Menjiao stepped on the accelerator and the car drove out of the parking lot. Looking at the car going away, Yi Zixuan stood there, stamping her feet in anger and cursing. Li Menjiao's fair hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, as if she wanted to crush it. Her beautiful eyes seemed extremely empty at this moment, staring blankly ahead without a trace of life. The 2 harsh words I just heard kept echoing in my mind. Didn't you just give birth to 2 children for him? Who doesn't know how to have a baby? You're just lucky. While she was still in a daze, the traffic light in front of her quietly changed, and the green light gradually turned into red. However, Li Menjiao was unaware of this. Her right foot was still firmly on the accelerator pedal, and the car continued to move forward. Ouch! Xiaomi 7 suddenly made an emergency brake, and the friction between the wheels and the ground made a sharp sound, and the car stopped steadily in front of the zebra crossing. It was the system's top-level intelligent driving mode that sensed the danger and took over and controlled the car in time. Due to inertia, Li Menjiao's body suddenly leaned forward and her forehead hit the windshield heavily, leaving a bright red mark. She covered her aching forehead and slowly sat up, her heart full of regret and grievance. Afterwards, she held back her tears, drove back to her home in Haitian Yijing, and went straight to the master bedroom. Wife, are you back? Lin Xuan asked casually. At this moment, he was lying comfortably on the sofa, watching the movie playing on the big screen intently. Yeah, Li Menjiao said lightly. Lin Xuan looked at Li Menjiao. His eyes fell on her forehead and asked with concern, Honey, your forehead seems a little red and swollen. Li Menjiao lowered her head slightly, avoiding Lin Xuan's sight, and replied, I'm fine. After saying that, she quickly picked up the pajamas placed aside and hurried into the bathroom without looking back. Lin Xuan sat on the sofa, feeling a little puzzled. My wife seems to be in a bad mood, and I don't think I have bullied her recently. About half an hour later, Lin Xuan saw that his wife had not come out of the bathroom yet. He couldn't help but walk to the bathroom door and gently pushed it open. Wife, how do you wash? Before he could finish his words, Lin Xuan saw this scene. Li Menjiao was standing in front of the mirror, rubbing her forehead, which was obviously red and swollen, frantically with her small hands. On the washstand next to it, there was a bottle of healing wine. Lin Xuan's heart suddenly tightened, and he rushed forward and hugged Li Menjiao tightly in his arms. Honey, what happened to your forehead? He stretched out his right hand and gently stroked his wife's forehead. Wife, who bullied you? I'm fine. I just accidentally braked suddenly while driving and hit my forehead on the steering wheel. Li Menjiao lowered her head slightly and said in a depressed tone, Husband will rub it for you, Lin Xuan said with concern. After saying this, he was about to reach out for the medicine. No, I just applied it. Li Menjiao gently broke free from Lin Xuan's arms and walked out of the bathroom. Lin Xuan looked at her departing back and froze in place for a moment. What happened to my wife tonight? In the past, even when I was angry, my face would show obvious anger or resentment. But now he just had a cold and expressionless face, and his eyes revealed deep loss and sadness. When Lin Xuan walked out of the bathroom, he found that Li Menjiao was already lying quietly on the bed, with her back to him. Lin Xuan also climbed onto the bed and gently hugged Li Menjiao from behind. "Honey, what happened? Can you tell me?" Chapter 433, Just Hold You Like This. "Nothing, I'm just in a bad mood." Li Menjiao's voice was as calm as water, without any emotion fluctuations. "Why are you in a bad mood? Can you talk to your husband?" Lin Xuan continued to comfort her gently. "I don't want to say." Li Menjiao replied briefly, her tone still as cold as ice. "But seeing my wife sulking alone, I can't do anything now and I feel really guilty." As Lin Xuan spoke, he buried his head in Li Menjiao's hair, smelling the familiar fragrance. "It has nothing to do with my husband." Li Menjiao turned around and gently moved closer to Lin Xuan. Her delicate body exuded a faint fragrance, lingering around Lin Xuan's nose. "So what is it that's making my little one unhappy?" Lin Xuan took advantage of the situation and put his arms around Li Menjiao's slender waist and held her tightly in his arms. "Today, I was going to eat hot pot happily, but I ended up running into your ex-girlfriend," Li Menjiao said in a low voice. "Did she do that to your forehead?" Lin Xuan frowned slightly. His eyes instantly became sharp, staring straight at the slightly red and swollen area on Li Menjiao's forehead. A nameless anger surged in his heart, and he wished he could find the person who hurt Li Menjiao and settle the score with him immediately. Li Menjiao could clearly sense her husband's anger, and she quickly explained, "No, I just accidentally hit the steering wheel." As she spoke, she stretched out her little hand and gently smoothed Lin Xuan's frown. "Husband will give you a massage." Lin Xuan looked at Li Menjiao's slightly red and swollen forehead with heartache, slowly reached out his hand and gently stroked it. "Wife, you're in a bad mood today. This isn't the reason you hit your forehead," Lin Xuan asked softly while rubbing Li Menjiao's forehead. "No." Li Menjiao narrowed her eyes and shook her head, looking pitiful. "Did she say something hurtful?" Lin Xuan asked softly. Li Menjiao was silent for a long time, as if she was going through a fierce struggle in her heart. Finally, she took a deep breath, raised her head, and looked at Lin Xuan with eyes full of grievance and confusion. "Hubby, tell me, is it really just because I'm lucky that I got pregnant with your child that I have the chance to be with you?" Hearing this, Lin Xuan felt a pain in his heart. He quickly reached out his hand and gently held up Li Menjiao's beautiful and slightly pale face, letting her eyes look directly at him. "No, haven't I told you many times before? No matter what, we will meet and be together." Then Lin Xuan embraced Li Menjiao again and continued in a firm tone. "Either you find me first or I go find you. My wife will never escape from my grasp in this life." Feeling Lin Xuan's strong hug and warm words, Li Menjiao's originally tense body gradually relaxed. Like a docile kitten, she snuggled closer into Lin Xuan's arms, pressing her little face against his neck, and the hot air from her mouth gently brushed against Lin Xuan's skin. "Really? Of course it's true, silly." Lin Xuan smiled dotingly, then lowered his head and gently kissed Li Menjiao's pink face. "But why did my wife suddenly ask this? Did she say something that irritated you?" He thought about it and thought that only Yi Zixuan must have said something that irritated his wife, causing her to be distracted while driving and hit her forehead. Thinking of this, Xuan's face suddenly turned gloomy, and a surge of anger rose from the bottom of his heart. "She said I was just lucky and gave birth to 2 children for you," Li Menjiao said aggrievedly. "It's all my husband's fault." Lin Xuan kissed Li Menjiao and said with heartache. Li Menjiao slowly raised her head, stared at Lin Xuan with her big watery eyes, and said softly, "It has nothing to do with my husband. I was careless." "Don't worry, honey. I will help you vent your anger." As Lin Xuan spoke, his originally gentle eyes instantly turned extremely cold. Seeing Lin Xuan like this, Li Menjiao's heart tightened, and she quickly hugged his neck and advised, "Hubby, I'm fine, don't be impulsive." The last time she saw Lin Xuan swung his fists and hit someone when he was furious. "Ha, do you think your husband will beat her?" Lin Xuan suddenly smiled. Li Menjiao looked at Lin Xuan and nodded blankly. "Of course I won't hit her, but no matter what, she has hurt you with her words, so naturally as a husband I have to fight back," Lin Xuan said. He gently stroked Li Menjiao's slightly swollen forehead again and asked with concern, "Does it still hurt now?" Li Menjiao smiled and shook her head, saying coquettishly, "A little bit. Then I'll go get some medicinal wine to apply on it." After Lin Xuan finished speaking, he prepared to get up. Li Menjiao suddenly reached out her hand, pulled him back, and continued to hug him tightly. "No need, I've already applied a lot." Li Menjiao buried her face in Lin Xuan's chest and spoke in a muffled voice. Feeling the warmth and familiar breath coming from Lin Xuan, she felt extremely at ease. "Do you want to watch some drama?" Lin Xuan looked at Li Menjiao and said gently, "I don't want to just hold you like this. Li Menjiao leaned against Lin Xuan and whispered. The two of them just hugged each other quietly, and the only sound in the room was the two of them breathing softly. I don't know how long it had been, but when Lin Xuan lowered his head and looked at Li Menjiao again, he found that she had fallen asleep quietly without him knowing. I saw her eyes tightly closed, her long eyelashes trembling slightly like butterfly wings. The pink lips were slightly parted, exhaling warm breath evenly and steadily. Looking at the peaceful sleeping face in front of him, Lin Xuan's heart was filled with pity. He carefully adjusted his posture so that Li Menjiao could sleep more comfortably, and then closed his eyes. At this moment, the deep silence of the night enveloped this ordinary community in Jinghai City. There was no light in one of the rooms, as if it was swallowed by darkness. In the darkness, a vague figure could be vaguely seen lying quietly on the large bed. I saw the figure holding the phone tightly, and the faint light from the screen reflected a pale and distorted face. Her eyes were fixed on the screen, her fingers constantly sliding across the pages, searching for all the information about Lin Xuan, chairman of Xuanmeng Company, people's hero of Jinghai City, heroic captain. The dazzling labels were like sharp daggers, ruthlessly stabbing into her chest. Every time she saw an achievement or praise related to Lin Xuan, her heart would twitch violently. Now even the name of the company contains half of that woman's name. Once upon a time, Lin Xuan should have belonged to her completely. All this originally belonged to me, she muttered to herself through gritted teeth. Humph, if I can't get it, then you can forget about getting it. Suddenly, a hideous smile crept onto her originally beautiful face. At this moment, with the dim light from the mobile phone, you can see a man lying next to her. The man's face was tilted to the side, and his appearance while sleeping was somewhat similar to Lin Xuan. Yi Zixuan turned her head and glanced coldly at the man beside her. Humph, if I can't get it, then you can forget about getting it. Chapter 434 Li Menjiao was anonymously reported. The next day, Lin Xuan drove to Xuanmeng Company as usual. He came to his chairman's office, and as soon as he sat down, Liu Wend hurried to the door. Mr. Lin, this is bad. There are rumors about your wife circulating on the internet. What's going on? Lin Xuan asked. Liu Wend handed the phone to Lin Xuan. The local front page trending search was, shocking. Li Menjiao, the wife of Lin Xuan, a famous young entrepreneur and people's hero in this city, was anonymously reported for interfering in other people's relationships and acting as a mistress. Lin Xuan frowned and his face turned pale. He clicked on the hot search to enter the details. This news was released by a small front-page account. Lin Xuan and his first girlfriend in college were in love, but unexpectedly, the scheming Li Menjiao deliberately got Lin Xuan drunk. Then she took this opportunity to get pregnant with Lin Xuan's child, and used this to threaten Lin Xuan to abandon his first love. Finally, a set of photos is attached, except for the first one, which is a frontal photo of Lin Xuan and Yi Zixuan when they were in love. The rest are various intimate photos of a man who looks like Lin Xuan from the side and Yi Zixuan. The most eye-catching one is a photo of the two of them lying naked on the bed. Except for the first one, which is relatively clear, every other photo appears quite blurry. In addition, each photo is a profile, and at first glance it does look like Lin Xuan himself. After reading it, Lin Xuan clenched his fists. It's easy to tell who did it. Yi Zixuan. Very good, then let's settle yesterday's accounts together. Immediately notify our public relations team and ask them to urgently refute these false rumors. At the same time, report the matter to the police immediately. The press conference will be held in an hour, Lin Xuan said firmly. Okay, I'll go right away, Liu Wen said. Today, Xuanmeng Company has already emerged in the prosperous Jinghai City and has become a well-known young enterprise. Lin Xuan, one of the company's founders, is famous for his outstanding talents and extraordinary charm. Because of this, the front-page hot search about Lin Xuan's marital status quickly attracted widespread social attention once it was released. For a time, all kinds of speculations, doubts, and even malicious slanders flooded in. Wow, I didn't expect that our hero, Lin's wife, would be such a person. Yeah, you actually interfered with other people's originally beautiful love. It seems that this Lin Xuan is not a good guy either. He can easily abandon his first love who has been with him for many years just for his new love. When Lin Xuan saw these comments, he threw his phone aside and clenched his fists. A few seconds later, he picked up the phone again and called Li Menjiao. Beep beep. Wife, answer it quickly. Beep beep. 60 seconds later. Sorry, your call cannot be connected at this time. Please try again later. Lin Xuan hung up and called again. Beep beep. Finally, after 20 seconds, the call was connected. Hello, Tilda. That was Li Menjiao's sweet and moving voice. Wife, what are you doing? Lin Xuan asked. Me, I'm playing with our lovely babies. They are so naughty, hee hee. What's the matter, dear? Li Menjiao asked when she heard Lin Xuan's hurried tone. That's good, wife. Please listen to me carefully, Lin Xuan said. Yes, I'm listening, Li Menjiao replied. Before I come back, put your phone on silent mode, don't turn it on or watch TV. Just read a book in your room and play with the babies, Lin Xuan said. Oh, why? Li Menjiao asked in confusion. Be good, I'll explain the reason to you after your husband comes back, okay? Lin Xuan said gently. Okay, Tilda. Although Li Menjiao didn't know why, she still listened to Lin Xuan obediently. After hanging up the phone, she threw the phone aside, ignored it, and continued to play with the babies. Babies, come to mommy. Dabo and Xiaobo took their chubby little steps and staggered into Li Menjiao's arms. Li Menjiao looked at the two children with a smile and rewarded them each with a kiss. Back to Xuanmeng Building. Xuanmeng Company's public relations team issued a statement as soon as possible. The information circulated early this morning about Lin Xuan, the chairman of Xuanmeng Company, is false news. Our director Lin and Yi Zixuan did have a relationship 5 years ago, but it was a very short relationship. Director Lin and his current wife met 2 years ago, so there was no such thing as interfering in their relationship. As for the pictures circulating online, except for the first photo which is indeed of Lin Xuan himself, the people in all other photos are not him. It's just that their profiles look slightly similar from certain angles. Finally, the statement also emphasized, since such unfounded and untrue statements have seriously interfered with the daily lives of our CEO Lin and his wife, and have also caused certain negative impacts on Xuanmeng Company. To this end, we will go all out to collect relevant evidence and safeguard our legitimate rights and interests through legal channels. Please make a rational judgment, thank you. An hour later, Xuanmeng Company held a press conference downstairs in Xuanmeng Building. Lin Xuan, wearing an exquisite suit, walked out under the flashes of reporters' cameras. Mr. Lin Xuan, are the rumors on the internet today true? Mr. Lin Xuan, is your wife really the third party? Mr. Lin Xuan, is it true that you abandoned your first love because Miss Li was pregnant? Reporters asked questions one after another. Lin Xuan faced the many reporters very calmly and said slowly, I think our company's statement has made it very clear that this is a false statement. Then he paused for a moment and continued to explain. As for the group of photos circulating online, only the first one is indeed a true portrayal of me when I was a freshman in college. The rest are not me, but their profiles are somewhat similar to me. If you compare carefully, you will find that he has a mole next to his ear, but I don't. Chapter 435, I love my wife deeply. Lin Xuan deliberately raised his handsome profile slightly so that the many reporters present could see it more clearly. Then Lin Xuan stared ahead with a sharp gaze and emphasized again. For this incident, our company will not hesitate to report it to the police and actively cooperate with the police to conduct an in-depth investigation. We must get to the bottom of it and find out the culprit behind it. Here, I also urge all friends to maintain a rational and objective attitude before the final investigation results are announced, to distinguish right from wrong, and not to be easily misled by rumors. After a brief silence, Lin Xuan took a deep breath. Finally, I want to make one important point. I love my wife dearly, thank you. After saying that, Lin Xuan turned around resolutely and left without looking back. Behind him, there was a large group of reporters who were chasing him relentlessly and asking questions. Lin Xuan drove the classic Maybach towards Haitian Yijing. Soon, he returned to his villa. Wife, wife! Lin Xuan rushed into the house and shouted loudly. But no one responded. Zhang Xulan and Huang Shifeng were also nowhere to be seen. Lin Xuan quickly ran upstairs and went straight to the master bedroom. However, when he pushed open the door of the master bedroom, he did not see Li Menjiao. So Lin Xuan searched all the rooms upstairs in the villa, but did not see Li Menjiao. Where is my wife? Lin Xuan was very anxious. The only thing left to search is the basement of the villa. So Lin Xuan took the elevator to the basement level. As soon as I walked out of the elevator, I saw that the door of the cinema was closed. He came up and gently pushed the door open. Li Menjiao was seen lying comfortably on a spacious and comfortable massage sofa. She had a thick white mask on her face, revealing only a pair of bright eyes and a rosy mouth. She was staring intently at the movie playing on the big screen in front of her. Li Menjiao seemed to notice the movement at the door. She turned her head slightly and looked towards the door. The moment her eyes met Lin Xuan's, she smiled happily and said in a tender voice, Hubby, you're back. Wife, have you looked at your phone? Lin Xuan hurriedly came to Li Menjiao and asked. No. Li Menjiao first glanced at the time displayed above the movie screen, and then gently removed the mask on her face. The moment it was removed, her beautiful face, as delicate as a baby's, was revealed in front of Lin Xuan. That face was like a meticulously crafted work of art. Her snow-white skin exuded a charming luster, and her delicate facial features were perfectly embellished on it, making it breathtakingly beautiful. Our wife is so beautiful. Looking at his beautiful wife, Lin Xuan was stunned. Husband, husband. Seeing that Lin Xuan didn't respond for a long time, Li Menjiao called his name softly. At the same time, she stretched out a slender hand and gently pinched Lin Xuan's cheek, with a playful smile on her lips. Lin Xuan finally came back to his senses from his trance, and quickly reached out to hold Li Menjiao's hand, holding it in his palm, and asked again earnestly, Wife, did you really not check the message on your phone? No, didn't you tell me not to watch it before you came back? That's why I came here to watch a movie to kill time. Li Menjiao leaned close to Lin Xuan and said gently. Where are the children? Lin Xuan asked. Mom took them for a walk in the garden. Li Menjiao answered slowly. Lin Xuan took a deep breath, walked quickly to Li Menjiao and said seriously. Listen to me, honey. When you look at your phone later, don't read the comments. What's the matter? Li Menjiao asked, blinking her beautiful eyes. Lin Xuan knew he couldn't hide it, so he had to hand the phone to Li Menjiao. Li Menjiao took the phone, slid her fingers across the screen quickly, and soon found the hot news occupying the front page. When she saw the title and content, she was startled at first, and a look of surprise appeared on her face. Then her expression gradually became heavy, her lips were tightly pursed, and she continued to scroll down the page to view more relevant information. It must have been done by my husband's ex-girlfriend, Li Menjiao said calmly. Yes, it must be her. I'm sorry, honey, it's my fault. Lin Xuan hugged Li Menjiao and said. Li Menjiao patted his back gently and comforted him. What does it have to do with my husband? She is the one who deliberately spread false information and maliciously slandered us. After saying that, she pushed Lin Xuan away slightly and laughed out loud. Honey, is this why you don't let me look at my phone? Well, I'm afraid you can't stand the stimulation, Lin Xuan said. Li Menjiao shook her head disapprovingly, with the corners of her mouth slightly raised, revealing a confident smile. These are all fake and can't excite me at all. That wife yesterday, Lin Xuan said. Li Menjiao raised her head, pecked Lin Xuan on the cheek, and smiled gently. I care more about my husband's love for me than those who scold me online because of rumors. She then went on to say, these rumors are easy to find out, and you, my husband, also refuted the rumors at the press conference and said some very disgusting things. Li Menjiao imitated Lin Xuan and said, I love my wife deeply, ha ha ha. Lin Xuan looked at his wife's naughty look and smiled gently. Then he opened his arms again, hugged Li Menjiao tightly and whispered softly, Thank you, my wife. I will make her pay the price. Yeah, I know. Li Menjiao also hugged Lin Xuan back and said softly. The two of them just hugged each other quietly. Not long after, Li Menjiao seemed to suddenly remember something and broke the silence with a coquettish tone. Okay, the movie isn't over yet. Then let's watch a movie together. Lin Xuan looked at the beauty in his arms and smiled. Yeah, Li Menjiao showed a charming smile. Then Lin Xuan hugged Li Menjiao, sat on the comfortable sofa, and watched a wonderful movie. At the same time, inside the Jinghai Municipal People's Government, the mayor walked into his office with steady steps. He walked to the desk and sat down slowly, then took out his mobile phone from his pocket, unlocked the screen, and browsed around casually. I soon noticed the two words, Lin Xuan. He clicked on the trending search details and read them without changing his expression. A few minutes later, the mayor called the director of the Jinghai Municipal Public Security Bureau. Hello, Director Chen. Please come to my office right away, the mayor said in a serious tone. 20 minutes later, there was a slight knock on the door. Come in, the mayor responded. The door opened, and a middle-aged man in a neat police uniform and with an upright posture appeared at the door. Mayor Lin, you are looking for me, Director Chen said respectfully. Director Chen, come and sit down. Mayor Lin smiled and pointed to the sofa in the office, motioning Director Chen to take a seat. After both of them sat down on the sofa, Mayor Lin asked directly, I called you here to find out what happened. What on earth was the hot search about Xuanmeng Company this morning? Mayor, we did receive a report from Xuanmeng Company this morning, and we have arranged special personnel to investigate the specific situation, Director Chen answered truthfully. He didn't expect that this incident would alarm the mayor. Chapter 436, The Truth Comes to Light. Xuanmeng Company is a rising star in Jinghai City. Its founder, Lin Xuan, is also a people's hero in Jinghai City. He saved an entire plane. I even presented him with an award in person. Regarding this matter concerning Xuanmeng Company and Lin Xuan, you must thoroughly investigate the truth and absolutely cannot be careless, Mayor Lin said seriously. Yes, we know this, so we have immediately arranged for police officers to go there and get a deeper understanding of the specific situation, Director Chen responded quickly. Just as the two were talking, suddenly, a cell phone rang quickly. Director Chen glanced at the caller ID, then looked up at Mayor Lin, his eyes revealing a hint of asking for instructions. You answer the phone first. Mayor Lin nodded slightly. After getting permission, Director Chen quickly pressed the answer button. Hello, okay, I get it. After a few brief exchanges, he hung up the phone in a hurry. Then he turned to Mayor Lin and quickly reported. Mayor Lin, the police investigating this matter just sent us the latest news. After investigation, they have successfully obtained relevant key evidence, and after careful verification and confirmation, they found that all the information about Lin Xuan was false news. Then we should quickly increase police force to arrest the suspects. The people's heroes must not be slandered, Mayor Lin said. Yes, please rest assured, Mayor, I promise to complete the task. Director Chen stood up straight, saluted, then turned and walked out of Mayor Lin's office. An hour later, two policemen stood at the door of the house where Yi Zixuan lived. One of the policemen raised his hand and gently pressed the doorbell. Coming, came a response from inside the house. Yi Zixuan thought that the takeaway she ordered for lunch had arrived. She walked quickly to the door, reached out for the door handle without hesitation, and pulled hard. However, when the door opened, the smile on Yi Zixuan's face froze instantly. Two policemen were standing there straight, their eyes fixed on her. Hello, are you Miss Yi? One of the policemen spoke first, holding up his police ID and speaking in a calm tone. No, you've got the wrong person. Yi Zixuan hurriedly tried to close the door but was stopped by the police. You're not mistaken. This is a subpoena, please cooperate. As he spoke, he handed a piece of paper to Yi Zixuan. When Yi Zixuan saw this, she instantly turned pale as paper and was at a loss. I've already told you, it's not me, you got the wrong person. In a summons room of the Jinghai City Public Security Bureau, two serious-looking policemen were sitting opposite a young woman. The woman had a pretty face, but at the moment her face was full of anger. Her voice was sharp and loud, as if it could break through the small room. It's not you. Don't think we can't find out just because you paid others to spread false information, one of the female police officers said sternly. I don't know what you're talking about, Yi Zixuan said arrogantly with her arms folded across her chest. I advise you to tell the truth and don't waste everyone's time, said another male police officer. You are the ones wasting my time. I haven't done anything wrong at all, let me go. Yi Zixuan stood up suddenly, pointed in the direction of the door and shouted angrily. It seems that you are not going to confess voluntarily, said the female police officer. I'll say it again, I have nothing to explain, Yi Zixuan said. The female police officer shook her head and then gave the male police officer a look. The male police officer then pulled a mobile phone from his pocket and pressed the play button. Suddenly, a clear conversation sounded from the phone. I did post those things online today, but it's because someone transferred money to me. She said that I only need to post a message online according to her requirements, and I don't know anything else. It really has nothing to do with me, don't arrest me. I don't know who that person is, but I have her transfer records and chat records. The speaker seemed anxious to prove his innocence. Then the male policeman slowly turned the computer screen in front of him to Yi Zixuan, who was sitting across the table. Yi Zixuan was instantly discouraged when she saw these conclusive evidences. I was just joking. I didn't expect it would have such a big impact. I'm sorry, I know I was wrong and I won't dare to do it again, Yi Zixuan explained while stuttering. The male police officer shook his head expressionlessly and said coldly, I'm afraid it's not as simple as an apology now. In the afternoon, sunlight shone through the window onto the kitchen floor, creating patches of mottled light and shadows. Lin Xuan was wearing an apron and standing in the kitchen, preparing delicious snacks for her family. Hubby, look. At this moment, a burst of hurried footsteps came from far away. Li Menjiao ran into the kitchen from the living room with the clatter of her legs. She suddenly threw herself behind Lin Xuan and hugged his neck tightly. What's wrong, wife? Lin Xuan lowered his head and kissed Li Menjiao, smiling. Look, the police have already investigated everything clearly, Li Menjiao said with a smile, pointing at her mobile phone. Really, let me see. Lin Xuan took Li Menjiao's phone and saw an announcement. After our in-depth and comprehensive investigation, the comments about Lin Xuan, the chairman of Xuanmeng Company, on the internet today are pure rumors. We have solid evidence that this was malicious slander and deliberate planning by Yi Maomu for personal gain. At present, Yi Maomu has confessed to the crime and has been arrested by the public security organs in accordance with the law. According to relevant laws and regulations, it is decided to impose a fine of 500 yuan and administrative detention for 10 days on him. If you scroll down the screen further, you will see a variety of comments from many netizens. So that's how it is. I wronged them. I'm sorry. That's great. Mr. Lin Xuan has finally been cleared of all charges. Those who spread rumors and caused trouble should be punished. This woman is so vicious. Even after so many years of breaking up, she still wants to slander and defame our hero. Go to Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao's accounts and apologize. Chapter 437 will make her pay a heavy price. I didn't expect the police to be so efficient, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Yes, it was done in less than a day. Li Menjiao nodded in response. Lin Xuan was a little surprised when he found Li Menjiao's account. The number of fans of Li Menjiao's account has increased significantly, and the message and comment areas are also very lively. Well, I see there are quite a few people praising you as a goddess under your account. Lin Xuan slid the screen and said to Li Menjiao with a smile. However, he suddenly frowned, and his tone became serious. Why are there so many people calling you their wife? Delete it. Hearing this, Li Menjiao couldn't help but burst out laughing and said angrily, How can I delete all of them? There are so many. Is your husband jealous? Look, there are people calling you husband under your own account. Li Menjiao was naturally very happy to be praised for her beauty by so many netizens. But just when Li Menjiao was laughing happily, she saw a strong possessiveness in Lin Xuan's eyes. The next second, her delicate lips were kissed fiercely by Lin Xuan. The two people's hot breaths intertwined. Time passed quickly, and it was already the next morning. The sunlight shines through the gap in the curtains and gently falls on Lin Xuan's handsome face. He woke up from his sleep, kissed his wife in his arms, and then got up to wash. Then Lin Xuan drove to Xuanmeng Company to work. He walked calmly towards his luxurious office. However, before I could even sit down, I heard the voice of Secretary Zhou see you at the door. Director Lin, people from the Jinghai City Public Security Bureau and the government office are here to see you. Lin Xuan was slightly startled by this sudden visitor, but he quickly regained his composure and responded quickly, Please invite them in. As he spoke, he quickly stood up and walked quickly to the door, ready to greet them. Soon, two figures appeared in Lin Xuan's sight. Chief Chen, dressed in a police uniform, and a man in an executive jacket and glasses walked in. Welcome. What are your names? Lin Xuan smiled and enthusiastically extended his right hand, shaking hands with each of them in turn. The man with glasses spoke first. My last name is Wang, and I'm the director of the Jinghai Municipal Government Office. This is Director Chen of the Jinghai Public Security Bureau. I hope Director Lin will forgive me for my intrusive visit today. As he spoke, he always had a warm smile on his face. No, please take a seat. Lin Xuan responded with a smile and gestured for them to sit in the reception area specially set up in his office. After the two of them sat down, Lin Xuan personally brewed a pot of top-quality taiguanian and handed it to them. Director Lin, we have already conducted a thorough investigation into the rumors circulating online yesterday morning and have brought the suspect to justice, said Director Chen. Thank you, Director Chen, for taking the trouble to come here in person, Lin Xuan said gratefully. Director Lin is a shining new star in our Jinghai city. After our mayor Lin heard about this yesterday, he was also very concerned and repeatedly reminded us that we must investigate this thoroughly, Director Chen said with a smile. Really? Then please thank Mayor Lin for me. I will definitely visit you someday, Lin Xuan responded quickly. Your Xuanmeng Company is an excellent enterprise that the city focuses on, and it cannot be arbitrarily discredited, Director Wang said with a smile. Thank you for the government's strong support, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Director Wang nodded with satisfaction, then straightened his body slightly and continued. By the way, we came here for another thing besides condolences. Oh, Director Wang, please feel free to talk, Lin Xuan said. Director Wang smiled slightly and slowly said, Jinghai City is preparing to select the most beautiful family of 2025. We are going to give it to you. I wonder if you and your family are willing. Really, that's great, we are willing, Lin Xuan said happily. Then we will invite you to attend the awards ceremony, Director Wang said. Okay, thank you, Director Wang, Lin Xuan said, his face full of joy. No need to thank me, I'm just following the procedure. If you want to thank someone, thank Mayor Lin, Director Wang said with a smile. I understand this. Lin Xuan nodded and said with a smile, "Okay, Mr. Lin, you are busy with company affairs. Director Chen and I will take our leave." After saying that, Director Wang and Director Chen slowly stood up together. "I'll take you there." Lin Xuan stood up and saw them off. He accompanied the two of them all the way to the company gate, and only turned around and returned to his office after watching them leave. At this time, Liu Wen knocked on the door. "Please come in," Lin Xuan said loudly. "Mr. Lin, I'm here to report something to you." Liu Wen walked in with documents. "Mr. Liu, please sit down. What's the matter?" Seeing this, Lin Xuan pointed to the chair opposite and motioned Liu Wen to sit down. "Wasn't our company at the center of public opinion yesterday? This caused the company's stock to plummet." Liu Wen handed the document to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan took the document and looked at it carefully. "But now the truth is out. The stock has gradually recovered, and I believe it will return to its previous level in a few days," said Liu Wen. "Well, Mr. Liu, let's keep our stock price down for the time being and not raise it yet," Lin Xuan said. "But why?" Liu Wen asked puzzledly. Lin Xuan's mouth corners slightly raised, outlining a mysterious smile. "Because I don't want her to come out so early." He said that Yi Zixuan would pay a heavy price. On the other side, sunlight shone through the window onto the soft big bed, and Li Menjiao lay lazily on the bed. While watching the baby playing, she chatted on the phone with Liu Yuxin, who was abroad. "Yiao, don't be afraid, I'll protect you. Those trolls on the internet can't beat me." Liu Yuxin's energetic voice came from the receiver. "Ha ha ha, I saw you and Linlin trying your best to defend me online, using both big and small accounts," Li Menjiao said with a smile. "What's that girl's name? Yi Zixuan, right? She dared to bully my Yiaya when I was away. I will tear her apart with my own hands when I return," Liu Yuxin said indignantly. Hearing this, Li Menjiao smiled gently and quickly comforted her bestie. Okay, she has received the punishment she deserves." Liu Yuxin still felt unsatisfied. Only detained for 10 days, this is too easy for her. Just as the two were chatting enthusiastically, a childish voice suddenly rang out. "Mom Tilda." Xiaobao staggered with his short legs, holding his favorite toy tightly in his hand, and slowly walked towards Li Menjiao. Seeing this, Li Menjiao quickly looked at the cute Xiaobao tenderly and asked softly, "What's wrong with Xiaobao?" Just then, an unpleasant smell entered Li Menjiao's nose. "Did you poop, huh?" She picked up Xiaobao and said with a smile. "Hehe." Xiaobao was held high up by his mother, and an extremely bright smile bloomed on his little face. "Xingxin, I won't talk to you for now. I'm going to change the baby's diaper," Li Menjiao said into the phone. "Well, okay, I'm ready to rest too." It was already late at night for Liu Yuxin. Chapter 438, The Most Beautiful Family. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye it was evening. Lin Xuan goes home after get off work. When he returned to Haitian Yijing, he saw Li Menjiao busy in the kitchen. She was seen with her back to the kitchen door, her graceful figure swaying slightly with the movements of her hands. While fiddling with the ingredients on the plate, he hummed a cheerful tune. Li Menjiao doesn't have to go to work now. She happily takes care of her baby and cooks delicious food at home every day. "Wife," Lin Xuan walked silently behind her, suddenly opened his arms, and hugged Li Menjiao's slender waist tightly. Li Menjiao screamed, and Lin Xuan turned her body around instantly, so that they were facing each other. Immediately afterwards, Lin Xuan bent down and gave Li Menjiao a kiss. "You stinky husband, you're going to scare me to death." Li Menjiao glared at Lin Xuan coquettishly, and her pink little face flushed with fright and shyness. She raised her fair little hand and gently patted the man's chest. "What are we having for dinner tonight?" Lin Xuan asked with a smile. Li Menjiao pouted her lips deliberately and said in a pretended angry tone, "HMPH, you won't have anything to eat tonight. Go out and have a good time." Seeing this, Lin Xuan showed a sly smile on his face. His hands became dishonest, and he said jokingly, "Ah, why doesn't my husband have anything to eat? If he can't eat anything, he'll eat you." Then he leaned over again and kissed the cute and charming little wife in front of him. As they were kissing, suddenly a soft ding sound was heard. "Okay, stop it." Li Menjiao seemed to realize something and quickly broke free from Lin Xuan's arms. Then she swiftly put on thick heat-proof gloves and walked quickly towards the oven. As the oven door slowly opened, a mouth-watering aroma instantly filled the entire kitchen. Li Menjiao held a huge, steaming pizza in her hand. "Eating pizza today?" Lin Xuan asked with a smile. Yes, how about the crispy crayfish and tender chicken pizza? Delicious, right? Go to the living room and sit down," Li Menjiao responded with a smile on her face. Lin Xuan came to the living room and sat down obediently, holding the knife and fork in both hands, looking at Li Menjiao, who was walking towards him with anticipation. Li Menjiao put the pizza on the table, then went back to the kitchen and served a delicious shrimp fried rice, a plate of golden and crispy salt and pepper lamb chops, and egg tarts with a rich milky aroma. Thank you for your hard work, my wife. Lin Xuan picked up Li Menjiao and sat her steadily on his lap. Hubby, try it. Li Menjiao reached out and took a small piece of triangular pizza and put it to Lin Xuan's mouth. Lin Xuan bit off most of the pizza in one bite, and the cheese inside the pizza was even stretched into strings. Why can't you pull it continuously? Li Menjiao looked at Lin Xuan's funny look and laughed. As night falls and the lights come on, the hustle and bustle of the city complements the lights. After dinner, Li Menjiao took Lin Xuan's arm and went for a walk on the bustling streets of Jinghai City. The weather was still very cold at this time, and the cold air seemed to be able to penetrate the clothes and reach the skin, but this did not affect the warm and sweet atmosphere between the two. Fine snowflakes are slowly falling in the night sky, as light and beautiful as feathers scattered by angels. These little snowflakes fell on their shoulders' hair. Li Menjiao happily snuggled up to Lin Xuan, and as she walked slowly forward, she enthusiastically narrated the interesting things that happened to the children that day. At this moment, Li Menjiao inadvertently caught a glimpse of a figure not far away. She was startled for a moment, then stopped and followed the figure that was walking away. Wife, what are you looking at? Lin Xuan asked when he noticed his wife's strange behavior. Nothing, it's just that the figure just now looked like Linlin. Li Menjiao pointed at a girl in the distance who was walking arm in arm with a man and disappeared around the corner. Really, why didn't I see it? Lin Xuan said. Maybe I saw it wrong. Li Menjiao shook her head gently, then lowered her head to take a sip of the steaming milk tea in her hand, and continued to walk forward with Lin Xuan. By the way, wife, there is something I forgot to tell you, Lin Xuan said. Oh, what's the matter? Li Menjiao looked up at Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan's mouth corners slightly raised, revealing a happy smile. Someone from the municipal government came to me today and said they were going to award our family the honorary title of the most beautiful family of 2025. Really? Li Menjiao's eyes lit up. When has your husband ever lied to you? Lin Xuan gently stretched out his hand and pinched Li Menjiao's pink cheek lightly. That's great. Li Menjiao was as happy as a child and cheered. She quickly opened her arms, hugged Lin Xuan's neck tightly, buried her little face in his broad and warm chest, and smiled brightly. Lin Xuan quickly reached out to hold the milk teacup in his wife's hand and smiled dotingly. The milk tea is about to spill out. Afterwards, Li Menjiao contentedly let go of Lin Xuan's neck, still holding his arm intimately, and the two walked forward side by side, and their happy voices could be heard on the street. Honey, what do you think we should wear when we go on stage to receive the award? Can the baby come on stage with us? Sure. 10 days later, in Jinghai City Detention Center, a woman in dark blue labor camp clothes was sitting in front of a simple table. Her once beautiful face now looked haggard and tired. At this time, a female police officer slowly came over, handed a document to the woman, and said softly, Yi Zixuan, just sign here and you can leave. Yi Zixuan raised her head, her eyes revealing unconcealable anger and resentment. She grabbed the pen and signed her name on the document vigorously. Then Yi Zixuan began to pack up her belongings quickly, her movements hurriedly and roughly. As she cleaned up, she kept cursing. Li Menjiao, you're the one who ruined me. You wait for me. When I get out, I will never let you go. Just as Yi Zixuan was cursing with resentment, she suddenly felt a chill coming from behind her. When she turned her head subconsciously, she was surprised to find two male policemen in uniform standing behind her. One of the male police officers said expressionlessly, Yi Zixuan, after investigation, you are suspected of fabricating and spreading false information about securities transactions. Please come with us now. Hearing this, Yi Zixuan felt like she was struck by lightning, and her whole body froze instantly. She looked at the two majestic policemen in front of her with despair on her face. The package she had just packed fell to the ground with a pop because her hands had lost strength. Chapter 439, Mayor Jinghai's Appreciation. Almost at the same time, in the conference hall of Jinghai Municipal Government. Now let us welcome our most beautiful family of the year, the Lin Xuan family. Following the host's announcement, there was warm applause from the audience. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao were seen walking onto the stage slowly with light steps, with Dabao and Zaya Abao in their arms respectively, with happy smiles on their faces. The two little guys stared with their big round eyes, looked curiously at the densely packed crowd below the stage, and waved their hands and feet happily. Soon after, Mayor Lin also came to the stage. He walked up to Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao with a smile on his face, extended his hands cordially, shook hands with them respectively, and said gently, "Thank you for your virtue and dedication, and for setting an example for our city." After saying that, Mayor Lin turned around, took the certificate of honor and the exquisite trophy from the staff beside him, and then handed them to Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao. "Thank you for the government's recognition. This is what we should do." Lin Xuan smiled humbly. Afterwards, Lin Xuan held up the certificate in his hand, and Li Menjiao held the shining trophy. In between the two, Dabo and Xiaobo were tightly embraced by their parents. At this moment, happiness, glory, and warmth are intertwined to form an incomparably beautiful picture. The photographer quickly pressed the shutter, capturing this meaningful moment forever in the lens. After the award ceremony, Lin Xuan was invited by Mayor Lin to his office. Walking into the mayor's office, Lin Xuan felt a solemn atmosphere, but this feeling was quickly dispelled by Mayor Lin's warm and cordial words. "Chairman Lin, please sit anywhere," Mayor Lin said with a smile. "Thank you, Mayor Lin." Lin Xuan responded politely, then walked to a soft and comfortable sofa and slowly sat down. "Would you like black tea or green tea?" Mayor Lin asked gently. "I'm fine with either." Lin Xuan smiled slightly, indicating that he was not picky. "Then let's have black tea. The Lunar New Year is coming soon and it represents prosperity," Mayor Lin said with a smile. After that, he turned to his secretary and shouted, "Secretary Q, 2 cups of black tea." After giving the order, Mayor Lin turned around and sat down facing Lin Xuan. He gazed at the young and promising entrepreneur in front of him with admiration and exclaimed sincerely, "Director Lin, I didn't expect that you could accomplish such a great career at such a young age. It's really amazing. No, this is just the beginning. I have to thank the government for its strong support." Lin Xuan said modestly, "Be humble, your Xuanmeng company is thriving now. You can't stop because of other people's rumors and slander," Mayor Lin said. Lin Xuan couldn't help but feel grateful, and he quickly said, "Speaking of this, I have to thank the mayor for his help." "Hey, why should you thank me? You are not afraid of being criticized if you are upright. I just don't want the excellent enterprises in our Jinghai city to be harmed." Mayor Lin waved his hand and said righteously. Then he suddenly asked seriously, "Director Lin, I heard that your company is now preparing to enter the smartphone industry." Lin Xuan nodded and responded, "Yes, Mayor, we do have this plan." "Well, are you sure? This is not a trivial matter," Mayor Lin asked with concern. "I choose to enter this industry only because I am absolutely sure," Lin Xuan said with a smile. Hearing this, Mayor Lin showed a gratified smile on his face and praised loudly. "Haha, great. Young people should have this kind of courage and move forward. I have full confidence in you," Mayor Lin said. "If a top high-tech enterprise emerges in Jinghai City in the future, it will have a huge boost to the city's GDP growth, employment promotion, and other aspects." After that, Mayor Lin slowly stood up, walked to Lin Xuan's side, patted him on the shoulder, and said earnestly, "Mr. Lin, I hope you can lead the company to continue to grow and develop and make outstanding contributions to Jinghai City. If you encounter any difficulties in the future and need support and help from the government, feel free to come to me." Lin Xuan straightened up and said firmly, "Okay." Half an hour later, Lin Xuan walked out of the City Hall building and returned to his car. He turned around and looked with a smile at Li Menjiao and their 2 lovely children sitting in the back seat. "Get ready to go back." Li Menjiao held up Xiaobao's chubby little hand and shouted happily, "Let's go, Tilda." Lin Xuan started the car and drove towards home. After returning home, Zhang Xuelan and Huang Shifeng came to greet me. Zhang Xuelan couldn't wait to receive the exquisite certificate of the most beautiful family and the shining trophy from Li Menjiao. She held it carefully in her hands. Her eyes narrowed into slits and looked at it carefully with joy. He kept muttering to himself, "It's so beautiful. I must put it in the most conspicuous place in the house so that everyone can see it as soon as they enter the door." Huang Shifeng also watched all this with a look of relief. As night falls, the hustle and bustle of the city is gradually swallowed up by the darkness. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao lay on the comfortable big bed, ready to go to sleep. There was only a dim bedside lamp on in the room, casting soft light on them. Li Menjiao lay on her side, holding a mobile phone in her hand, her beautiful eyes staring intently at the screen. Suddenly, a piece of news caught her attention. Yi, who previously spread rumors about Jinghai Xuanmeng Company, is now suspected of fabricating and spreading false information about securities transactions. He has been arrested according to law and may face criminal penalties. Li Menjiao widened her eyes in surprise and quickly looked up at Lin Xuan beside her and asked, Hubby, didn't she just get out? Why was she arrested again?" Lin Xuan's mouth corners slightly raised, revealing a faint smile. "Yes, I know. What exactly does this crime mean? Li Menjiao asked. Lin Xuan gently squeezed Li Menjiao's soft little hand and explained patiently. Didn't she spread rumors to defame you before? It caused our company's stock price to take a hit, and we lost a lot of money, so I sued her. Then she will go to jail. Li Menjiao nodded. Well, I said that anyone who dares to hurt you will make her pay a heavy price. Lin Xuan lowered his head slightly, his forehead against Li Menjiao, and said gently. After saying that, he gently kissed the tip of Li Menjiao's nose. Li Menjiao felt Lin Xuan's intimate gesture and felt very sweet in her heart. She couldn't help but press her pink little face against her husband, rubbing it gently back and forth. Li Menjiao is not a saint either. After all, many people have scolded her online before, and they were all very harsh. So Li Menjiao didn't feel pity for Yi Zixuan. This was the punishment she deserved. At this moment, their faces were pressed closely together, their warm breaths intertwined, gently brushing against each other's skin, bringing waves of tingling sensations. The next second, Lin Xuan's hands started to become naughty. Li Menjiao's entire body was covered in blush, and she was trembling with tremors. Immediately afterwards, Lin Xuan kissed her, and their four lips were tightly pressed together, with lips and teeth touching. Chapter 440, Yang Lin and Zhang Zesheng. Time passed quietly, and in the blink of an eye it was already the end of January. On this sunny but still slightly chilly afternoon, Lin Xuan, wearing a black coat, walked slowly out of the Haitian Yijing villa with an upright posture. After he stood still, he turned his head and looked into the house, raising his voice and shouting, "Wife, get ready to go." Soon after he finished speaking, he heard the sound of brisk footsteps approaching from afar. Then a cute figure appeared at the door, skipping and jumping. Come here, Tilda," Li Menjiao responded with a smile on her face. She walked lightly to Lin Xuan, then spun gracefully on the spot, raised her delicate little face, and asked with a smile, "Hey, honey, do I look good in this outfit today?" Following Lin Xuan's gaze, he saw that Li Menjiao was wearing a creamy white fluffy half-length dress, which perfectly outlined her slender waist and graceful curves. The hem of her skirt fluttered gently in the wind. Looking down, she was wearing a pair of long boots, the shafts of which just covered the area just above her knees. Between the boots and the hem of her skirt, a section of her long legs, as white as snow, with graceful curves, was revealed. Lin Xuan smiled, walked forward, bent down and touched it. "Baby, aren't you cold?" "It's not cold. I'm wearing thick stockings." Li Menjiao blinked her bright big eyes and smiled sweetly. "If you catch a cold, you'll be in trouble." Lin Xuan held Li Menjiao's hand and walked forward. "HMPH, I'm not like someone who catches a cold or fever easily." Li Menjiao wrinkled her nose at Lin Xuan playfully and said with a smile, "I just caught a cold, okay?" Lin Xuan said, "I haven't done that even once, Tilda." Li Menjiao raised her chin proudly. The two of them bickered sweetly as usual and walked towards their own parking lot. Lin Xuan drove to the largest supermarket in Jinghai City and began to prepare New Year's goods. Now that the Spring Festival is approaching, the entire supermarket is decorated with red and prosperous colors, and the strong, festive atmosphere is everywhere. As soon as you enter the supermarket, you will see crowds of people, and it is very lively. People were crowded together, and everyone had a happy smile on their face. Li Menjiao walked happily in front, looking around. She picked up a bag of candy, then touched the beautiful new dress. Lin Xuan pushed a shopping cart full of various New Year's goods and followed closely behind his wife. Suddenly, Li Menjiao excitedly raised a pair of Spring Festival couplets, turned around and shouted at Lin Xuan, "Husband, what do you think of this couplet?" Lin Xuan walked forward quickly, looked at it carefully, smiled, and said, "It's okay, but not as good as mine." Hearing this, Li Menjiao curled her lips and rolled her eyes at him coquettishly. "Tusk, you only know how to brag. If you have the ability, come and write it this year." She put the Spring Festival couplets she liked into the shopping cart, and then picked out some red lanterns, blessing stickers, and other New Year decorations. As she walked, Li Menjiao's attention was attracted by the snack area not far away. Her eyes suddenly lit up, and she couldn't wait to trot towards the snack area. "Wife, slow down," Lin Xuan shouted while pushing the shopping cart and following closely behind. Li Menjiao happily chose her favorite snacks, chips, nuts, chocolate. While stuffing things into the shopping cart, he spoke to Lin Xuan in a mischievous manner. "During the Chinese New Year, we should eat snacks to our heart's content." "Little greedy," Lin Xuan smiled indulgently. Li Menjiao continued to choose in the snack area, and suddenly, another couple appeared at the corner. I saw the petite woman affectionately holding the arm of the man next to her, and the two of them were talking and laughing as they pushed a shopping cart full of items slowly forward. But soon the woman turned her head inadvertently and her eyes happened to meet Li Menjiao's, and she was stunned. Lin, Li Menjiao shouted in surprise, her big eyes wide open. Yaya, why are you here? Yang Lin instantly let go of the man's arm, and her fair and delicate face turned red like a ripe apple, and even her ears turned red. Brother Xuan, sister-in-law, hello. Zhang Zesheng smiled awkwardly. When did it happen? Li Menjiao narrowed her eyes and looked at the two of them. Yang Lin lowered her head and fiddled with the corners of her clothes nervously with her hands. Just recently, Li Menjiao turned to look at her husband and found that he was looking at them calmly. Lin, come here for a moment. Li Menjiao called softly, reached out and grabbed Yang Lin's arm, leading her to a more secluded corner. After standing still, Li Menjiao showed a sly smile on her face, stared straight at Yang Lin and said, Hey Lin, how long are you going to keep this a secret? Yang Lin couldn't help but lower her head shyly and explained in a low voice. It's not stable yet. I plan to tell you after the new year. Li Menjiao snorted and put her hands on her hips. Humph, you know the truth, but don't report it, Lin. You should be prepared to accept the punishment from your girlfriends. Then she took out her cell phone and found their roommates group. No, Yaya, let me treat you to a big meal, okay? Yang Lin hurriedly stopped him. Unfortunately, it was still a step too late. Li Menjiao's little hands typed quickly and then clicked the send button. Lin, the only girl in our dormitory, has finally found her partner. After a while, Chen Manman was the first to reply. What? Liu Yuxin also sent a series of question marks. After returning home in the evening, Li Menjiao pestered Lin Xuan and asked with blinking eyes, Husband, tell me honestly, did you know that they were together a long time ago? Lin Xuan's heart trembled when he heard this, but he pretended to be calm and replied, No, I just found out about it. After saying that, he walked into the kitchen and put the New Year's goods he had just bought into the refrigerator one by one. If I let my wife know that I had known about this a month ago, she would definitely be angry and say that I didn't tell her such a big thing. However, Li Menjiao was not so easily fooled. She followed Lin Xuan closely into the kitchen. Her petite hands quickly wrapped around Lin Xuan's waist, and she hung on her husband like a koala. Really? Why didn't you seem surprised at all when I looked at you just now? I am very surprised. As he said that, Lin Xuan turned around and deliberately showed a surprised expression. You didn't have this expression just now. Li Menjiao pouted slightly. Chapter 441, Xuanmeng Company Annual Meeting. Your husband has seen all kinds of storms, Lin Xuan said calmly. After he put away the New Year's goods, he prepared to make today's dinner. Li Menjiao thoughtfully tied a pink apron on him, then continued to hug Lin Xuan from behind, and asked relentlessly, Then let me see your phone. When Lin Xuan heard this, he suddenly remembered that he had not deleted the chat history with Zhang Zesheng. My phone is out of battery. How could the smart Li Menjiao believe it so easily? Really, I don't believe it. Li Menjiao snorted, then reached down with her little hand and took out the cell phone from Lin Xuan's pocket. At this time, Lin Xuan was ready to be tickled by his wife. A few minutes later, Li Menjiao angrily put the phone screen in front of Lin Xuan, pointed at the chat history on it, and said, Humph, you still say you don't know. It was you who came up with this idea. My dear wife, calm down. I will make you your favorite salmon dinner tonight. Lin Xuan, who was exposed, hurried to try to please Li Menjiao. The next second, Lin Xuan felt Li Menjiao's small hands quickly climb up his body and began to tickle him gently. Ha, honey, I was wrong, stop scratching me. HMPH, I told you not to hide it from me. Li Menjiao continued to make trouble. Lin Xuan turned around and fought back, also stretching out his hands to tickle her. Li Menjiao also started laughing. The cheerful laughter of two people came from the kitchen. A week later, it was February. This morning, the festive atmosphere in Jinghai City was even stronger. The streets and alleys are decorated with lights, and a festive and peaceful atmosphere is everywhere. The employees of Xuanmeng Company are also looking forward to the upcoming Spring Festival holiday with great joy. But at the same time, they are also looking forward to the company's annual meeting tonight. Hey, have you heard the news? It is said that the prizes at tonight's annual meeting are super shocking, an employee excitedly discussed with his colleagues around him. I heard about it too. I wonder what kind of gift our President Lin has prepared. Another employee echoed. Director Lin is definitely not stingy. Just look at this year's year-end bonus. It's doubled compared to last year. Employees were discussing privately, with everyone speculating and looking forward to the exciting annual meeting. At night, in the chairman's office in Xuanmeng Building, a gentle and beautiful woman was concentrating on styling the hair of a handsome boy. She gently pinched the boy's bangs, slightly lifted them up, and nodded with satisfaction. Well, it looks more handsome this way. The person who spoke was Li Menjiao, and at this moment her face was filled with a happy smile. Lin Xuan urged impatiently, "Wife, how long will it take to finish it?" Li Menjiao rolled her eyes at him coquettishly, stretched out a small hand and gently pinched Lin Xuan's cheek, scolding, "Don't rush me, Tilda." Then she continued to fiddle with Lin Xuan's hair. In fact, with Lin Xuan's current net worth, he must have a professional stylist. But his wife couldn't resist the sudden urge and insisted on designing and styling his hairstyle herself. So Lin Xuan had no choice but to be a guinea pig. "It will be all right soon." Li Menjiao gently took a small step back, put some distance between herself and Lin Xuan, and began to examine the masterpiece she had just completed. She just nodded slightly, indicating that she was quite satisfied with the results. "Hubby, close your eyes." Hearing his wife's instructions, Lin Xuan closed his eyes obediently. Immediately afterwards, a slight hissing sound came from my ears. The hairspray was evenly sprinkled on Lin Xuan's hair. After everything was ready, Li Menjiao happily took Lin Xuan's hand and walked to a mirror. "Honey, look, this look is great. Isn't it exactly the same as the professional Tony teacher outside?" I saw a figure appear in the mirror. The dark gray suit perfectly outlined his tall and slender figure, and his already handsome face now looked even more angular and imposing, especially the carefully crafted side-parted hairstyle, which adds a bit of domineering president's temperament to the whole person. Not bad." Lin Xuan raised the corner of his mouth slightly and gently turned his head in front of the mirror, looking at his image from all angles. "What do you mean by not bad? It's obviously super good." Seeing that Lin Xuan gave such a bland evaluation, Li Menjiao immediately became unhappy. She put her hands on her hips and pouted her cherry lips. "It looks very beautiful. My wife is so great." Lin Xuan turned around and gently hugged Li Menjiao, then lowered his head and kissed her slightly pouting lips. "That's pretty good. I believe your wife's vision is correct." Li Menjiao laughed and continued to fix Lin Xuan's suit with both hands. At this time, Lin Xuan also took a close look at Li Menjiao's outfit today. She was wearing a light and fresh beige dress suit and frozen jewelry, and she looked extraordinary. "Okay, let's do this. Let's prepare the venue for last year's meeting," Li Menjiao said softly with a smile. "Yeah," Lin Xuan nodded gently in response. Then he took Li Menjiao's hand and left the office. Not long after, they arrived at the largest conference center in Xuanmeng building. At this time, the room was already full of company employees. "Mr. Lin, Mrs. Chairman, you are here. Please follow me to the front row and take a seat." When the staff member in charge of hosting the annual meeting saw the two of them, he immediately walked up to them, greeted them respectfully, and made a gesture to invite Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao to follow him to their seats. Under the guidance of this staff member, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao walked through the crowd and came to the distinguished seat in the center of the first row of the conference center. At this time, the company executives sitting in the first row all stood up and looked at Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao. Lin Xuan smiled and said softly, "You all take a seat." After hearing this, everyone slowly sat down. At this time, the female host saw the chairman coming. She picked up the microphone, walked onto the stage with graceful steps, and solemnly announced in a clear and pleasant voice, "Dear colleagues, this company's annual meeting has officially begun." Then the company hired a professional performance team to perform for the company's employees. The whole venue was bustling and exciting, just like a concert. Chapter 442, She is My Beloved Wife. During this period, Li Menjiao would often whisper in Lin Xuan's ear. After all the performances were over, the hostess walked onto the stage gracefully again. "Thank you very much for the wonderful performance just now. Next, it's the lucky draw that everyone is looking forward to." At this point, the audience immediately erupted into thunderous cheers and applause. The female host paused for a moment, then shouted loudly, "Now, let us invite the respected General Manager Liu Wen to the stage to announce the extremely generous prizes for everyone." General Manager Wen walked slowly towards the podium with a smile on his face amid cheers. When he came on stage, he did not announce the prizes immediately, but instead said some polite words. "Honey, what prizes have you prepared this year?" Li Menjiao couldn't hold back her temper and gently pulled Lin Xuan beside her and asked, "There are special prize, first prize, second prize, and third prize. Which one do you want to hear, wife?" Lin Xuan said with a smile. "Listen to them all, starting from the third prize." Li Menjiao blinked and smiled. "The third prize is a gift package of high-end smart electronic products worth 50,000 yuan. There are 50 places, including the most popular mobile phones, laptops, iPads, etc., Lin Xuan said. "That's 2.5 million. What about the second prize?" Li Menjiao asked. The second prize is a complete set of high-end brand furniture worth 200,000, and there are 20 places available, Lin Xuan said. What is the first prize? Li Menjiao continued to ask. The first prize is a Mercedes-Benz E-Class sedan worth 500,000 yuan, and there are 10 places available. Lin Xuan smiled slightly. Li Menjiao's little head silently calculated for 2 seconds. Wow, husband, this is already 10 million. What about the special prize? Li Menjiao asked. The special prize is the down payment for a small-sized property in Jinghai City. The price should be around 2 million, and there is only one spot available, Lin Xuan said. Then can I smoke for Xingxin? Li Menjiao finally said what she wanted to say. She had been itching to try her hand at the lottery for a long time. After all, Liu Yuxin is currently abroad for academic exchanges and cannot attend the company's annual meeting in person. Ha, of course, no problem, you can smoke if you want, Lin Xuan answered generously. That won't do, I'm your wife. How can I, as the chairman's wife, have the nerve to smoke alone? Li Menjiao said. Then she picked up her phone and sent a message to Liu Yuxin. Li Menjiao, Xingxin, your chance to win the lottery this year is given to me, tilde. 10 minutes later, Liu Yuxin, no. Li Menjiao, my husband has already agreed. You can't come to the scene anyway, right? Liu Yuxin, no way. Li Menjiao, don't worry, Xingxin, trust me, tilde. Then he sent a cute and confident expression. Liu Yuxin then sent an expression of speechless eyes rolling. The draw uses traditional paper lottery tickets, and employees will receive coded lottery tickets when they enter. People like Liu Yuxin, who are studying abroad and cannot come back, will ask others to smoke for them. As for why Liu Yuxin didn't let Li Menjiao draw the lottery for her, the main reason is that when she was in the university dormitory, Li Menjiao gave her a guaranteed prize every time she drew a card. Half an hour later, Li Menjiao looked at the number indicating the first prize on the stage, and then lowered her head to stare at the lottery ticket in her hand. Suddenly, her face was filled with ecstasy. Honey, look, I won the first prize. Li Menjiao happily showed the lottery ticket in her hand to Lin Xuan. It's not yours, didn't you draw it for Yu Xin? Lin Xuan said with a smile. Just because it's not mine means I'm lucky. Just now she was complaining about my luck, Li Menjiao said. Then she pulled out her cell phone and tapped on it with her small hands. Xingxin, look at what this is. She held up her lottery ticket and pointed it at the big screen on the stage, displaying the list of first prize winners, and took a photo. First prize. Li Menjiao sent a proud expression pack. Liu Yuxin, Yiao, you're so awesome, ha. Li Menjiao, who just now complained about my bad luck. Liu Yuxin, it's not me, I don't know. Li Menjiao, I want to keep it all for myself. Liu Yuxin, don't, Yiao, listen to me. Thank you, because of you, the 4 seasons are warm. After the lucky draw, it was the chairman's turn to give a speech. As the spotlight shone, Lin Xuan stood up and slowly walked towards the podium. He took the microphone and looked at the packed audience with a smile. Good evening, everyone. I am Lin Xuan, the chairman of Xuan Meng Company. As soon as he finished speaking, thunderous applause broke out from the audience. This applause not only represents respect and welcome for Lin Xuan himself, but also recognition and praise for the achievements made by Xuan Meng Company. Is the colleague who just won the special prize feeling better? Lin Xuan smiled and pointed at a man not far away who was almost fainted due to excessive excitement, as if he had won the lottery. Seeing this, the staff nearby quickly handed another spare microphone to the man. The man tightly grasped the microphone and was a little incoherent with excitement, but he still tried to shout loudly, "Much better, thank you, Mr. Lin, for your concern." Lin Xuan smiled and nodded, picked up the microphone and continued. It seems that everyone really likes our prizes this year. There were shouts from the audience. I like it very much. Since you like it, let's do it this way every year from now on, okay? This time, the response from the audience was even louder and higher. The entire venue was immersed in a joyful and peaceful atmosphere. Lin Xuan stood in the center of the podium and continued. Looking back on the past year, we have experienced many major changes and breakthroughs. We changed our name from Jinwen Technology Company to Xuan Meng Company, moved to a new office building, expanded new businesses, and achieved the annual revenue target. All of this is due to everyone's unity and cooperation. There was another round of deafening applause from the audience. Lin Xuan paused for a moment and then spoke again. Everyone's efforts and contributions are obvious to all. You have helped the company grow, and the company will naturally give back to you. So I decided that this year the salary of each of our employees will be doubled, and the company's benefits will be further improved. What do you think? Good. Every employee in the audience was filled with happy smiles. Lin Xuan's mouth curled up a little higher, and he encouraged with confidence. In the coming year, I hope everyone can continue to work hard and create brilliance together. After saying this, Lin Xuan bowed deeply to the audience, who then responded with prolonged applause and cheers. Then Lin Xuan raised his head and cast his gaze at Li Menjiao, who was sitting in the first row. There is one person I want to thank especially. She has always stood behind me and given me the strongest support. She always works silently for me without complaint. It is because of her that I am where I am today. At this point, everyone knew who it was. Lin Xuan continued to smile and said, "She is my beloved wife, Ms. Li Menjiao." Immediately, the spotlight fell on Li Menjiao. People could clearly see a shy blush gradually appearing on her delicate face. Chapter 443, Brother, do you want me to wake you up with water? Li Menjiao stood up slowly, turned around and bowed slightly. Wife, come up together. Lin Xuan smiled and called softly. Li Menjiao was stunned for a few seconds before slowly walking up to the podium. She came to Lin Xuan's side, standing shoulder to shoulder with him. Her fair little hand naturally reached out and gently held Lin Xuan's large hand. At this moment, their hands were tightly held, as if their two hearts were also closely connected at this moment. At the same time, the employees in the audience began to whisper and discuss. "Wow, is this our CEO Lin's wife? She is so beautiful," a male employee exclaimed in amazement. Another female employee echoed, "Yeah, this figure, this face." Another young man said foolishly, "If I had a wife like her, I would die without regrets." The colleague next to him heard this and said with a smile, "Brother, do you want me to wake you up with water?" Lin Xuan looked at Li Menjiao, who was bowing her head, and said gently, "Wife, are you nervous?" At this time, he took the microphone away from his hand, and the people in the audience could not hear what they were saying. Li Menjiao raised her head, glanced at Lin Xuan quickly, and a faint blush appeared on her face. She bit her lip lightly and replied, "Well, I was fine. Why did you suddenly ask me to go on stage?" As she spoke, she secretly pinched Lin Xuan's waist with her little hand from behind to express her dissatisfaction. But soon, she held Lin Xuan's hand tightly again. Lin Xuan just smiled and didn't reply. He continued to pick up the microphone and said to the employees in the audience, "I believe many people will be curious about why Jinwen Technology Company changed its name. There are actually two reasons. On the one hand, our company has grown bigger and stronger and can no longer be confined to Jinwen District, Jinghai City. Another aspect is that this company came into being because of my meeting with my wife. So I took one character from my wife's name, and each of them formed Xuanmeng Technology Company." At this moment, an employee suddenly shouted from the audience, "Madam Chairman, can you please say something? We want to hear it." Then everyone started to make a noise. Lin Xuan turned to look at his beloved wife beside him and asked softly, "Wife, do you want to talk? Let me say a few words." Li Menjiao nodded slightly, took a deep breath, and gently took the microphone from Lin Xuan. She calmed herself down, mustered up the courage to raise her head. A gentle and confident smile spread across her face, and her gaze turned to the crowded scene below the stage. If it were a few years ago, she would never have believed that she could stand here and speak to the public as the wife of the chairman of a listed company. "Hello, I am Lin Xuan's wife, Li Menjiao." She had a faint smile on her face, and her eyes revealed a hint of shyness and restraint. "Actually, I'm not as great as Lin Xuan described to everyone. I'm just an ordinary housewife and an ordinary elementary school teacher. It was my first time facing so many seniors, and I was quite nervous." Li Menjiao paused for a moment and continued with a smile. "Although I can't give my husband anything at work, as his wife, I will give him the greatest support and encouragement in the family and life without reservation. In fact, everyone is like this. They need to be encouraged and cared for." Her eyes slowly scanned the people present, her tone sincere and genuine. "So we should be more patient and supportive with our other half." After saying that, Li Menjiao looked up at Lin Xuan and found that he was also looking at her gently. Then she continued, "Of course, I implore everyone to support my husband's work." Finally, she looked around the audience again, smiled happily and said, "Okay, I won't say much. As the Spring Festival is approaching, I would like to wish you all a happy new year and hope that everything goes well for you, your family is happy, and you are in good health. Thank you all." Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao bowed slightly to the employees below the stage. At the moment they bent down, there was another earth-shaking thunder from the audience. As the thunderous applause gradually died down, Xuanmeng Technology Company's annual grand meeting slowly came to an end. 2 hours later, in the master bedroom of the Haitian Yijing luxury villa, Lin Xuan lay lazily on the soft and comfortable big bed, holding the mobile phone tightly in his hand. his eyes fixed on the wonderful recording of the company's annual meeting tonight that was playing on the screen. My wife is quite talkative. How about considering hiring your wife from school to be your secretary? It seems that it is not impossible. Just as Lin Xuan was immersed in his own thoughts, he heard a slight sound of footsteps coming from afar. Then I saw Li Menjiao wearing a loose white nightgown, holding a large basin in her hand, walking slowly towards me. "Husband, come here quickly, Tilda." Li Menjiao called Lin Xuan softly, with a gentle and sweet smile on her face. She walked to the sofa and gently placed the basin firmly on the ground. In an instant, a rich and refreshing aroma of mugwort rose like wisps of smoke and quickly spread throughout the room. Lin Xuan jumped up from the bed, walked quickly to Li Menjiao's side, hugged her and gave her a gentle kiss. Then he looked down at the basin curiously and saw that it was filled with light brown water. "Wife, what is this?" Lin Xuan asked with a puzzled look on his face. "It's foot bath water. Put your feet in and try it." Li Menjiao replied with a smile, her eyes full of concern and love. "Okay, my wife is so thoughtful." Lin Xuan's face was filled with a happy smile, and he sat down on the soft sofa with swift movements. He gently rolled up his trouser legs, pulled them up, and then placed his feet in the steaming foot bath in front of him. "Oh my!" With a scream, Lin Xuan retracted his feet. "Honey, what's wrong?" Li Menjiao asked when she saw her husband's reaction. "It's a little hot," Lin Xuan said. Chapter 440, for the second Valentine's Day. "Then I'll give you some more cold water." After saying that, Li Menjiao ran back to the bathroom with her legs clattering. After a while, she came back with a small basin filled with cold water and poured the water into the foot bath. After pouring it, Li Menjiao reached in with her little hand and touched it, then raised her head and smiled sweetly. "The temperature is about the same now." Lin Xuan put his feet in again, and suddenly, an indescribable feeling of comfort spread from the soles of his feet to his whole body. "How is it?" Li Menjiao asked. Lin Xuan closed his eyes slightly, with the corners of his mouth raised. "So comfortable." "Really? Then I'll try it too." After saying that, Li Menjiao sat directly on Lin Xuan, and then put her own feet into the foot bath. "The foot bath water gently embraces my feet, and every cell in my body is cheering. The heat seeps in slowly, and the fatigue gradually dissipates." Li Menjiao leaned softly against Lin Xuan's broad chest, lowered her head slightly, and stared intently at the foot basin under her feet. Then she playfully stepped on Lin Xuan's big feet with her little feet. Lin Xuan put his arms around Li Menjiao's waist and pressed his cheek affectionately against her smooth and delicate shoulders. "Honey, why did you let me go on stage at the annual meeting just now?" Li Menjiao turned her head, looked at Lin Xuan with her beautiful eyes, pouted her cherry lips, and asked coquettishly. Lin Xuan smiled slightly and replied, "Of course I want everyone to see how beautiful my wife is." Hearing this, Li Menjiao couldn't help but be overjoyed, but she still asked in a pretentious manner, "How beautiful is it?" Lin Xuan said without hesitation, stunning the whole audience. As he said that, he kissed Li Menjiao's beautiful face. Moreover, this kiss seemed to stick to her, and she refused to let go for a long time. She also used her hand to gently turn Li Menjiao's face towards her. It took a while before he let go. Li Menjiao rubbed her face with her small hands and glared at Lin Xuan in reproach. "I didn't expect my wife to be so eloquent. Why don't you just quit your job and come to be my personal secretary?" Lin Xuan said with a smile. "No, I don't. You must be thinking about bad things in your mind," Li Menjiao responded coquettishly. "It's natural for a husband to miss his wife. How can it be a bad thing?" Lin Xuan said. "They are obviously just some lewd thoughts," Li Menjiao muttered with a red face. "Since my wife thinks so then?" Lin Xuan said with a wicked smile. "Look, you're still saying no. I won't stick with you anymore." As she said this, she pretended to stand up and flee from here. But Lin Xuan hugged her back, held her face with his hands, and kissed her delicate little mouth deeply. Time flies by, and in the blink of an eye it is Friday, February 13, 2026. The city's neon lights flickered continuously, illuminating the figures of people hurrying home under the night sky. Li Menjiao lightly threw herself into Lin Xuan's warm and broad arms. She slightly raised her delicate little face and looked at Lin Xuan lovingly with her big, watery eyes. "Honey, guess what day tomorrow is?" Lin Xuan pinched Li Menjiao's pink cheek lovingly and replied softly, "Tomorrow? Tomorrow is our second Valentine's Day." Hearing Lin Xuan's accurate answer, Li Menjiao was as happy as a child. She hugged Lin Xuan's neck tightly with both hands and said excitedly, "My husband spent the first Valentine's Day with me. Let me spend it with you tomorrow." "How is my wife going to spend my life?" Lin Xuan asked with a smile. "You'll know tomorrow." Li Menjiao stuck out her tongue mischievously and didn't tell him. So time came to the next day. When the first ray of sunlight shone onto the bed through the gap in the curtains, Li Menjiao had already gotten up early, quietly walked into the kitchen, and began to carefully prepare today's loving breakfast. She was wearing a cute apron and skillfully handling various cooking utensils and ingredients. The sandwich was cut into a beautiful heart shape and filled with fresh vegetables and ham. The juicy and tender shrimps are also arranged into a heart shape after being skillfully cooked. The golden and crispy egg rolls are also made into small and exquisite heart shapes. In a short while, a loving breakfast was presented on the table. After seeing this, Lin Xuan praised his wife for her cleverness. After breakfast, Li Menjiao happily took Lin Xuan's hand and walked towards their own parking lot. Just as Lin Xuan was about to walk to the driver's seat, he was stopped by Li Menjiao. "Honey, I'll drive today." As she spoke, she opened the door of the Bentley Continental and sat in the driver's seat. Lin Xuan then sat in the passenger seat. As soon as he sat down, he turned his head to look at Li Menjiao and asked curiously, "Wife, where are you taking me to play?" "Your favorite place." Li Menjiao still kept it a secret. Then she stepped on the accelerator and slowly drove forward. Half an hour later, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao arrived in front of a magnificent building. From a distance, it looks like a huge planet. Lin Xuan got out of the car and looked up. This is the Jinghai City Astronomical Museum. At this time, Li Menjiao also got out of the car, walked briskly to Lin Xuan's side, stretched out her slender jade hand to hold his big hand, and said gently, "Hubby, you like looking at the stars, right? I'll take you to the Astronomy Museum today so you can see as much as you want." "Won't you be bored, wife?" Lin Xuan asked. "No, I'll follow you and you just tell me." Li Menjiao smiled. Hearing his wife's considerate answer, Lin Xuan felt a warm current welling up in his heart. "Okay, let's go in and take a look." He gently took Li Menjiao's hand and walked in together. As soon as I stepped into the museum, a man of medium build, wearing a simple suit and with neat short hair came to greet me. With a smile on his face, he enthusiastically extended his right hand towards Lin Xuan and introduced himself. "Hello, Mr. Lin Xuan. Warmly welcome to our Jinghai City Astronomy Museum." Seeing this, Lin Xuan also politely extended his hand and shook hands with the other party tightly and asked, "Hello, who are you?" The man smiled and replied, "Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I am the curator here, Zhang Yuzhu. I have heard of your name for a long time. I heard that you discovered an asteroid. That's amazing." Lin Xuan humbly waved his hand and said, "It was just luck." "Haha, Mr. Lin is too modest. Since you are here, let me personally explain our astronomical museum to you in detail. Please follow me," Zhang Yuzhu said. As he spoke, Zhang Yuzhu made a gesture of invitation and led Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao in. Afterwards, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao toured the entire astronomical museum under the guidance of Director Zhang. It was almost noon before they walked out of the door of the astronomical museum. "Goodbye, both of you. Welcome to come again next time," Zhang Yuzhu said with a smile on his face. "Okay, we will," Lin Xuan said with a smile. At this time, Zhang Yuzhu suddenly took 2 quick steps towards Lin Xuan and smiled with a bit of embarrassment but full of expectation. "Mr. Lin, can you add my contact information? I'm really curious about your successful discovery of an unknown planet, and I'd like to discuss this with you." Chapter 445, Happy Valley. Ahaha, of course, no problem. Let's communicate with each other. Afterwards, Lin Xuan and Zhang Yuzhu added each other's contact information. Immediately afterwards, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao returned to the car. "Honey, this curator is quite enthusiastic. Could he be here just for the last question?" Li Menjiao asked with a smile. "Maybe, but never mind. What are we going to eat for lunch?" Lin Xuan said with a smile. Li Menjiao blinked and said excitedly, "Let's go eat fried pork cutlet rice. There happens to be a very good restaurant here." So the two drove to the legendary delicious restaurant. It didn't take long to get there. They both ordered one of the store's signature dishes. 10 minutes later, the waiter came over with a plate. "Sorry to have kept you waiting. This is a huge deep-fried pork chop and egg rice bowl. Please enjoy Tilda." As the waiter's enthusiastic words rang out, 2 delicious dishes with great appearance, aroma, and taste appeared before our eyes. The golden and crispy fried pork chops exude an attractive golden glow. Each piece is thick and full, and when it's placed on top, you can't see the rice underneath. Li Menjiao couldn't wait to pick up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of fried pork chop, dipped it in the sauce, put it in her mouth, and took a bite. Instantly, the crispy crust of the deep-fried pork cutlet breaks between your teeth. This is followed by the firm texture and rich, meaty aroma of tender pork. A bite of rice, a bite of fried pork chop. Li Menjiao curled her eyes, looking very satisfied. "Wife, what are you going to take me to play this afternoon?" Lin Xuan looked at Li Menjiao lovingly and said gently. At this time, Li Menjiao was eating the meat in her mouth with relish. After hearing Lin Xuan's question, she raised her head and replied, "Let's go to Jinghai Happy Valley. Today I want to be a forgetful mother, Tilda. Although I went to Disneyland before when I was pregnant, I couldn't play many of the attractions. Whatever you say today, you have to experience it." So after lunch, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao came to Happy Valley in Jinghai City again. Although it is winter, because it is close to the new year, the entrance of Happy Valley is still crowded and bustling. Many parents brought their children to play. The children's excited shouts came one after another, and the whole scene was filled with a strong, festive atmosphere. Li Menjiao happily took Lin Xuan's arm and walked quickly to the ticket window to buy tickets. Li Menjiao happily pulled Lin Xuan to buy tickets and followed the crowd in. After getting the tickets, the two held hands and slowly walked into Happy Valley with the bustling crowd. Happy Valley is like a kingdom of joy, colorful and dazzling. Elegantly shaped castle-like buildings rise from the ground, with pointed roofs and exquisite arches exuding a strong, romantic atmosphere. Li Menjiao looked around curiously, then turned to look at Lin Xuan beside her and asked coquettishly, "Honey, what should we play first?" "What do you want to play, wife?" Lin Xuan asked with a smile. "This." Li Menjiao stretched out her little hand and pointed at the roller coaster speeding not far away. She has wanted to play for a long time. At this moment, the roller coaster swooped down from the towering peak like a giant dragon. The passengers on the bus screamed in terror. Li Menjiao looked at them in shock. "It looks really scary. Wife, shall we go?" Lin Xuan on the side gently took Li Menjiao's soft and boneless little hand and spoke softly. Li Menjiao was a little hesitant. She lowered her head slightly and stammered, "How about we go ride the merry-go-round to warm up first?" After saying that, he secretly looked up at Lin Xuan's reaction. "Ha ha ha, what's wrong? Is your wife scared?" Seeing this, Lin Xuan couldn't help but teased. "Who said I'm scared? I'll go right away," Li Menjiao retorted angrily. She rushed forward in small steps, grabbed Lin Xuan's big hand and walked towards the roller coaster. Just like that, the two arrived at the entrance of the roller coaster. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, it was finally their turn. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao sat in the back seats of the roller coaster together. The staff hurried forward and helped them fasten their strong and secure seat belts. Lin Xuan saw Li Menjiao's nervous look, and his hand was held tightly by her. "Wife, are you really not afraid?" Lin Xuan's mouth corners slightly raised. "Don't be afraid." Li Menjiao shook her head stubbornly. "Then don't hold my hand so tightly." Lin Xuan couldn't help but teased with a smile. When Li Menjiao heard this, she immediately became unhappy, pouted her lips, and said angrily, "Humph, if you don't want to hold me, then don't hold me." Having said that, she suddenly let go of her little hand in anger. "Wife, I was just kidding," Lin Xuan quickly explained with a smile. He wanted to hold Li Menjiao's hand back, but she refused and quickly pulled away every time. She pouted and turned her face to the other side, looking as if she was ignoring everyone. "My wife is starting to act like a spoiled brat again. It's so cute, ha. Let's see if she will still persist when the roller coaster reaches its highest point." At this moment, the staff completed the inspection of everyone's safety facilities and pressed the start button. The roller coaster slowly climbed up, getting faster and faster. Not long after, the car reached its highest point and hovered briefly in the air. Soon it reached the highest point and hovered there. Li Menjiao closed her eyes tightly and didn't dare to look down at all. She clenched her hands into fists, and her body trembled uncontrollably. At this time, Lin Xuan gently touched Li Menjiao's clenched little hand. Almost in an instant, Li Menjiao seemed to have grabbed a life-saving straw. She opened her palms without hesitation and tightly held Lin Xuan's big hand. The palms of their hands were pressed tightly together, conveying each other's warmth and strength. The next second, the roller coaster dived down the track like a wild horse. The sudden acceleration caught the tourists on the bus off guard, and screams resounded through the sky in an instant. Li Menjiao's facial muscles were twisted in extreme fear, and she let out a sharp cry. Finally, the speed of the roller coaster slowed down, and Li Menjiao dared to open her eyes slightly. But who would have thought that in the next second there would be another thrilling high-speed spin and dive? Her heart rose to her throat again, and her scream pierced the sky once again. On the contrary, Lin Xuan seemed exceptionally calm and composed. Sometimes he looked straight ahead with a calm expression, and sometimes he turned his head and admired his wife's extremely nervous and frightened look with interest. But their hands were always tightly held. Finally, the roller coaster returned to the starting point. The moment her feet stepped on solid ground again, Li Menjiao felt as if all the strength had been drained from her legs, leaving them limp and powerless. She leaned softly on Lin Xuan, breathing heavily. "Didn't you just say we don't want to hold hands?" "Huh!" Lin Xuan had a faint smile on his face. Upon hearing this, Li Menjiao glared at him fiercely, this heartless guy. The two came to a bench and sat down to rest. At this moment, Lin Xuan seemed to have thought of something. "Wife, wait for me here, I'll be back soon," Lin Xuan said. "Oh," Li Menjiao nodded in response. Then Lin Xuan quickly walked towards the direction where he had just ridden the roller coaster. 10 minutes later, Lin Xuan hurried back with a photo in his hand. "Honey, what are you holding in your hand?" Li Menjiao asked curiously. Lin Xuan smiled slightly and did not answer her question immediately. Instead, he walked straight to Li Menjiao and handed the photo to her. Li Menjiao took the photo with suspicion, took a look at it, and her delicate cheeks immediately blushed. Chapter 446, There Will Be a Next Time. This photo shows the scene when Lin Xuan and she were riding the roller coaster just now. Among them, Li Menjiao's expression is particularly funny. In the photo, Li Menjiao has her eyes closed, and her delicate facial features are all wrinkled together. Lin Xuan on the side tilted his head slightly and stared at her with a smile on his face. "Isn't this an ugly photo of myself? Damn husband, why do you want this?" Li Menjiao glared at Lin Xuan coquettishly and shouted angrily in frustration. As she said that, she threw the photo back to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan quickly took it and said with a smile, "Ha ha ha, I think it's beautiful. 20 yuan apiece, it's worth it." "It's worth nothing." Li Menjiao stomped her feet in anger. Then she reached out and tried to pinch Lin Xuan, but Lin Xuan was wearing thick clothes and couldn't be pinched. Seeing Lin Xuan's playful smile, Li Menjiao suddenly had an idea and changed her strategy. She used her little hand to get in from the bottom of her clothes. "Hubby, laugh again, laugh again." "Ha ha ha, wife, I was wrong, it's so cold." Lin Xuan begged for mercy. After playing around for a while, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao continued to play in Happy Valley hand in hand. Naturally, the photo was given to Li Menjiao for safekeeping. But Lin Xuan had expected this. He actually bought two. Thinking of this, an uncontrollable smile quietly crept up the corners of his mouth. Li Menjiao looked up at Lin Xuan, and just by looking at his expression, she knew what he was thinking. Then she looked at the road sign and pulled Lin Xuan to a place. Soon, the two came to a slightly secluded corner. "Honey, let's play this," Li Menjiao said with a smile. Lin Xuan looked up. A mysterious and gloomy building stands quietly. The sky was crawling with black bats, which flapped their wings from time to time, making frightening sounds. The ground was covered with dark red bricks and stones, as if it had been stained with blood. On both sides of the door there are two huge skeleton statues, with strange green light flashing in their empty eye sockets. Seeing this scene, Lin Xuan felt his scalp tingling and couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. "Honey, can we change it?" Li Menjiao just stared at him quietly, with her little head tilted and the corners of her mouth raised, outlining an arc that seemed like a smile but not a smile. "What do you say?" The moment you step into the haunted house, a chilling chill hits you in the face, and the dim lights and weird sound effects make you feel creepy. At this time, a young couple was groping forward cautiously. However, this young couple is very different from those seen before. Usually, boys stand bravely in front, acting as protectors, while girls follow timidly behind. But the pair before them were completely the opposite. Li Menjiao turned around and said with a sweet smile, "Hubby, there's nothing to be afraid of in broad daylight. Don't always hide in the back." After saying that, he didn't forget to chuckle twice. "Nonsense, how could I be afraid?" Lin Xuan quickly retorted. Although he said this, he unconsciously held Li Menjiao's hand a little tighter. "Then let go of my hand." Li Menjiao smiled playfully. "No, I'm afraid you'll get lost," Lin Xuan muttered. "Ha ha ha, who would get lost?" Li Menjiao couldn't help but burst into laughter. Then she reached out and patted Lin Xuan's head, gently admonishing, "Be good and listen to me, follow me closely, and don't get lost." Suddenly, a ghost in a white robe and with a hideous face floated past the two of them without warning, bringing with it a gust of cold wind. The ghost had long hair draped over his shoulders, his face was as pale as paper, his eyes were lifeless, and low whimpering sounds came out of his mouth from time to time. Lin Xuan was so scared that he almost screamed. Li Menjiao just glanced at it calmly. "There is nothing to be afraid of. My husband is such a coward." Then they came to a narrow passage where the lights flickered. Li Menjiao took advantage of Lin Xuan's inattention, shook off his hand with all her strength, and then quietly hid in a secluded corner. Wife, where are you?" Lin Xuan was suddenly panicked. He widened his eyes and looked around anxiously. But besides the creepy skulls, there were also many hideous and terrifying ghost faces around. Lin Xuan felt his legs go weak, and cold sweat kept flowing down his forehead. Suddenly, a cold hand gently patted Lin Xuan's shoulder. "I am a ghost, Tilda." Lin Xuan jumped up with an ah. "Ha ha ha, husband, you are too timid." Li Menjiao couldn't stop laughing. "Wife, please don't scare me. I know I was wrong." Lin Xuan begged for mercy with a look of grievance on his face. "HMPH, let's see if you dare to do it again next time." Li Menjiao raised her head proudly. Lin Xuan quickly stretched out his hands, hugged Li Menjiao tightly in his arms, and whispered softly, "Don't dare, wife." Feeling the warm embrace, Li Menjiao also clung tightly to Lin Xuan. At this moment, the haunted house staff who were ambushing nearby looked at them speechlessly. How long will these two hold each other? Suddenly, Lin Xuan felt like something was pulling at his clothes on his back. "Wife, don't pull my clothes," Lin Xuan said, looking at Li Menjiao in his arms. "I don't have it," Li Menjiao said, looking up. "Haha, you're still playing this kind of prank on me." Lin Xuan gently pinched Li Menjiao's small and cute nose and smiled. "I really don't have any. Look, my little hands are all here." As she spoke, Li Menjiao quickly pulled her little hand out of Lin Xuan's arms and showed it to him. But at this time, Lin Xuan could still clearly feel a force pulling on his back. Both of them felt a chill on their backs instantly. Could it be that? Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao turned their heads slowly at the same time. In an instant, a mummy wrapped in white bandages, with a hideous face and blood constantly flowing out, suddenly appeared before my eyes. "Husband, run!" Li Menjiao pulled Lin Xuan and rushed forward. The mummy behind him pounced on him with his teeth bared. Half an hour later, Li Menjiao walked out of the haunted house, holding Lin Xuan's arm. "Honey, this is so much fun. Can we do it again next time?" "There will be a next time." Chapter 447, Broken Ice Blue, meaning I love you every day. Time has slipped quietly into the evening without us noticing. After Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao were tired of playing in Happy Valley, they came to the foot of a Ferris wheel. They boarded the Ferris wheel. As the Ferris wheel slowly rose, the afterglow of the setting sun shone softly through the windows onto their faces, outlining a warm outline. Li Menjiao slightly turned sideways and gently leaned her head on Lin Xuan's strong shoulder. They snuggled together quietly, admiring the sun setting in the west. At this moment, the whole world seems to become peaceful and beautiful. "Honey, it seems like it's been a long time since we've watched the beautiful sunset together like this," Li Menjiao said softly. "Well, the last time we watched the sunset together was last time," Lin Xuan responded. Li Menjiao couldn't help but raise her eyes and gave him a reproachful look. "It's the same as if I didn't say anything." After saying that, she lowered her head again and gently took a sip of the steaming sweet milk tea in her hand. Lin Xuan held Li Menjiao's soft little hand tightly all the time, and occasionally lowered his head to take a sip of the milk tea in Li Menjiao's hand. The Ferris wheel continued to rise, and when it reached the top, night fell quietly. Pure white snowflakes fell from the dark night sky. In the distance, the city lights gradually light up, and the bright lights are like stars, dotted on this prosperous land. "Honey, it's snowing again." Li Menjiao looked at the snowflakes flying in the sky outside, her lips slightly raised, revealing an intoxicating smile. "Isn't it snowing every day recently?" Lin Xuan said with a smile. "Why do you always ruin the atmosphere?" Li Menjiao couldn't help but reach out to pinch Lin Xuan's face. "No matter how beautiful the scenery is, it can't be as beautiful as you in my eyes." Lin Xuan looked at Li Menjiao and said affectionately. Li Menjiao originally wanted to continue blaming Lin Xuan, but when she heard these words, she stopped pinching Lin Xuan's face instantly. A faint blush appeared on her face, like a ripe apple, making her look particularly cute and charming. "Where did you learn that?" "I just searched it online," Lin Xuan chuckled. "It's a bit rustic, but I like it." Li Menjiao smiled happily, then took the initiative to shrink into Lin Xuan's arms. At this moment, Lin Xuan gently held up Li Menjiao's face and let her face him. When their eyes met, a strong love flowed in each other's eyes. Their lips slowly approached each other and finally pressed tightly together. After getting off the Ferris wheel, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao saw that they had almost finished enjoying each of the attractions. So they left Happy Valley hand in hand. Soon, they arrived at the parking lot and got into the luxurious Maybach sedan together. Lin Xuan skillfully sat in the driver's seat, fastened his seat belt, and was about to start the car and leave. The two got into the Maybach, and when Lin Xuan was about to start the car, at this moment, the sharp-eyed Li Menjiao suddenly caught a glimpse of a small stall not far away, on which were displayed strings of crystal-clear and colorful candied haws. Her eyes suddenly lit up, and her mouth became greedy again. "Hubby, wait for me. I'm going to buy 2 strings of candied haws too. Li Menjiao said this coquettishly, and then she impatiently reached out to open the car door and walked quickly towards the candied haws stall with light steps. Seeing this, Lin Xuan shook his head helplessly, but a doting smile hung on the corner of his mouth. He sat quietly in the car and waited. Inadvertently, I saw something not far ahead. Under the dim street lights, a young boy pedaled a tricycle laboriously and slowly drove towards this side. And on the back seat of the tricycle sat a gentle and lovely girl. Her eyes were always on the boy's back, with a happy smile on her face. Looking at the tricycle again, there are bunches of crushed ice blue flowers that have not yet been sold out. The boy was driving the tricycle attentively, occasionally turning back to chat with the girl. Although I couldn't hear what they said exactly, I could feel the deep affection from the girl's shy expression and the boy's loving eyes. This is the truest form of love. A girl in the prime of her life is willing to accompany her beloved boy to explore the world. It is rare in today's society. Lin Xuan just waited quietly, watching them slowly approaching. As they approached, Lin Xuan lowered the car window and shouted with a smile, "Boss, how much are these crushed ice blue roses?" Hearing the call, the boy on the tricycle quickly stopped the vehicle, turned his head to look at Lin Xuan, showed a smile as bright as the sun, and replied, "Handsome guy, our crushed ice blue roses here are 5 yuan each. If you buy a bunch of 9, it's only 40 yuan. Do you want a bunch?" Lin Xuan got out of the car and walked behind the tricycle. This tricycle is like a small sea of flowers, with bunches of crushed ice blue blooming with charming brilliance in the hazy night. "Brother, are you planning to give this to your girlfriend? This crushed ice blue is perfect. Girls nowadays really like it," the boy said enthusiastically. "Well, business is good today. How many bunches of crushed ice blue are left?" Lin Xuan asked with a smile. "Today is Valentine's Day, so business is pretty good. There are still a dozen bouquets left here," the boy said with a smile. "I want them all," Lin Xuan said. "What, brother, you want so much?" the boy said in disbelief. Lin Xuan smiled slightly and replied softly, "Well, let you get off work early." Thank you, brother, the boy said gratefully. Then he acted quickly and began to move the crushed ice blue from the tricycle to the back seat of the Maybach. Seeing this, the girl next to her hurried forward to help. "If there is no room in the back seat, put it in the trunk." While busy, the boy couldn't help but look up. His eyes fell on the extremely luxurious Maybach in front of him, his eyes full of envy. He asked Lin Xuan curiously, "Brother, what do you do for a living? When can I afford a luxury car worth millions like you?" Lin Xuan still had a smile on his face and replied gently, "Actually, I am just like you. Both of us are entrepreneurs. As long as you are willing to work hard, you will have something in the future." "Okay, thanks, brother. I've put all the broken ice blue away." The boy clapped his hands and said with a smile, "Well, thank you for your hard work." Lin Xuan nodded with satisfaction. Afterwards, the boy selling flowers with a happy smile on his face took the girl's soft little hand and sat back in the tricycle. "Dandan, great harvest, let's go eat hot pot." "Okay, Tilda," the girl responded happily. They rode their tricycles, going farther and farther away. "Honey, I'm back." At this moment, Li Menjiao returned to the car with 2 strings of candied haws. She looked back and exclaimed, "Why are there suddenly so many roses?" Lin Xuan smiled and stretched out his hand, picked out a bunch of particularly beautiful crushed ice blue flowers from the many roses, and handed it to Li Menjiao. "Honey, this is your Valentine's Day gift." Crushed ice blue also has a flower language. This is also what Lin Xuan said to Li Menjiao next. "What I send you is hope and the sea, which means I love you every day." Chapter 448. Let's have another child. Another week passed. At this moment, Jinghai City is shrouded in a festive atmosphere, and the streets and alleys are full of prosperity and bustling scenes. The streets and alleys are decorated with lights, and red lanterns hung high. The trees on both sides of the road were also covered with colorful light strips, which looked like long, colorful dragons from a distance. The shopping malls and the streets were crowded with people coming and going, with happy smiles on their faces. That's right, today is the annual New Year's Eve. The vicinity of the villa in Haitian Yijing is also filled with joy. The front garden and the back garden are hung everywhere with all kinds of exquisite New Year decorations, with red spring couplets, golden words, fu, and colorful ribbons intertwined with each other. Inside the villa, it was another lively scene. "Kids, come to Grandpa quickly." Lin Zhengyuo waved to the babies. When Dabo and Xiaobo heard the call, they quickly crawled towards Grandpa using their hands and feet. They were having a lot of fun pinching and pulling this and that. "Hey, don't pull Grandpa's hair." Although he said this, Lin Zhengyuo's face was always filled with an extremely happy smile. Heh. Dabo and Xiaobo both laughed. At the same time, Zhang Xiulin and Huang Shifeng, the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, were busy cleaning the villa. Although we have a sweeping robot to help with cleaning at home on weekdays, we also hire professional cleaners to come and clean the house regularly. But as it was the last day of the lunar year, they still did a symbolic cleaning. In the luxurious and spacious kitchen, 3 people were also busy. "Wife, hand me the washed black tiger shrimps," Lin Xuan said. "Yes, it's here." Li Menjiao handed over a large plate. Lin Xuan took the plate, put it in the pot, and started steaming it. There is also its good friend, the Boston lobster, steamed together at the bottom of the pot. "Sister, are the ingredients for 8 treasure chicken ready?" Lin Xuan said. "It's already been prepared. Here you go," Lin Sissy said, handing over a basket of carefully prepared 8 treasure fillings. Then Lin Xuan stuffed the 8 treasure fillings into the belly of a cleaned chicken. Then used toothpicks to sew the chicken's belly together and put it in the steamer. "Go back and take a shower and change into new clothes. Leave the rest to me." Lin Xuan turned around and looked at Li Menjiao and Lin Sissy with a smile on his face. "Okay, thank you for your hard work, husband," Li Menjiao said with a smile. "Hey, come on, bro." Lin Sissy also winked at Lin Xuan playfully, then walked out of the kitchen arm in arm with Li Menjiao, talking and laughing. Next, Lin Xuan made spicy fried clams, fish-flavored shredded pork, and braised duck. Having a great chef at home is a blessing for the whole family. An hour later, Lin Xuan placed 12 dishes on the table. Then the whole family sat together happily, preparing to enjoy the sumptuous New Year's Eve dinner. Come on, everyone raise your cups." With a smile on her face, Zhang Xiulin stood up first and raised the glass full of juice high in her hand. "The year of the horse is coming soon. I wish our family good health, success, and happiness in the new year. Cheers." As soon as he finished speaking, the others stood up one after another and responded happily. "Cheers, Tilda." Even Dabo and Xiaobo were driven by the adults' joy at this moment. They looked at everyone with wide eyes and curiosity, waving their little hands as if they wanted to imitate the adults' actions. Although they could not quite say the word cheers, they were still babbling and smiling, revealing a few little baby teeth. Amidst laughter and joy, everyone raised their glasses and drank it all. Then Lin Xuan's family enjoyed the delicious New Year's Eve dinner. There is a warm and harmonious atmosphere in the house, and everyone's heart is filled with warmth and happiness. After eating the New Year's Eve dinner, the elders stayed in the living room, watching the Spring Festival Gala while looking after the children. Lin Xuan, Li Menjiao, and Lin Sissy went to the beach in front of the villa to set off fireworks. "Get out of the way, watch me," Lin Sissy shouted loudly and spread the fireworks in her hand on the ground. "Sister, what kind of fireworks did you buy?" Lin Xuan asked. "Jellyfish fireworks are really pretty. Brother, go light them," Lin Sissy said with anticipation, and took out a small and exquisite lighter from her pocket and handed it to Lin Xuan. "Why?" Lin Xuan asked. "Because you are my most beloved brother." Lin Sissy shook Lin Xuan's arm like a spoiled child. Lin Xuan couldn't stand his sister's behavior, so he took the lighter, walked to the box of fireworks, and squatted down. "It's time to get ready. Sister-in-law, let's quickly pick up our phones and record this." As Lin Sissy spoke, she held up her mobile phone and pointed the camera forward. Li Menjiao also followed. Accompanied by a slight hiss sound, the fireworks were lit. Lin Xuan quickly stepped back to Li Menjiao's side and hugged her. Just a few seconds later, colorful light burst out instantly, like a group of lively jellyfish rising from the deep sea. They danced freely in the night sky like a dream. After a few more minutes, the colorful fireworks gradually dimmed and finally went out completely. "Sister-in-law, how about these fireworks? Aren't they beautiful?" Lin Sissy said happily. "Well, it looks pretty good," Li Menjiao said with a smile. "Tusk, that's it," Lin Xuan said. "Brother, are you dissatisfied? If you are dissatisfied, come and set off some fireworks," Lin Sissy asked, looking at her brother's attitude. "Sister, it's time to open your eyes," Lin Xuan said with a smile. Then he pulled a remote control from his trouser pocket and pressed the start button. Lin Sissy turned her little head and looked left and right. There's no movement at all. "Brother, are you blowing?" Before Lin Sissy finished her words, a slight buzzing sound came from far away. Lin Sissy subconsciously looked back and was instantly stunned by the scene in front of her. Countless drones took off and flew towards the high sky. After they reached a certain height, they arranged themselves in an orderly manner and quickly formed a large circle. Then, inside this circle, dazzling fireworks were ignited one after another as if by magic. They are like gorgeous meteors, dragging long tails, falling down in large numbers. It illuminates the dark sky and every surprised face on the beach. The 3 of them were tired from playing outside and returned to the Haitian Yijing villa. As soon as they opened the door, Zhang Xiulan waved at them. I was just about to find you guys. Come on. Let's take a family photo for the new year. So Lin Xuan went back to his room, took out the Nikon camera and tripod, and fixed them in front of the sofa in the living room. After everything was ready, Lin Xuan asked gently with a smile, "Is everyone ready?" "Ready?" The people on the other side of the camera responded happily in unison. Lin Xuan set the timer and quickly ran to the sofa. He came to the C position and held the delicate and beautiful Li Menjiao tightly with one hand. Li Menjiao also had a sweet smile on her face and leaned gently on Lin Xuan's shoulder with a look of happiness and satisfaction. Zhang Xiulan and Huang Shifeng each held the cute and well-behaved Dabao and Zaya Abo in their arms, sitting on both sides of Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao. Lin Sisi and Lin Zhengguo sat on the outermost sides. 1, 2, 3, eggplant. Crack tilde. A new family portrait full of love and joy was born. Everyone in the photo, whether adults or children, is smiling happily. Wife, let's have another one. Chapter 449, Nangsan Ancient Town. 2 years later, June 2028. By the slowly flowing river, there stands an antique restaurant facing the water. Although this restaurant is small in scale, it attracts many diners for its unique location and authentic local cuisine. Suddenly, a childish voice sounded. "Mom, I want this tilde." I saw a little girl about 3 or 4 years old sitting at the dining table, stretching out her chubby little hand and pointing at a plate of steamed mandarin fish on the table. This little girl is very cute. She has short, slightly curly black hair and a pair of bright and lively big eyes under her neat bangs. Her face is round and pink. Her fair skin is as delicate as a baby's. And when she smiles, 2 deep dimples appear and the corners of her mouth are as cute as a crescent moon. Hearing her daughter's request, the young woman sitting next to her smiled and said softly, "Well, our chicken seems to have a very good appetite today." She picked up a piece of tender fish meat, carefully picked out the fish bones, and put it in the girl's bowl. Then Li Menjiao turned her head again. Her eyes fell on the little boy who was eating quietly beside her, and asked softly, "Shui, do you want to eat some more meat?" 2 years have passed, and she is still as pure as a poem. The delicate facial features, the graceful figure, and the gentle smile are still lively and charming, making people fall for her. "No, none of these are as delicious as what Dad makes," the little boy said innocently. He has the same black hair as his sister, but it is short and straight, making him look very well behaved. Her eyes are also big, but compared to her sister, she is more shy and reserved. The little face is also round, making people want to pinch it. "No, honey, we can't be picky about food when we're out there." Li Menjiao spoke gently, picking up several pieces of fragrant meat and some fresh vegetables, and putting them in the small bowl in front of Lin Shui. Lin Shui, however, remained unmoved, pursed her lips tightly, and refused to pick up her chopsticks. A hearty laugh came from across the table. Li Menjiao raised her head upon hearing the voice, glared at Lin Xuan, and said angrily, "Husband, it's all your fault that you spoiled the child. Now he has become such a picky eater." Hearing this, Lin Xuan shrugged helplessly, smiled bitterly, and said, "Is it wrong that my cooking is too delicious?" The same is true for Lin Xuan. 2 years later, he is even more handsome. He has handsome facial features, an upright figure, and deep eyes with a hint of maturity. HMPH, then you solve it. Li Menjiao crossed her arms across her chest and angrily threw the difficult problem to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan smiled, looked at Lin Shui gently, and said softly, "Son, eat your meal obediently. Dad will buy you the latest toy when we get home, okay?" When Lin Shui heard this, he immediately stopped fiddling with the dishes in his hands, raised his round little head, and asked innocently, "Really?" Lin Xuan reached out and gently touched Lin Shui's hair and replied softly, "When has Dad ever lied to you?" "Okay, I'll eat it right away." Lin Shui held the spoon tightly and shoveled the food into his mouth in a serious manner, chewing the food with his little mouth opening and closing. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao looked at the 2 adorable little guys in front of them, their faces filled with happy smiles. Then he turned and looked out the window. In the distance, a stone bridge spans the 2 banks, and a swaying black-sailed boat slowly passes by. The weeping willows on the bank sway gently, touching the water's surface and causing ripples. The white-walled and black-tiled buildings are scattered in an orderly manner, reflected in the river. This is the world-famous Jiangnan water town, Nangsan Ancient Town. Just then, Li Menjiao's cell phone rang. "Hello, Tilda. Yayayo, are you here?" A female voice as sweet as a silver bell came from the other end of the phone. "I just arrived at noon and am eating at a restaurant by the river now," Li Menjiao replied. Really? Come to my place and eat when you get there. A slightly reproachful voice immediately came from the other end of the phone. Excuse me, I just happened to pass by here and saw this restaurant and thought it was good, so I stopped by to try it. Linlin, we will come to find you soon, Li Menjiao explained with a smile. Okay, come on, don't dawdle, Yang Lin urged. Then the two hung up the phone. Li Menjiao looked at the two cute kids and asked with a smile, Are you all full? Lin Shikin clapped her hands happily and shouted, I'm full. Lin Shui just nodded slightly, indicating that he was full. Then let's set off, Li Menjiao said. Then she and Lin Xuan each held a cute baby and left the restaurant. They came here today specifically to attend the wedding of Zhang Zesheng and Yang Lin. Because Zhang Zesheng's hometown is Nangsan, the wedding was decided to be held here. Lin Xuan drove to a large courtyard. After the car stopped, Li Menjiao got out from the passenger seat and gently opened the back door. We're here, Li Menjiao said softly. Mom, where is this? Lin Shikin asked curiously, raising her chubby little hands so that her mother could carry her out of the car more easily. Li Menjiao smiled slightly and replied gently, You will know when you see it. After saying that, she bent down, carried Lin Shikin out of the car, then turned around and gently carried Lin Shui out. At this moment, a burst of cheerful shouts suddenly came from not far away. Ziokin Zioi. I heard shouting not far away. Hearing this familiar voice, Lin Shikin quickly turned her cute little head and looked in the direction of the voice. Oh, it's Auntie, Lin Shikin shouted excitedly, and then couldn't wait to stretch out her short legs and run towards the direction where the sound came from. Seeing his sister running away, Lin Shui ran after her. 2 years have passed. Although Yang Lin is still petite, she exudes an increasingly eye-catching and unique temperament. She opened her arms with a smile on her face, and instantly hugged the two little ones tightly in her arms, and pressed her cheeks affectionately against their tender faces. Oh, I haven't seen you for a month. Auntie misses you so much. Tell me quickly, do you miss me? Yang Lin asked softly. I think my aunt always takes me to eat delicious food, the kind that my mom usually doesn't let us eat, Lin Shikin answered obediently. SHH. Hearing this, Yang Lin's heart tightened involuntarily, and she quickly stretched out a slender finger and placed it on her lips, making a gesture of silence. Then she raised her head somewhat guiltily, and her eyes happened to meet Li Menjiao, who was standing in front of her with her arms folded and a serious expression on her face. Lin, what's going on? Oh, it's nothing really. I just take the kids out for a little ice cream and some snacks once in a while, Yang Lin hurriedly explained, a flattering smile appearing on her face. Then Li Menjiao grabbed Yang Lin's arm, pulled her aside, and began to scold her in a low voice. Lin, you can't eat too much of those things. They're not good for children, don't you know? And if you keep indulging them like this, they will become more and more picky. Oh, you'll know when you give birth to a baby. Chapter 450, The Wedding of Zhang Zesheng and Yang Lin. At this time, Zhang Zesheng walked out of the house in the yard. Brother Xuan, you are here. As soon as he saw Lin Xuan, he walked up to him excitedly, put his hands on Lin Xuan's shoulders and smiled. Lin Xuan smiled slightly, looked around this beautiful Jiangnan courtyard, and could not help but nod in praise. Sure, Zesheng, this Jiangnan courtyard is pretty good. Haha, I just bought it this year. If Brother Xuan likes it, you can also buy one here. I'll recommend one to you. Zhang Zesheng pulled Lin Xuan and walked towards the house while talking. Afterwards, Li Menjiao and Yang Lin followed closely behind, each holding their two adorable babies. The group walked into the living room of the courtyard and were instantly attracted by the pure Chinese-style decoration in front of them. The antique mahogany furniture is arranged in an orderly manner, and the exquisitely carved screens add a touch of elegance. Everyone sat on the spacious and comfortable mahogany sofas. Yang Lin first made a few cups of iced milk coffee and brought them up. Then she squeezed 2 glasses of fresh juice for Lin Shikin and Lin Shui. Lin Shikin was seen sitting obediently on the sofa, her legs swinging constantly, her little hands holding the juice cup steadily, taking a sip with her little mouth, revealing a satisfied smile. Lin Shui on the side seemed more quiet and reserved. He leaned quietly on the sofa, his eyes fixed on the TV screen in front of him. Why hasn't Manman arrived yet? Li Menjiao turned to look at Yang Lin and asked softly. She should be almost there, maybe 2 hours later, Yang Lin said softly. Then she also asked Li Menjiao, Hey, didn't Xingxin say that we would be on exchange for 2 years? Now it's been more than half a year, why hasn't she come back yet? Faced with this question, Li Menjiao was a little flustered. Her eyes began to wander, and she answered hesitantly. That, I don't know either. Do you know, husband? Oh, she has a very urgent matter to deal with, so she can't get back for a while, Lin Xuan said calmly. Hearing this, Yang Lin sighed and said, Ah, that's such a pity. Not only will she miss Manman's wedding, she will also miss my wedding. Maybe she. Li Menjiao was about to speak when she was interrupted by her daughter's childish voice. Mom, I really want to drink yours. At this time, Lin Shikin pointed at the milk coffee on the table and said in a baby voice. Li Menjiao quickly turned around and explained gently, No, you are still young and can't drink coffee. Lin Shikin blinked her eyes and asked in confusion, Mom, what is coffee? Why can't I drink it? Drinking coffee is not good for children. Besides, coffee tastes bitter just like medicine and you don't like to drink it, Li Menjiao explained patiently. Hearing this, Lin Shikin couldn't help but frown. The bitter medicine she had taken for her cold and fever came to her mind. She instantly lost the desire to drink it. I'd rather not drink it then. Speaking of the wedding, Li Menjiao continued to ask Yang Lin, Lin, are you ready for tomorrow's wedding? Yang Lin nodded gently and replied, Well, basically everything has been arranged. We chose a traditional Jiangnan Water Village wedding this time. When Li Menjiao heard this, her eyes immediately lit up and she asked excitedly, Do we still want to take a boat trip? Yang Lin smiled and replied, Yes, in a water village wedding, the boat is equivalent to the sedan chair. Then the two women began to discuss the details of tomorrow's wedding enthusiastically. At the same time, Zhang Zesheng was showing Lin Xuan around this luxurious mansion in the style of a Jiangnan water town. The two of them strolled through the garden, stopping from time to time to admire the exquisite buildings and elegant garden landscapes around them, while chatting casually. When will Zhou Quan arrive? Zhang Zesheng asked. It is said that she will come tonight with Chen Jingaming, Lin Xuan said. Okay, I'll take you to experience the customs and people of the ancient water town in the south of the Yangtze River tonight, Zhang Zesheng said with a smile. An hour later, the two little guys, Lin Shikin and Lin Shui, began to feel sleepy, and it was time for their nap. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao left first and came to a luxurious hotel that they had booked in advance. After Li Menjiao coaxed her child to sleep, she turned around and saw Lin Xuan sitting on a chair on the large balcony, staring out the window. At this time, a drizzle had begun to fall from the sky. Honey, don't you want to get some sleep? Li Menjiao walked forward and sat directly on Lin Xuan's body, then stretched out her arms and hugged his neck tightly, leaning against him softly. I just drank coffee and can't sleep. Lin Xuan hugged Li Menjiao and said gently. Then what are you thinking about? Li Menjiao raised her head and asked curiously. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just enjoying the charming rain scene in this Jiangnan water town, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Then Li Menjiao also looked out the window. The hotel they stayed in was in an excellent location, offering an unobstructed view of the entire ancient town. At this moment, fine rain covered the entire ancient town. Raindrops jumped on the surface of the river, creating ripples and blurring the reflection of the ancient bridge and the white walls and black tiles. The alleys in the distance became deep and mysterious in the rain, and oil paper umbrellas swayed in the hands of pedestrians, as if traveling back to the old times. This place really looks like a painting. Li Menjiao was also attracted by the beautiful scenery before her. Lin Xuan lowered his head gently, kissed Li Menjiao's tender cheek, and said with a smile, Do you like it? If you like your husband, buy him a luxury house here. Li Menjiao shook her head gently and said with a smile, No need, we don't come here often. At this moment, Lin Xuan suddenly remembered what had just happened. He reached out and pinched Li Menjiao's cute little nose and said, Did your wife almost reveal the truth just now? Luckily, your daughter interrupted you. Li Menjiao puffed up her cheeks and retorted unconvincedly, Humph, I didn't. Ha, you still say no. I don't have any. Li Menjiao raised her head and bit Lin Xuan's chin. The result was a blanket of kisses. Chapter 451, Brother, are you itching for trouble again? 2 hours later, Lin Xuan woke up slowly and opened her eyes as clear as autumn water. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw a face that made me want to beat him up appear in front of me. Sister, you're finally awake. You can sleep so well, you're such a lazy bum. Lin Shi blinked and said. Lin Xuan frowned and glared at him unhappily. Brother, are you itching for trouble again? Seeing that the situation was not good, Lin Shui ran away. While running, he shouted loudly, Mom, it's bad, my sister is awake. Is Xiaorakin awake? Li Menjiao walked over and asked with a smile. Lin Xuan nodded obediently, sat up from the bed, and answered, Well, Mom, I just had a dream. Oh, what did you dream about? Li Menjiao asked as she changed her clothes. Lin Xuan raised the corners of her mouth slightly, turned her eyes to her younger brother beside her, and said with a smile, I dreamed that my younger brother stole my snacks and I beat him up severely. Ha. Humph, sister, you are talking nonsense. This is obviously not the case. After hearing what his sister said, Lin Shui became anxious and jumped up and down. His face flushed red, and he retorted angrily. Li Menjiao gently touched Lin Shukin's head and taught her softly. Xiaoqin, you can't always think about bullying your brother. You are the elder sister, you have to protect him, okay? I know, Mom. My brother can only be bullied by me. No one else can even think about it, Lin Shikin said proudly. Then she put on her clothes, got out of bed carefully, put on her slippers, and came to Lin Shuyi's side. Brother, let's go play with Dad. Good. The two of them ran hand in hand towards Lin Xuan, who was playing with his phone on the sofa. Dad, I want to play lift-up. Lin Shikin and Lin Shuyi shouted in unison. The two little guys climbed onto Lin Xuan together, sitting on his belly, one on the left and one on the right, and at the same time gently patted his belly with their chubby little hands, with bright smiles on their faces. Lin Xuan, who was playing with his mobile phone in the previous second, suddenly closed his eyes in the next second, motionless, pretending to be asleep. Dad, Dad! Seeing this, Lin Shikin shook Lin Xuan's shoulders and shouted loudly. Lin Shuyi blinked his big eyes and said in a baby voice, Sister, Dad is not asleep. I just saw that he had his eyes open. Dad, stop pretending to sleep. Lin Shikin pouted and muttered in dissatisfaction. She stretched out her little hand and began to tickle Lin Xuan. Ha ha ha, Xiaoqin, stop tickling me. Daddy's awake, really awake. Lin Xuan was tickled by his daughter and laughed out loud. He couldn't help but beg for mercy repeatedly. The originally quiet living room was suddenly filled with laughter. Okay, stop playing. We should pack up and get ready to go out. Li Menjiao walked towards this side slowly with a smile on her face. But Dad hasn't played the game of lifting me up yet. Lin Shikin turned her head reluctantly and said with a pout, Mom, where are we going again? Lin Shui also asked. Let's go find the aunt we met at noon. Okay, husband, please satisfy them, Li Menjiao said with a smile. Lin Xuan looked at the two cute little guys lying on him tightly and said softly and gently, Then let's each hold one up high and then go out, okay? Well, Lin Shikin shouted happily. Then Lin Xuan stretched out his strong arms, lifted his daughter and threw her gently up. Lin Shikin flew into the air like a happy little bird, laughing like a silver bell. As she was falling, Lin Xuan caught her steadily. The next one was Lin Shuyi, who was also thrown high into the air. Lin Shuyi was enjoying the feeling of flying in the air, with a brilliant smile on his face. Similarly, Lin Xuan caught his falling son accurately. Okay, let's go, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Lin Shikin was unwilling to give in and said coquettishly, No, Dad, let's play again, let's do it again. No, my mother will be angry later, Lin Xuan said. Okay then. Lin Shikin was a little reluctant, but still nodded obediently and responded. Afterwards, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao took the two little ones to Zhang Zesheng and Yang Lin's home. Because the hotel they stayed in was not far away, they chose to walk there. Jiangnan Water Town after the rain. The streets were wet, reflecting the last rays of sunlight in the sky, as if they were covered with a layer of golden silk. The air is filled with the fragrance of earth and grass, mixed with the aroma of street snacks, stimulating people's taste buds. The brook beside the street was rippling with water, reflecting the swaying lanterns and hurried figures on the shore. Mom, didn't you say we were going to look for my aunt? But the direction doesn't seem right. Shouldn't my aunt be over there? Lin Shikin looked back and asked with a puzzled look on her face. Haha, baby is so smart. However, Auntie has already ordered a lot of delicious food in a restaurant and is waiting for you, Li Menjiao said with a smile. Really, that's great. I've been hungry for a long time. Lin Shikin danced with excitement. At this time, the younger brother next to him couldn't help but say, Sister, didn't you eat a lot at noon? Brother, what are you talking about? Lin Shikin raised her eyebrows, opened her beautiful eyes wide, and glared at Lin Shuyi fiercely. Lin Shuyi just shut up obediently. A family of 4 came to a restaurant on the river bank. This restaurant is in a great location, right by the water and just a stone's throw away from the sparkling river. Sitting in the restaurant, you can enjoy delicious food comfortably while appreciating the picturesque night view of the water town. At this time, Yang Lin and Zhang Zesheng and his wife had been sitting on the dining chairs waiting for a long time. In addition, Zhou Quan and Chen Jingming were also present. When everyone saw the 4 members of the Lin family arriving, they all stood up to greet them. Have you called Uncle and Auntie hello? Li Menjiao smiled and asked the 2 cute kids beside her. Hello, Uncle and Aunt, Lin Shikin and Lin Shui called out in unison. Ha ha ha, hello, these 2 children are so cute and polite, Zhou Quan said with a smile. Just as everyone was chatting and laughing, suddenly, 2 slender and white hands reached out, picked up the 2 little guys, Lin Shikin and Lin Shui, and hung them in the air. There is another auntie here. Accompanied by a burst of laughter, Lin Shikin and Lin Shui looked back and were immediately stunned. Aunt Chen, they both exclaimed in unison. Hehe, Chen Manman smiled slyly. Let me go, I don't want to be kissed by you. Lin Shikin twisted her small body and struggled hard to escape from Chen Manman's clutches. Mom and Dad, save me. Lin Shui looked at Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao pitifully. Be good and Auntie will give you a kiss. Chen Manman's face was full of smiles. She quickly lowered her head and kissed the two little ones, Lin Shikin and Lin Shui, on their pink and soft cheeks. The two little guys struggled hard, but to no avail. Chapter 452, Liu Yuxin's Return. Okay, Manman, stop teasing them, Li Menjiao advised. Haha, Yaya, your two children are so adorable. Chen Manman finally let go of her hand and said with a contented smile. After being freed, Lin Shikin and Lin Shui immediately ran to their respective parents. They hugged their parents' thighs, and at the same time used one of their little hands to wipe the cheek that had just been kissed. At this time, Yang Lin smiled and said, Manman, it's almost time for you to have a baby. Chen Manman couldn't help but sigh slightly, slowly walked to the dining table and sat down, responding helplessly. Alas, giving birth is not that easy, there are many things to consider. Zhang Zesheng looked around and said, since everyone is here, we can serve the food. Not long after, several waiters came in one after another, holding a series of local specialties that were delicious and attractive in appearance and flavor. These delicacies exude an enticing aroma, making you salivate. After all the dishes were neatly arranged, everyone picked up their chopsticks and began to enjoy this rich and joyful food feast. For a moment, laughter and the sound of clinking cups and plates echoed in the restaurant. Lin, are you planning to take a boat trip across this river tomorrow? Chen Manman asked curiously. Yang Lin nodded slightly and replied, yes, I will meet Ah Sheng in the center of the river at that time. You really don't need us to help you with anything tomorrow? Li Menjiao also asked. Yang Lin waved her hand gently and smiled. No need, just enjoy the unique Song Dynasty-style wedding ceremony at the riverside. I have already arranged the location. Chen Manman clapped her hands excitedly and said expectantly, wow, I'm really looking forward to it. Just think about the wedding scene full of classical charm, it must be beautiful. Just as everyone was discussing excitedly, a crisp cell phone ringtone suddenly rang out. Zhou Quan took out his cell phone, looked down at the screen, then looked up and said to everyone, I'm going out to answer a phone call. Then he stood up and strode out of the restaurant. After arriving at the door, Zhou Quan pressed the answer button and said gently, hello, Yuzin. Zhou Quan, you took so long to answer my call, are you cheating on me? Liu Yuxin's teasing voice came from the phone. Zhou Quan couldn't help but laugh when he heard this, and quickly explained, no, how could that be possible? I'm having dinner with Brother Xuan and the others, and all your best friends are here too. Immediately afterwards, Liu Yuxin's laughter was heard on the phone. After the laughter stopped, Liu Yuxin continued, I was just teasing you. Did you miss me today? Zhou Quan also raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a faint smile. I think about it every day. Then what exactly do you want about me? Liu Yuxin said. Zhou Quan was silent for a moment, then replied softly, I miss you everywhere, but it's been more than 2 years. I haven't seen you for such a long time that my memory of you has become a little fuzzy. At this time, inside the restaurant, Li Menjiao looked down at her phone from time to time, muttering, it should be here soon, right? Because she was sitting very close to Chen Manman. Chen Manman could hear her mumbling clearly. Chen Manman turned around and asked doubtfully, Yaya, what are you talking about? What's coming soon? Nothing, Li Menjiao said a little panicked. Seeing this, Yang Lin naturally would not miss this opportunity and asked, Yaya, are you hiding something from us again? No, if there was anything I would have told you a long time ago, Li Menjiao said with a smile, and then she quickly changed the subject. By the way, why hasn't Zhou Quan come back yet? Yes, it's been more than 2 years and you don't seem to have changed much. You're still the same as before, Liu Yuxin said softly. Zhou Quan held the phone tightly in his hand, with a faint smile on his face, and responded, how did you know? Haha, because I have clairvoyance. I can see your every move anytime and anywhere, Liu Yuxin said with a smile. At this moment, Zhou Quan suddenly felt something strange. For some reason, although Liu Yuxin's voice was clearly coming from the left phone, I seem to hear the exact same words in my right ear at the same time. And the echo seems particularly clear and real, as if someone is standing next to you and talking. Could it be that I have been too busy at work recently, causing too much mental stress and hallucinations? Thinking of this, Zhou Quan couldn't help but shook his head. After a brief pause, he slowly raised his head, looked up at the bright stars in the night sky, and then continued to ask into the phone. Really? Then tell me what I'm watching now. Soon, laughter came from the phone. "You are looking up at the stars like a little fool." Like a little fool. That voice behind. He was sure that it was not coming from the phone receiver, but was actually coming from behind him. Without having time to think, Jo Kwon turned around suddenly. He saw a figure standing in front of him. The person's face made him feel extremely familiar, yet with an indescribable sense of strangeness. She walked over gracefully, wearing a pair of black sunglasses on her face. She was wearing an elegant apricot long shirt dress, the soft texture of which swayed gently in the breeze. The neckline is slightly open, revealing the delicate collarbone, exuding casual sexiness. She wore a thin black belt around her waist, which perfectly outlined her slender waistline. Behind her, she was dragging a large suitcase. "Manager Joe, long time no see." Liu Yuxin took off her sunglasses, revealing her beautiful face and a faint smile. Jo Kwon was stunned for a moment. In more than 2 years, she has become more beautiful. It has a more mature charm and charming style. The face was as exquisite as a sculpture, with distinct features and fair skin, especially those eyes as bright as stars, sparkling with lively light. Coupled with that faint smile, it is charming and fresh, making people unforgettable at a glance. At this time, Jo Kwon had already stood there in a daze. "Jo Kwon, don't you recognize me?" Liu Yuxin said with a smile. The next second, the man in front of her suddenly strode forward, opened his arms, and hugged her tightly. "Yuxin, I miss you so much." Jo Kwon's deep voice sounded in her ears, carrying with it endless longing and attachment. Chapter 453, Why do these ants like to kiss them so much? "Me too," Liu Yuxin whispered softly, her hands tightly wrapped around Jo Kwon's back like vines. The two of them hugged each other quietly, as if time had stopped for them, and all the noise and chaos around them had disappeared at this moment. After a long while, Jo Kwon finally broke the silence. "Why did you come back so late? Didn't we agree on 2 years? I have been waiting for so long." Liu Yuxin raised her head slightly. A hint of apology flashed in her beautiful eyes. "I encountered some things in the middle, so it was postponed." Jo Kwon also looked at Liu Yuxin and couldn't help but ask, "Then do you still want to go back?" "You guess." Liu Yuxin winked playfully. Jo Kwon was speechless for a moment. He stared silently at the beloved woman in front of him, his heart filled with anxiety. At this moment, Liu Yuxin suddenly stretched out her jade finger and gently tapped Jo Kwon's straight nose, smiling and saying, "See this big suitcase behind me? I'm definitely not going back, idiot." After saying that, she smiled brightly. A happy smile appeared on Jo Kwon's face again. "Okay, I just got off the plane and took a car here. I'm almost starving," Liu Yuxin said. "Then let's go in and eat," Jo Kwon said with a smile. Liu Yuxin nodded, a happy smile on her face. Then she took Jo Kwon's hand and walked into the restaurant together. "Mom, when can we eat?" Lin Shikin blinked her big watery eyes and stared closely at the table full of delicious food in front of her. Li Menjiao smiled and gently comforted her daughter. "Be good, there is still an uncle who hasn't come back yet. Can we wait patiently for a while?" At this time, Yang Lin, who was sitting on the side, quickly said, "It's okay, Yayo. Why don't you let the kids start eating first?" Then she picked up 2 big fat chicken legs and placed them in the bowls of Lin Shikin and Lin Shui respectively. "Thank you, Auntie Tilda." The 2 little guys thanked Yang Lin in unison. Then they couldn't wait to eat the food. Their mouths were full of shiny oil, and they looked so adorable. Just as they were eating with gusto, the sound of light footsteps suddenly reached everyone's ears. Following the sound, I saw Jo Kwon holding Liu Yuxin's hand and walking slowly towards the dining table. Yang Lin and Chen Manman both showed a look of astonishment on their faces and shouted in unison, "Xingxin, everyone, long time no see." Liu Yuxin responded to them with a smile on her face and waved enthusiastically. Seeing Liu Yuxin appear, Li Menjiao, Yang Lin and Chen Manman all stood up from their seats and walked quickly to Liu Yuxin. Yang Lin was the first to be unable to suppress her excitement and curiosity and asked, "Xingxin, didn't you tell us before that you couldn't come back this time? Why are you suddenly?" Before Yang Lin could finish her words, Chen Manman interrupted. "Xingxin, I find that you are even more beautiful than before." As she spoke, her eyes were fixed on Liu Yuxin, looking here and there. "This is a surprise for you. I rushed back overnight." Liu Yuxin couldn't help but giggle. At this time, Yang Lin and Chen Manman looked at Liu Yuxin in surprise. However, when his attention shifted to Li Menjiao standing aside, he found that she remained calm and did not show any surprise at all. "Yayo, you're not surprised at all?" Yang Lin asked. "Well, did you know that Xingxin would come back tonight?" Chen Manman asked. "Well, I'm surprised too," Li Menjiao said guiltily. As she spoke, she pinched her fingers unconsciously. "See, Yayo pinches her fingers when she lies." Yang Lin was very sharp-eyed and immediately pointed out Li Menjiao's guilty behavior. You are so good, Ye Ayo. You hid such a big thing from us. Just wait and see how we will deal with you after Linlin's wedding. Chen Manman put her hands on her hips and threatened in a pretended angry tone. Ha ha ha, don't blame Ye Ayo. I specifically told her not to tell you, Liu Yuxin said. Xingxin, tell us quickly, how are you doing abroad? Why do I feel like your figure is getting better and better? Is the food abroad bad, so you become thinner because of starvation? The girlfriends began to ask frantically. Liu Yuxin touched her hungry stomach and said, I'm starving now. Can we sit down and have a good meal first and then talk slowly while we eat? Then everyone pulled Liu Yuxin to the dining table and let her sit down. Mom, who is this aunt? At this time, the lovely Lin Shiken was talking quietly to Li Menjiao beside her. Li Menjiao smiled slightly and replied softly, Baby, she is also Mom's best friend. Her name is Aunt Liu. After hearing her mother's introduction, Lin Shiken turned her head curiously, and her big watery eyes blinked at Liu Yuxin. Liu Yuxin looked back at Lin Shiken with tenderness on her face. Shiken, do you still remember me? I don't remember. Lin Shiken shook her head. Seeing this, Liu Yuxin couldn't help but laugh and explained. Of course you don't remember. You were still very young at that time. Your aunt held you in her arms when you were just born. Lin Shiken blinked and continued to ask, Then why didn't I see you again? Liu Yuxin answered patiently. That's because my aunt went out of the country for something and didn't come back until today. Unexpectedly, Lin Shiken suddenly said something that made people laugh. Then how do I know if you are lying to me? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone burst into laughter. Liu Yuxin did the same. She then took out her cell phone, opened a photo, and gently handed it to Lin Shiken. Look, is this you and your brother? Lin Shiken took the phone curiously and looked at it carefully, although she and her brother were still very young at that time, judging from the background of the photo. That was the sofa in their living room. In the picture, Liu Yuxin has a happy smile on her face, holding two adorable little babies in her arms affectionately. After careful identification, Lin Shiken finally confirmed that the people in the photo were herself and her brother. So she raised her head, looked at Liu Yuxin, nodded obediently, and said, Well, well, it seems you really are my aunt. After saying that, he returned the phone to Liu Yuxin. However, at this moment, Liu Yuxin suddenly spoke again. Since I'm your aunt, can I kiss you? She looked at Lin Shiken's round, rosy little face and liked her very much. Lin Shiken was stunned for a moment. Why do these aunts like to kiss me so much? Chapter 454. A one-year-old boy. Thinking of this, the little guy subconsciously wanted to run away. However, Liu Yuxin was quick-witted and immediately stretched out her hands and hugged her tightly. Hey, don't run, little cutie. Just let Auntie kiss you, okay? As Liu Yuxin spoke, she moved closer to Lin Shiken's fair cheek. Brother, save me, Lin Shiken shouted. When Lin Shui heard the word kiss, he had already run far away. He looked at his sister silently from a distance and shouted, Sister, bear with me for a moment. You don't want to kiss me anymore after your aunt kisses you. Stinky brother, wait for me. Lin Shiken yelled angrily, but before she could finish her words, her fair and delicate face was kissed by Liu Yuxin. Then Lin Shiken broke free from Liu Yuxin's arms, turned around and ran in the direction where Lin Shui escaped without saying a word. Sister, I was wrong. Lin Shui begged for mercy while running. Brother, if I don't let you have a taste of my power today, I won't be called Lin Shiken. Stop right there. Lin Shiken chased after him relentlessly, and the two of them kept chasing each other around the dining table. Everyone laughed happily when they saw the two funny guys. Time passed quickly, and it was the next morning. The rising sun is like a shining pearl, emitting soft and warm light, gently sprinkling on this ancient town. The groom Zhang Zesheng wore a bright red Song Dynasty round-necked robe and an exquisite official hat on his head with the brim spread out evenly. A huge red flower hangs on her chest, as colorful as a blooming peony. He led a huge wedding procession, riding on a beautifully decorated rowboat, and slowly set off from one end of the ancient town. The wedding boat was not only equipped with a passionate and cheerful drum and music band, but also with various precious gifts. There was music and dance all the way, and the atmosphere was joyful. At the same time, at the other end of the ancient town, the beautiful bride Yang Lin was also dressing herself up carefully. She had her hair in a high bun, which was decorated with pearls, jade, and flowers, making it dazzling. A string of pearls hung on her forehead, adding a touch of charm. Yang Lin wore a gorgeous red double-breasted wide-sleeved shirt and a bright green wedding dress on the outside. She holds a small and exquisite round fan in her hand, half covering her pretty face, making her as charming as the beauties in ancient paintings. In this way, she also boarded another boat that was also decorated in gold and jade. and slowly moved towards the center of the waterway. The two men stood steadily on their own boats, sailing towards each other along the winding waterway. The waterways were already crowded with bustling crowds of people. They all stopped to watch, enjoying this Song-style wedding that was full of traditional charm and classic grandeur. Finally, the two boats successfully arrived at the core location of the waterway in Nangsan ancient town. The groom finally saw the bride he had been longing for. At this time, the boatmen began to slow down the speed of rowing, carefully adjusting the direction of the bow, allowing the two boats to slowly approach each other. At a place with an excellent view on the shore, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao were holding two adorable kids tightly, watching the grand wedding in front of them with great interest. As the parent ship gradually approached, its speed became slower and slower, and finally the bows of the two ships gently collided, making a crisp sound, and then stopped steadily in place. 10 miles of red makeup, phoenix coronet and bridal robe, the groom Zhang Zesheng and the bride Yang Lin. The two men stood opposite each other and exchanged greetings. After the ceremony, Zhang Zesheng, with a gentle smile on his face, stretched out his hands and gently helped the bride Yang Lin over from another wedding boat. Yang Lin snuggled up to Zhang Zesheng with a little shyness. Then the two of them walked hand in hand, smiling and nodding to the cheering people around the waterway. Then, with everyone's blessings, they continued to swim towards the wedding venue, the man's mansion. Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao also took the hands of the two cute kids and walked forward with the excited crowd. After the wedding, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao went back first with their two children. Zhou Quan and Liu Yuxin chose to stay in Nangsan ancient town for a few days. The plane landed steadily at Jinghai Airport. An hour later, the door of Haitian Yijing was pushed open. "Grandma, I'm back." Lin Shikin ran towards Zhang Xiulin excitedly. When Zhang Xiulin, who was in the house, heard her granddaughter's call, a loving smile immediately broke out on her face, and she hurried out to greet her. "Oh, my little Chin is back. Did you have a good time in Jiangnan this time?" As she spoke, she gently stroked Lin Shikin's head. Zhang Xiulin hasn't changed much 2 years later. She is still very gentle to the children, but she still habitually frowns when talking to Lin Xuan and Lin Zhengguo. "If I have to say something has changed, it is that I have more white hair than before. It was fun. We ate a lot of delicious food in Jiangnan." Lin Shikin answered happily, her little hands constantly making the shapes of various delicacies. "What about your brother?" Zhang Xiulin asked with concern. "Grandma, I'm behind you." At this moment, Lin Shui also ran in, shouting and rushing towards Grandma. Zhang Xiulin hugged the two children tightly in her arms. Feeling the warmth and joy brought by her grandchildren, she couldn't stop smiling. "I'm glad you're back. Are you hungry? I'll ask Aunt Shen to make you something delicious." Zhang Xiulin looked at them lovingly and spoke gently. Aunt Shen was the cook specially hired by Lin Xuan. "I'm not hungry, Grandma. Mom and Dad just took us out for a delicious meal," Lin Shikin replied sweetly. Then Lin Xuan's voice was heard from the door of the villa. "These two little guys run really fast." With a smile on his face, he walked into the villa holding Li Menjiao's hand. "Mom, we're back," Li Menjiao said softly with a smile on her face. "I'm glad you're back. Are you tired along the way? Sit down and have a good rest." Zhang Xiulin also responded kindly. At this moment, a small figure suddenly appeared in front of everyone. He looked like a baby boy about 1 year old. He was walking slowly towards us from the toy area next to him, taking unsteady steps. The pair of clear eyes stared straight at Li Menjiao, and she called out in a childish voice. "Mom Tilda." Chapter 455, Lin Jiashu. "Xiaoshu, Mom is back. Are you good at home?" Li Menjiao stretched out her hands, hugged the little boy in front of her tightly, and looked at him tenderly. At such a close distance, we can see it clearly. Like his sister, the little boy has slightly curly black hair, which is soft and fluffy. A pair of big eyes are lively and bright, like the twinkling stars in the night sky. There is still some baby fat on the pink little face, which looks chubby and makes people want to kiss it. That's right, he is Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao's third child, Lin Jiashu. As for why he was named Jiashu, we have to go back to the time when Li Menjiao was pregnant for the second time. Li Menjiao, who was pregnant at the time, stopped working and took her maternity leave. When she has nothing to do, she likes to immerse herself in various books. One night, Li Menjiao was leaning lazily on the head of the bed as usual, reading an ancient Chinese book with great interest. Just as Li Menjiao turned to a certain page, her eyes suddenly lit up, as if she had discovered some shocking secret, and she became excited in an instant. Then she couldn't help but take a light bite of Lin Xuan beside her. "Wife, why did you bite me again suddenly?" Lin Xuan reached out and touched his bitten shoulder, saying aggrievedly. Looking at Lin Xuan's pitiful appearance, Li Menjiao couldn't help but burst out laughing. Honey, I've thought of what to name our child. Hearing this, Lin Xuan immediately perked up and quickly hugged Li Menjiao tightly, smiling and asking, "What's your name?" Li Menjiao looked up, her eyes sparkling with excitement, and she couldn't wait to say the name that made her heart beat fast. Jiashu, Jiashu, Lin Xuan repeated the name softly. Li Menjiao explained, "Well, Jiashu represents people with noble character or outstanding talents. It contains good wishes and expectations for the child's future. I hope he can become an excellent and outstanding person." Lin Xuan nodded repeatedly in agreement, with an appreciative smile on his face. "This is a great name. My wife is awesome. She can come up with such a great name." After saying that, he lowered his head and gently kissed Li Menjiao's forehead. The two hugged each other, enjoying this warm and sweet moment. At this moment, Jiashu was still in the babbling stage, and his language ability was limited, but his little hands tightly hugged his mother, whom he had not seen for several days. He buried his little face deep in his mother's warm embrace, as if to make up for the maternal love he had been missing for these days. Huang Shifeng walked over slowly with light steps, a gentle smile on her face, and said softly, "Xiaoshu hasn't seen you these few days, and he cries every day." Hearing this, Lin Shiken, who was playing nearby, immediately jumped over and asked with her big eyes blinking, "What is your brother crying?" "I didn't cry," Lin Shui shouted. At this time, he was playing with toys on the sofa. "I'm not talking about you." Lin Shiken turned around and glared. "Okay, keep your voices down. The little tree seems sleepy." Li Menjiao looked down and saw Lin Jiashu's dazed eyes, his mouth opening and closing, and he yawned continuously. Then she turned to look at her husband Lin Xuan and said with a smile, "Hubby, you play with the kids. I'll go back to my room and put Xiaoshu to sleep." After saying that, she carried the little tree upstairs. Then Lin Xuan looked down at Lin Shiken and Lin Shui, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a doting smile. "Who wants Daddy to lift them up now?" I. The two little guys became excited instantly, raising their hands happily and shouting one after another. The living room was filled with laughter. 2 hours later, it was 10 o'clock in the evening. "Dad, I'm not sleepy at all. I don't want to go to bed yet." At this time, Lin Shiken was wearing a set of cute little bear pajamas, standing on the soft and comfortable big bed like a lively and cute little bear. Her big watery eyes blinked, revealing full reluctance. At the same time, Lin Shui on the side was completely different from her sister. The little boy had already been lying in bed obediently, blinking his eyes and saying in a baby voice, "Sister, I want to sleep." At this time, Lin Shui was already lying on the bed. "Then you go to sleep first." Lin Shiken turned around and glared at her brother again. Lin Xuan walked to the bedside and said to his daughter in an extremely gentle voice, "Baby, all the kids go to bed at this time. If you often stay up late, it will be bad for your health." After saying that, he gently touched Lin Shiken's head. But why can Dad and Mom stay up late?" Lin Shiken said. "Dad and Mom are adults, and our bodies no longer need sufficient sleep to grow like you kids do," Lin Xuan explained patiently. "Oh well." Lin Shiken nodded obediently, then lay back on the bed, crawled into the quilt, and huddled together with her younger brother Lin Shui. Because they are still young, they are afraid to sleep alone. So Li Menjiao let the two siblings sleep together so that they could take care of each other. "Go to sleep nicely," Lin Xuan said with a smile. Then he slowly stood up, turned off the lights in the room, and walked out of the room. Suddenly, the room was shrouded in darkness, leaving only the faint moonlight outside the window shining on the ground. 10 minutes later, "Brother, are you asleep?" Lin Shiken shouted to Lin Shui. "What, I almost fell asleep," Lin Shui muttered in response. "I can't sleep. My sister can't sleep either. You are not allowed to sleep either." As Lin Shiken spoke, she reached out and pinched Lin Shui's chubby cheek. "If you can't sleep, then don't bother me." Lin Shui turned over, facing away from his sister, and prepared to continue sleeping. Seeing that her brother ignored her, Lin Shiken did not give up. She came closer again playfully and said with a smile, "Brother, let me tell you a story." When Lin Shui heard this, his heart suddenly tightened. He quickly stretched out his hands to cover his ears tightly and kept shouting, "I won't listen, I won't listen." But how could Lin Shiken let him go so easily? She immediately took away her brother's hands that were covering his ears, put her mouth close to his ears, and said in a deliberately low voice, "Once upon a time there was a..." Lin Shui had just started to speak when he suddenly burst into tears. "Are you crying already? I just said a few words." She looked at Lin Shui with tears in his eyes and quickly reached out to hold him in her arms, gently stroking his little head and whispered words of comfort. "Don't cry, little brother. I'm just teasing you. I won't tell you any more stories, okay?" Not long after, Lin Shuyi fell asleep quietly in his sister's arms. Lin Shiken looked at her sleeping brother. His cute little face looked particularly peaceful at this moment. I thought, were we born from the same mother? Chapter 456, Liu Yuxin's promotion. A few days later, Lin Xuan drove to his company to work in the morning. The location is still Xuanmeng Building in Haitian District, Jinghai City. But the difference is that the brand of the building has changed from Xuanmeng Technology Co., Limited to Xuanmeng Group. In the past 2 years, Xuanmeng Company has developed rapidly. While owning the industry's top high-tech industries, it has also expanded into the commercial real estate industry, catering industry, electronic products industry, and so on. Lin Xuan also built the Xuanmeng Commercial Plaza, the largest commercial plaza in Jinghai City, in Haitian District. Combined with its own catering and service industries, this place has become the most prosperous and lively area in Jinghai City. When Lin Xuan returned to his chairman's office, the secretary handed him a document. Then he took the documents and went to the company's executive conference room for a meeting. At this time, Liu Wend, Lu Hanwen, Zhang Zesheng, Zhang Haiyan, and other newly promoted executives in the past 2 years were already sitting in the conference room waiting. Lin Xuan, wearing a gorgeous suit, pushed the door and walked in. They all stood up and looked at him. "Director Lin, please sit down," Lin Xuan said. Then he came to the middle of the conference room and sat down. "Let's start the meeting now." Lin Xuan looked at the document in his hand and continued. "What we discussed and decided in the meeting today was the appointment and removal of a new batch of senior executives. And Liu Yuxin's name happened to appear on the list in this document. Liu Yuxin is proposed to be the general manager of the Human Resources Center of Xuanmeng Group Co., Limited. Mr. Lin, although Liu Yuxin is very outstanding among the younger generation, isn't it too fast to promote her to general manager of human resources at this time?" An executive pointed out at this time. Lin Xuan glanced at the executive, then looked at the others and slowly said, "Liu Yuxin helped our Xuanmeng Group attract a lot of investment abroad, and also slowed down the progress of the U.S. country's chip sanctions against us. So I don't think there is anything wrong with this personnel appointment and dismissal." After hearing this, the executive stopped talking. Lin Xuan looked around again and asked, "Does anyone else have any objections?" For a moment, the conference room fell into a brief silence. At this moment, Zhang Zesheng, who was sitting at one side of the conference table, raised his hand and said, "Director Lin, I agree." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Hanwen, who was sitting next to Zhang Zesheng, raised his hand and said, "Director Lin, I agree too." Zhang Hyun and other executives also raised their hands. "We agree." As for Liu Wend, because he is a relative of Liu Yuxin, according to company regulations, he does not have the right to vote in such circumstances. Just like that with Lin Xuan's support, Liu Yuxin officially took over as general manager of the Human Resources Department of Xuanmeng Group. She also began to make drastic reforms to the personnel of Xuanmeng Group. Not only did he optimize the performance appraisal system, he also re-established a new talent promotion system, personally formulated the group's recruitment plan, and selected the right talents. Time passed quickly like a white horse passing by, and in the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. That night, Lin Xuan was still busy processing documents in his office. It was already 10 o'clock in the evening. Suddenly, there was a soft knock on the door. "Come in," Lin Xuan responded without raising his head. But the door was not pushed open. Only the gentle knocking sound continued rhythmically. "Didn't I say please come in?" Lin Xuan frowned slightly and shouted towards the door with a slightly dissatisfied tone. However, the knocking on the door only paused briefly before it started again. At this moment, Lin Xuan was already feeling a little annoyed. He stopped the work in his hands, slowly stood up, and walked towards the office door. When he reached the door, he grabbed the door handle and said, "Didn't I tell you?" Before he could finish his words, Lin Xuan's voice suddenly stopped. "Honey, what did you say?" Li Menjiao was seen wearing a fashionable blue dress and holding an exquisite lunch box in her hand. She tilted her head slightly, a sweet smile on her face, and her beautiful eyes looked at Lin Xuan affectionately. "Wife, why are you here?" Lin Xuan was stunned for a moment. His original irritability and impatience disappeared the moment he saw Li Menjiao and was replaced by a heart full of surprise. "What, can't I come?" Li Menjiao raised her eyebrows slightly. Then she walked slowly into the room. "Of course not. My wife can come whenever she wants." Lin Xuan hurriedly walked forward, gently held Li Menjiao's little hand from behind, with a doting smile on his face. "I'm here to bring you some midnight snack." Li Menjiao turned around and smiled. It's her summer vacation now, and she doesn't have to go to work. Seeing her husband still working so late, she made some midnight snacks and brought them over. I'm hungry too. My wife is so considerate. Lin Xuan lowered his head with joy, kissed Li Menjiao's white and delicate cheek, then took her hand and walked to the sofa and sat down. What delicious food did my wife make? Hey, let's have your favorite grilled eel and beef rice bowl. Come and try it. As Li Menjiao spoke, she gently opened the thermos box in her hand, took out a delicate little spoon and handed it to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan looked closely and saw that the grilled eel in the lunch box was grilled to a golden color, with a slightly attractive layer of oily sheen on the surface, accompanied by bursts of rich aroma. The Wagyu beef slices on the side are cut evenly thin and tender, and the texture of each slice of meat is clearly visible, looking very appetizing. Then he took the spoon and started eating with big mouthfuls. Li Menjiao stood aside, slightly supporting her chin, gazing tenderly at her husband Lin Xuan, who was eating. She asked softly, "Honey, are you very busy lately?" Lin Xuan nodded vaguely and replied, "Well, we are planning to hold a grand mobile phone launch conference soon." Li Menjiao's eyes flashed with curiosity, and she asked, "Is the first smartphone independently developed by our Xuanmeng company going to be released?" "Yeah, by the way, wait a moment, wife." Lin Xuan threw away the half-eaten rice bowl, walked to his desk, and took out a brand new mobile phone box. He returned to Li Menjiao and gently placed the box on the table in front of her. Li Menjiao looked at the box in her hand. She couldn't help but be a little surprised, looked up at Lin Xuan and asked hesitantly, "Husband, can I open this?" "Of course, just open it with confidence," Lin Xuan said with a smile. Hearing Lin Xuan's words, Li Menjiao's face broke into a happy smile. She couldn't wait to stretch out her hands, tear open the seal of the box, and then slowly open the lid. I saw a mobile phone with a soft sheen and simple yet elegant lines lying there quietly. Its smooth curves and soft corners make the entire appearance particularly beautiful and elegant, making people fall in love with it at first sight. Chapter 457, Xuanmeng Cell Phone. Li Menjiao gently stretched out her hand, held the phone in her hand, and began to look at it carefully. I saw that this phone felt great to hold, and the neither too big nor small body fit her palm perfectly, giving people an extremely comfortable feeling. The unique iridescent pink adds a bit of charm to it, and it is simply tailor-made for girls. It has an extremely comfortable grip. The body is neither too big nor too small, and the color is iridescent pink, which is very suitable for girls to use. "Honey, this phone is so pretty," Li Menjiao couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise, while constantly flipping the Xuanmeng phone in her hand. Lin Xuan smiled and looked at his wife tenderly, saying softly, "If you like it, take it and use it first." Li Menjiao blinked her beautiful eyes and asked Lin Xuan, "Is it really okay? If I take it out to use, will I accidentally leak the company's secrets?" Lin Xuan smiled confidently and said, "It's okay, just use it with confidence. Even if it's lost, no one else can get the technology inside," Lin Xuan said. He has absolute confidence in the company's independently developed mobile phones. The encryption core technology used in it is not so easy to crack. Don't even think about it without a whole year. At that time, the Xuanmeng mobile phone had already been released. "Wife, turn on the computer and take a look," Lin Xuan said with a smile. "Okay, Tilda." After Li Menjiao responded, she stretched out her slender fingers and pressed the power button steadily. I saw the phone vibrate slightly. After a brief moment, the phone screen suddenly lit up, and the two simple and eye-catching letters, XM, appeared clearly on the screen. Then the X and M are intertwined and tightly entwined to form a beautiful and unique whole. Li Menjiao stared at the scene in front of her and was a little dazed for a moment. Of course, she knew that X represented her husband Lin Xuan and M represented herself. After staring for a moment, Li Menjiao gently put the phone back into the box, then turned around and looked at Lin Xuan with affectionate and moved eyes. "My husband really put all his achievements into her, whether it is the national chain Xuanmeng Catering or the large-scale Xuanmeng Group. Half of her." When she thought of this, her beautiful eyes began to turn into golden beads. Seeing this, Lin Xuan quickly put down the spoon in his hand, reached out and hugged Li Menjiao tightly in his arms, and let her sit safely on his lap. "Wife, why are you crying all of a sudden?" As he spoke gently, he gently wiped the tears from Li Menjiao's cheeks. "Husband Tilda," Li Menjiao raised her delicate little face and leaned against Lin Xuan. "Yes, I'm here," Lin Xuan responded gently, and his hands unconsciously increased the strength of the hug. "You are so nice to me," Li Menjiao said affectionately. "Silly girl, isn't it natural for your husband to be nice to you?" Lin Xuan raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a doting smile. He gently kneaded Li Menjiao's pink face. Before Li Menjiao could finish her words, her delicate lips were kissed domineeringly and affectionately by Lin Xuan. After kissing for a long time, Lin Xuan slowly let go of his mouth. He stared at Li Menjiao's blushing cheeks and said softly, "No buts, what's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine." "Yeah," Li Menjiao nodded, her heart filled with sweetness. "Wife, come and try the phone and see if it works," Lin Xuan said with a smile. Li Menjiao picked up Xuan Meng's phone again, turned on the screen, and instantly a clear and gorgeous picture appeared. She began to try out the phone, sliding her fingers across the screen and operating its various functions. This phone feels so fast and smooth." Li Menjiao couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. She opened several applications one after another, and each one responded quickly and ran smoothly without any sign of lag. "Let's try using the camera function," Lin Xuan suggested with a smile. Li Menjiao turned on the camera mode of her phone as she was told. As the camera switched, she playfully pointed the phone at herself and Lin Xuan beside her and shouted happily, "Hubby, yes, Tilda." She faced the camera and pinched Lin Xuan's cheek with her little hands, and the two of them took a beautiful selfie. After taking the photos, Li Menjiao looked at them carefully. "Honey, this phone takes really good photos, right? It's much better than the one I'm using now. The restoration is very realistic and extremely clear." At this moment, Li Menjiao seemed to suddenly think of something, raised her head and looked at Lin Xuan, and asked curiously, "What about you, husband? Don't you want the new phone you developed yourself?" "I use it too," Lin Xuan said. Then he took out a brand new Obsidian black Xuanmeng mobile phone from his pocket. "By the way, honey, I forgot to tell you that these two mobile phones of ours are specially customized in-house, and all the configurations are upgraded. There are only these two in the world," Lin Xuan said as he looked at Li Menjiao with doting eyes. Li Menjiao was slightly stunned at first, then said happily, "So this is truly a couple's phone." Then she picked up Lin Xuan's phone and started to fiddle with it with great interest. After the two returned home, Li Menjiao immediately restored all the data from her old phone to her new phone. By this time, the children had already gone to bed. The spacious living room seemed exceptionally quiet, with only a cute little cat wandering leisurely around in every corner. It walked slowly with light and graceful cat steps. Suddenly, it felt its 4 little feet leave the ground, and its body involuntarily flew into the air. Yao Yu quickly turned her head and saw Li Menjiao's smiling little face. "Yao Yu, take some photos with me." So the kitten was forced to open for business. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, another whole week has passed. That evening, Li Menjiao, Li Huaru, and Zheng Kiki made an appointment to have dinner at a newly opened seafood music restaurant. Steamed grouper, salt and pepper shrimp, seafood porridge, and a large pot of seafood coffee, etc. After all the dishes were served, Li Menjiao excitedly raised her new mobile phone to take pictures. Yayo, you didn't like taking pictures before eating before. Why do you like it now?" Li Huaru asked curiously. "There are so many delicious foods, and the presentation is so beautiful. I couldn't help but take pictures," Li Menjiao said with a smile. "Let me see how the photo was taken." Zheng Kiki came over and exclaimed, "Wow, Yayo, what brand of phone are you using? The picture is so clear." "Really, let me see." Seeing this, Li Huaru hurried over to take a look and was also shocked by the high definition of the photo. "Really, the degree of restoration is so high. It feels like the food is right in front of us." As she spoke, she carefully looked at the new phone in Li Menjiao's hand, and then asked doubtfully, "Yayo, I don't think you've seen this new phone before. You will be able to see him after a while," Li Menjiao said with a smile. Then she sent the photo to the small group of 3 and put away her phone. Li Huaru and Zheng Kiki were completely confused. After a while, Chapter 458, Mobile Phone Launch Conference. The time has come to mid-July 2028. The location is Jinghai International Convention Center. Xuanmeng Group's first mobile phone launch conference is about to begin. Logically, for a company that is new to the mobile phone industry, its first product launch often does not attract much attention. After all, the market competition is fierce, and consumers and the media are more focused on big brands that already have mature product lines and a good reputation. But surprisingly, the conference center was packed at this moment. Many media reporters held cameras and gathered their flashlights into a brilliant sea of light. The atmosphere on the scene was extremely warm, and everyone was looking forward to the official opening of this event. This is mainly because long before this, Lin Xuan had invested huge amounts of money in advertising. Whether it is pushing on social media online, posting posters offline, or inviting the hottest celebrities to be brand spokespersons, A series of carefully planned marketing methods have made Xuanmeng Group's independently developed domestic mobile phones a frequent visitor on the daily hot search list. Lin Xuan also said that this mobile phone will lead the real rise of domestic mobile phones, and it will be a pinnacle product once it is launched. These remarks instantly sparked widespread heated discussion in the industry. So today, all the major media outlets wanted to see if Lin Xuan was bragging. In the lounge backstage, Li Menjiao was carefully making the final arrangements for Lin Xuan's dressing. She gently smoothed her suit and carefully adjusted her tie, her eyes full of concern and love. "Wife, it seems like a lot of people came today. I'm a little nervous. What should I do?" Lin Xuan said softly. Li Menjiao's beautiful eyes moved, and she teased, "How can our dignified chairman Lin be nervous?" At the same time, she pinched Lin Xuan's handsome hairstyle with her little hands. "I won't be nervous if I kiss you, my wife." Lin Xuan looked down at Li Menjiao and smiled. Li Menjiao rolled her eyes at Lin Xuan and said angrily, "If you want to kiss me, just say so. Why are you making up so many excuses?" However, despite saying this, she slowly raised her head, stretched out her arms to hug Lin Xuan's neck, then stood on tiptoe and gently pressed her pink lips against Lin Xuan's. After a moment, their lips separated. Li Menjiao glanced at Lin Xuan shyly, then smiled sweetly and encouraged him. "Okay, it's time to get ready to go on stage. Come on, husband." Lin Xuan nodded heavily and responded, "Yes." Then he took a deep breath. A confident smile reappeared on his face, and he took firm and powerful steps towards the stage. The bright lights illuminated him. Lin Xuan came to the center of the platform and said to the people in the audience with a smile on his face, "Dear guests and friends, thank you for taking the time to attend today's press conference. I am Lin Xuan, Chairman and CEO of Xuanmeng Group. Here, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Jinghai Municipal Government for its strong support and care. It is because of this trust and help that we are fortunate to be able to stand on such a brilliant stage and present our carefully crafted products to every friend present here." Lin Xuan's voice was steady and powerful, echoing throughout the venue. Then a carefully produced video began to play on the huge high-definition screen behind him, showing the arduous journey of this mobile phone from creative conception to research and development and manufacturing. As the video ended, the big screen switched to the clear, detailed, and beautiful high-definition photos taken by Xuanmeng's mobile phone. At this time, Lin Xuan picked up the mobile phone on the display stand and showed it to the audience. "This is the Xuanmeng phone that our Xuanmeng Group is about to release after 2 years of hard work. Now it is not just a mobile phone, but the result of countless days and nights of hard work by our team and our unremitting pursuit of the integration of technology and aesthetics." Lin Xuan took Xuanmeng's phone and walked a few steps on the stage, looking around the audience, and then continued with a smile. "Some people might say your Xuanmeng Group has been developing smoothly in the past 2 years. Why do you have to make mobile phones? The mobile phone industry is so competitive now, right?" Having said this, Lin Xuan paused for a moment, then continued. "But what I want to say is that if a company or a group, especially one like us that started out in the technology field and gradually rose to prominence, is content with the status quo and does not strive for progress, it will sooner or later be eliminated by the tide of the times. Only by constantly reforming and innovating and breaking through ourselves can we remain invincible in the fierce market competition." Lin Xuan took a few steps back and continued. "Someone might say at this time, even if you, Mr. Lin, start selling mobile phones, can your first mobile phone compare to those that have been released for several generations on the market?" Lin Xuan stopped and said with a smile, "Hey, that really is a winner. Everyone, please look at the big screen." He pointed to the large screen behind him, which began to introduce in detail the various configurations of Xuanmeng's mobile phone. First of all, let's talk about the appearance of our Xuanmeng mobile phone. It uses an ultra-light and tough nano-ceramic material body, with simple and elegant lines and soft corners, which is very beautiful. A close-up of the exquisite and charming appearance of the Xuanmeng mobile phone was simultaneously displayed on the big screen. On the screen, it is equipped with a 7.2-inch OLED micro-curved screen with a resolution of 8K level, supporting 240 Hz adaptive refresh rate and 2000 nits peak brightness, bringing an extremely clear and smooth visual experience. At this moment, there was a burst of exclamations from the audience. Obviously, such top-notch screen configuration has surpassed most mobile phone products on the market, which is shocking. In terms of performance, we are equipped with our self-developed 2nm Ruilong Super chip, which has super AI computing capabilities and ultra-low power consumption. Upon hearing this, some well-known technology media reporters and senior digital bloggers in the audience began to whisper to each other, with puzzled expressions on their faces. Ruilong Super Chip. I haven't heard of it. Lin Xuan looked at the audience with a smile and continued. At the same time, it runs the self-developed Xuanmeng Intelligent Operating System, supports 6G network, and has Wi-Fi 8 high-speed connection. As soon as these words were spoken, there was a deafening burst of exclamations from the audience. Chapter 459. Not even 3,000 bucks. What? Are 6G chips available? Is this true or not? Everyone looked at Lin Xuan on the stage in disbelief. Lin Xuan stood there with a smile on his face, calm and composed. Facing the faces full of doubt and surprise in the audience, he spoke slowly. You may not believe it yet, but please rest assured that you will know it after the product is officially released, and you can experience it yourself. His voice was not loud, but it was clearly heard by everyone, with a confidence that could not be ignored. The top-level chip awarded by the system has this kind of performance. Then Lin Xuan changed the subject. Next is a powerful imaging system. We use a unique 5-camera module with 3 external cameras and 2 internal cameras. The most important one is a 200-megapixel main camera with a 1.5-inch base. Following Lin Xuan's introduction, the huge screen on the stage began to play a video comparing the camera and image of the Xuanmeng mobile phone and a main mobile phone of Country M. Whether it is landscape, figure, or night scene shooting, the image effect presented by Xuanmeng mobile phone is obviously better than the other party, which can be said to be an all-round crushing. Seeing this scene, the discussions in the audience that had originally subsided started again. This phone is the first to break 200 million pixels. M Country's latest mobile phone doesn't even have 200 million pixels. We are really one step ahead this time. This is so shocking. I feel like I can easily create a great movie with this phone in the future. From time to time, there were bursts of exclamations from the crowd, and the whole scene became extremely lively. Lin Xuan looked around at the various reactions from the audience and continued with a smile. There is also the battery life function that everyone is very concerned about. As he finished speaking, the huge screen at the back once again showed the relevant detailed comparison charts. Lin Xuan pointed at the screen and introduced. Our Xuanmeng phone is equipped with a 10,000 mAh graphene battery and supports 200W wired super fast charging and 100W wireless fast charging. What is the concept? It allows us to fully charge the battery in just half an hour, and under normal circumstances, we can do it for 2 days without having to recharge it. Now, the crowd in the audience could no longer sit still. They all shouted that the price should be announced quickly. A mobile phone with such high configuration must be very expensive. Lin Xuan took a few steps forward slowly, still with that iconic smile on his face, and responded. As for the price, to be honest, there was some controversy within our company at first. The marketing department suggested that we target the top flagship models of Country M with this configuration. It wouldn't be too much to sell the standard version for 6,000 or 7,000 yuan. Then Lin Xuan added, but I think that our domestically produced mobile phones have risen, so we should give them to everyone at a preferential price. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a thunderous applause from the audience that lasted for a long time. Then we'll announce the price. Lin Xuan nodded slightly, thanked the enthusiastic audience, then turned to face the huge screen and shouted loudly. Now let us officially announce the price of this new product. The standard version of Xuanmeng Dream 1 phone with 32 GB RAM and 1 TB storage space is 29.99 yuan. The advanced version of Xuanmeng Dream 1 Pro Max with 64 GB RAM and 2 TB storage space is 39.99 yuan. As the price appeared on the big screen again, the crowd in the audience was completely excited. Various exclamations were heard one after another. This top-notch configuration costs less than 3,000 yuan for the standard version. Oh my God, is Lin Xuan going to turn the entire smartphone industry upside down? The price is so low, could it be a scam? Lin Xuan gestured with his hand for everyone in the audience to be quiet. When the noise from the audience gradually died down, he continued. Dear friends, since this is the first mobile phone launched by our Xuanmeng Group, we have specially formulated a policy to eliminate any concerns you may have and allow everyone to experience its charm without any burden. That is, we support 30-day unconditional refund. At this point, even the netizens who were watching the mobile phone launch conference could no longer sit still. No way can we play like this. This is amazing. I must buy one right away to try it out. Ha 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 anyway, If you don't like it after 30 days, you can return it, so why not? After Lin Xuan announced all the contents of Xuan Meng Dream Phone, he bowed slightly to the audience again, then turned around with a confident smile and slowly walked off the stage. As he left the stage, the huge screen behind him began to display the number of orders for the new phone in real time, and it continued to rise at an alarming rate. When Lin Xuan came to the backstage, Li Menjiao, who had been waiting there, immediately greeted him with a happy face. She looked at her husband tenderly and said softly, "Honey, thank you for your hard work." Lin Xuan smiled slightly, stretched out his arms and gently hugged Li Menjiao's slender waist, and asked softly, "Honey, how was my performance just now?" Li Menjiao looked up at Lin Xuan's handsome face, her eyes full of love and admiration. "It's so good that I couldn't help but immediately order 10 copies." After saying this, a bright and charming smile appeared on her face. Lin Xuan raised the corner of his mouth and whispered, "Wife, you don't have to place an order if you want me to get 10 directly from the company." Li Menjiao shook her head gently, stretched out her hand to pinch Lin Xuan's straight nose, and said in a reproachful tone, "No, that won't work. The company still has to make a profit. You, as the chairman, can't be the leader in corruption." Then she smiled again and continued, "I bought it for my friends to try, and then I promoted it to my husband. What should I do with such a virtuous wife? Reward her with a kiss." After saying that, Lin Xuan lowered his head and kissed Li Menjiao. Li Menjiao used her small hands to resist, mumbling, "People will see us like this, let's go back and kiss each other." Chapter 460, Liu Wend Calls. An hour later, Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao returned to the Haitian Yijing Villa. As soon as the door was opened, Lin Shikin ran over happily, hugged Lin Xuan's thighs, and smiled with her head tilted back. "Dad, I just saw you on TV." Lin Xuan quickly squatted down, gently touched her hair, and asked curiously, "Where did you see it?" After saying that, he reached out and grabbed his daughter into his arms, then gently lifted her over his head and let her sit steadily on his broad shoulders. Lin Shikin was so excited that she danced with joy. She stretched out her chubby little hand, pointed at the big TV in the living room, and replied in a baby voice, "I saw it here." It turned out that Zhang Xiulan had switched the TV to the live broadcast of the mobile phone launch conference. Lin Xuan looked at his daughter sitting on his shoulders with great joy and asked with a smile, "Was Dad handsome just now?" Lin Shikin nodded without hesitation and shouted, "Very handsome, super handsome, Dad is the best." Lin Xuan was so happy to hear his daughter's innocent praise. At this time, Li Menjiao also came forward and asked with concern, "Xiaoqin, where are your 2 younger brothers?" Lin Shikin blinked and replied with a smile, "They went back to their room to play with Grandpa and Grandma. Now it's just me and the kitten in the living room." Then Lin Xuan and Li Menjiao came to the sofa in the living room and sat down. Lin Shikin also got off Lin Xuan and then took brisk steps to chase the little cat Yaoyu, running back and forth in the living room. Lin Xuan took out his latest Xuan Meng mobile phone and checked the number of orders in an hour. As he watched, a satisfied smile gradually appeared on his face. The upturned corners of his mouth were like a crescent moon, revealing the uncontrollable joy in his heart. At this time, Li Menjiao came over, curiously leaned over and asked softly, "Honey, how many orders have you reached now?" Lin Xuan deliberately turned off his phone and said with a smile, "Guess." Li Menjiao blinked her big watery eyes, thought for a moment and said, 10,000. Lin Xuan shook his head. Li Menjiao frowned slightly and then guessed, 50,000. Lin Xuan still shook his head. "It means too little." Li Menjiao bit her lip and raised her voice slightly before saying, "Then, 100,000. Lin Xuan did not shake his head this time. Li Menjiao happily hugged Lin Xuan with a bright smile, her flickering eyelashes floating in front of her eyes like a soft cloud. "I guessed it right, didn't I? Wasn't I? Tell me now." Although she is now a mother of 3 children, she still maintains the innocence and liveliness of a girl in front of her beloved man. Lin Xuan kissed Li Menjiao's pink cheek and said with a smile, "My wife is so smart." Li Menjiao leaned gently on Lin Xuan's broad shoulders and stretched out her little hands to count. On average, one mobile phone costs 3,000 yuan, so 100,000 phones would cost 300 million. She looked up at Lin Xuan excitedly. "Honey, our company has earned 300 million in just 1 hour." Lin Xuan smiled slightly, nodded, and replied, "Yeah, about the same." Then Li Menjiao took out her mobile phone, opened Douyin, and began to browse the review videos about Xuan Meng mobile phones with great interest. "I have already reviewed the Xuan Meng Dream 1 mobile phone for you, and I can only say that it is invincible," commented a well-known mobile phone blogger. After our professional evaluation, we can be sure that what Mr. Lin said at the press conference is true. Everyone, please buy this phone. I would like to call it the most powerful model in history, commented another technology blogger. In another video, a beautiful young girl holds a Xuanmeng Dream 1 phone and happily introduces it to the camera. I got this Xuanmeng Dream 1 phone in an offline store as soon as possible. I have to say, this phone is really very beautiful, especially the fantasy pink color, which is very suitable for us girls. This series of reports shows how popular Xuanmeng mobile phones are now. The time came to the next morning. After breakfast, Lin Xuan brought his family to the coast in front of the villa. A Riva 88 luxury yacht, shining with luxury, is quietly anchored there. The warm sunlight falls gently like a golden veil, decorating the sea surface with sparkling water. As soon as they stepped onto the deck of the yacht, the two children, Lin Shiken and Lin Shui, ran back and forth excitedly. Following behind were Lin Zhengguo and Zhang Xulen. I was afraid that my grandchildren would accidentally fall down. Huang Shifeng and Li Menjiao were taking care of baby Lin Jiashu on the sofa in the rest area. The little guy lay quietly in his mother's arms, blinking his big eyes and looking around curiously. Lin Xuan drove the yacht slowly out of the port, and the sea breeze gently caressed everyone's face. After yesterday's press conference, the rest of the work was left to my subordinates. He can play well with his family. At noon, the yacht stopped in a quiet sea. After eating the delicious lunch they brought from home, the children were all tired from playing and went back to the luxurious rooms on the yacht to have a good sleep. At this time, Lin Xuan and his father Lin Zhengguo stood on the bow of the boat holding fishing rods, enjoying sea fishing leisurely. An hour later, when Lin Xuan was browsing his phone, he suddenly heard a very subtle sound coming from behind him, as if someone was approaching stealthily. He looked back. I found that it was Li Menjiao walking slowly towards me with her son Lin Shui. He was wearing a cute captain's hat and blinking his curious eyes, full of curiosity. The little guy walked quickly to Lin Xuan, raised his head and asked in a baby voice, "Dad, what are you doing here?" A warm smile appeared on Lin Xuan's face and he replied softly, "Dad is fishing." Lin Shui turned his head and looked at the endless sea around him and said, "Where are the fish? Why don't I see any?" "Xiaoi, look what's in the fish bucket next to Dad," Li Menjiao said gently. When Lin Shui heard what his mother said, he hurriedly ran to the fish bucket with his short legs, lowered his head and took a closer look, and his eyes suddenly lit up. There were several lively fish in it. Some of them were quite big. Seeing his son's excitement, Lin Xuan asked with a smile, "How about it, son? Do you want to see your dad catch a big fish with your own eyes?" Lin Shui nodded without hesitation and shouted, "I want a tilde." Lin Xuan reached out and patted his thigh gently. "Come, sit on Daddy's lap." Xiao Shui happily came to Lin Xuan. Then Lin Xuan held him on his lap and continued fishing. A few minutes later, "Grandpa, why are there no fish in your bucket?" "Your father stole it." "Dad, it's wrong for you to steal Grandpa's things." "It's your grandfather who lied. He didn't catch any fish." "Grandpa, it's wrong for you to lie." Xiao Shui looked at his father and then at his grandfather. "Which one of you is lying?" Lin Xuan and Lin Zhengguo pointed at each other and said, "He is lying." Then they burst into laughter together. The hearty laughter echoed throughout the sea. In the evening, Lin Xuan and Lin Zhengguo had a great harvest. A seafood feast was prepared in the yacht's kitchen in the evening. Everyone enjoyed the food happily in the restaurant. Lin Xuan looked at the happy faces of his family members, then looked down at the data on his mobile phone. The orders for Xuanmeng 1 mobile phones exceeded 1 million in just 24 hours. Everything is so beautiful. At this moment, a cell phone suddenly rang. The 3 words Liu Wend were clearly displayed on the screen. Chapter 461, Chip Supply Cut Off. Liu Wend usually doesn't call Lin Xuan at this time, unless it's an emergency. Lin Xuan walked out of the restaurant, came to the deck of the yacht, and answered the phone. "Hey, Mr. Liu, what's wrong?" "Director Lin, I'm sorry to bother you at night, but this matter is very urgent." Liu Wen's hurried voice came from the phone. "What happened? Why are you so anxious?" Lin Xuan had a faint smile on his face. "Well, He Yunfeng unilaterally terminated the chip supply contract with us, and will completely stop supplying us starting next week." Hearing this, the smile on Lin Xuan's face disappeared instantly, replaced by a solemn look. More than 10 minutes later, Lin Xuan returned to the restaurant of the yacht. At this moment, everyone in the restaurant is laughing and talking, enjoying the happy time brought by the delicious food. Has everyone almost finished eating? Although he was in a heavy mood, Lin Xuan still tried to force a smile and asked everyone, "I'm full." Lin Shui raised his hand excitedly and responded loudly. Dad, I'm just a little bit short, Tilda. Lin Shikin, who was sitting nearby, mumbled incoherently with her mouth full of delicious seafood. Then Dad will wait for you to finish eating, Lin Xuan said gently. Then he returned to his seat, lowered his head and looked at his mobile phone quietly, his fingers sliding across the pages from time to time. Li Menjiao, who was sitting next to him, kept watching her husband's every move. I felt something was wrong when I found out my husband had gone out to answer a phone call. So Li Menjiao moved her body closer to Lin Xuan, stretched out her slender jade hand, gently held Lin Xuan's big hand, lowered her voice, and asked softly, "Honey, what happened?" Lin Xuan turned to look at his wife and replied softly, "Something happened at the company. We will go back for an emergency meeting later." When Li Menjiao heard this, she thought it must be something very important, which was why her husband suddenly went to the company to organize a meeting. She quickly turned her gaze towards her daughter, who was eating with gusto, and said to her in a gentle tone, "Zyrakin, let's go back and eat slowly, okay?" Lin Shikin, who was eating happily, heard her mother's words, raised her head, blinked her big watery eyes, and said with a puzzled and reluctant look on her face, Why? I'm full and I want to look at the sea and the moon here." Li Menjiao coaxed her daughter patiently. "Your dad has some things to deal with when he returns home. We have to support him. And as long as you are obedient, Mom and Dad will definitely bring you here to have fun next time, okay?" Although Lin Shikin was still somewhat reluctant, she nodded sensibly when she saw her mother's gentle and firm eyes and responded, "Well, it's okay then." After getting her daughter's consent, Li Menjiao gave Lin Xuan a look. Then Lin Xuan stood up and went to the cockpit, started the yacht, and quickly drove back. An hour later, in the spacious and bright room of the high-rise conference center of Xuanmeng Building, Lin Xuan sat upright on the chair in the center of the conference room. His expression was extremely serious, and his eyes were fixed on the other company executives sitting on both sides. "What's the latest situation now?" Executive Director Zhang Hian, who was sitting on Lin Xuan's left, slowly spoke. "Yunsheng Group has officially issued a notice, stating that it will terminate the chip supply contract we signed previously. Moreover, they did not comply with the contract and only delivered the orders for this week and paid a certain amount of liquidated damages." "Why is it so sudden?" Lin Xuan couldn't help but frown and asked. General Manager Liu Wend, who was sitting on Lin Xuan's right, took over the conversation and replied, "Director Lin, I guess it has something to do with Country M." "Are you talking about that, Mark?" Lin Xuan said. "Yes, according to feedback from our team, when they were communicating with relevant personnel from Yunsheng Group, the other party inadvertently revealed some important information," Liu Wen said. "Reveal what?" Lin Xuan asked. "Mr. Lin, according to the intelligence we have received, the M government seems to be preparing to impose comprehensive sanctions on us. And this time they are not just talking casually. It seems they are serious about it," Liu Wen said. "Didn't they say before that Country M holds a very small stake in Yunsheng Group? Why should they listen to Country M?" An executive asked at this time. "Although most of Yunsheng Group's shares are controlled by themselves, but the key machines and equipment they use to make chips are produced and supplied by Country M, so this time I'm afraid," Zhang Hian said solemnly. "Is it still impossible to get through to Mr. He?" Zhang Zesheng asked. "I can't get through, it's always been turned off," Lin Xuan said. After saying that, he slowly put down the phone in his hand, then supported his chin weakly with both hands and closed his eyes. At this moment, Xuanmeng Dream mobile phone sales are booming. Such a sudden change at this critical juncture will undoubtedly cause extremely serious losses to Xuanmeng Group. For a moment, the entire conference room fell into a suffocating silence, as if even the air had frozen. After a few minutes, Lin Xuan spoke. "No matter what, we must first ensure that the Xuanmeng mobile phone can be delivered on time. Everyone, return to your respective posts and perform your duties. Make sure to complete this task." After a brief pause, he continued, "I'll think of a way to deal with the rest. Let's adjourn the meeting." Everyone left with sad faces. Yesterday, everyone was feeling extremely proud of the hot sales of the newly launched Xuanmeng mobile phone, but now everyone is in low spirits. When Zhang Zesheng was leaving, he couldn't help but turn around and look at Lin Xuan, who was still sitting in the meeting room with heartache. He sighed and left as well. Lin Xuan was the only one left in the huge conference room. It was quiet all around, seeming particularly empty and deserted. If there is a problem with other parts of the phone, you may be able to find a replacement. But there was a problem with the core chip, and Lin Xuan had no way to deal with it. When he thought of this, he felt a sudden headache. If there is no other way, it means that all the hard work and efforts the company has put in over the past 2 years will be in vain and wasted. Xuanmeng Dream 1 mobile phone will also become a laughing stock. At this moment, Lin Xuan's phone rang. He took a look, then leaned weakly against the back of the chair, reached out his hand, pressed the answer button, and put the phone to his ear. Hello, wife. Honey, have you finished your work at the company? When will you be home? Li Menjiao's soft and sweet voice came from the other end of the phone. Not yet. I might not be back until later. Lin Xuan tried his best to make his tone sound relaxed, not wanting to bring his work troubles to his wife. Okay then, don't do it too late, husband, Li Menjiao said with concern. Well, don't worry, dear. Lin Xuan responded, and then hung up the phone gently. He slowly put down his phone, took a deep breath, stood up and returned to his chairman's office. Chapter 462, My children and I will support you behind the scenes. Lin Xuan walked to the huge desk and sat down, supporting his head with both hands, frowning, and fell into deep thought. But after thinking for a while, I still couldn't find a solution. As time passed, Lin Xuan felt the pressure on his shoulders becoming heavier and heavier, almost crushing him. At this moment, the clock has quietly pointed to 12 o'clock, and it is already late at night. Lin Xuan stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window in the office. He quietly looked down at the bustling night view of Jinghai City below him. The streets that were once bustling with people and traffic had now become deserted, with few pedestrians in sight. Occasionally, you can see a few young men and women walking together. Most of the windows of the surrounding tall buildings were already dark, with only a few still flickering with faint lights. Lin Xuan decided to go down and take a walk. He came downstairs and walked slowly along the river bank. The path under his feet was winding, and the flowers, plants, and trees on the side of the road appeared dim in the moonlight. There was no one here at this moment, and it was very quiet all around, as if he was the only one left in the world. Lin Xuan walked silently, thinking about the things that were bothering him. Suddenly, he found a bench not far ahead, facing the Xuanmeng building. Lin Xuan walked forward involuntarily, then slowly sat down. He looked into the distance, where it was pitch black, with only one of the offices in Xuanmeng building still having lights on. He knew that was his office. The breeze gently blew across Lin Xuan's face, bringing a cool feeling. However, Lin Xuan did not feel relaxed or happy at all. From heaven to hell, for the first time, he felt an unprecedented sense of powerlessness. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Xuan suddenly heard a burst of hurried footsteps. Who comes here so late? Lin Xuan looked in the direction of the voice and saw a beautiful woman appear in his sight. Her hair was a little messy, and she was wearing a simple white t-shirt and a pair of slim jeans. She looked fresh and charming. The woman was in a hurry, rushing towards this side. Wife, Lin Xuan stood up suddenly. He widened his eyes and looked in disbelief at the figure running towards him. Hubby, why are you here? Li Menjiao said while running and panting. Finally, she came to Lin Xuan and threw herself into his arms without hesitation. Lin Xuan also opened his arms and caught Li Menjiao steadily. Feeling the warmth of the beauty in his arms, his heart instantly calmed down. Wife, why are you here? When Lin Xuan looked down and saw Li Menjiao's slightly red eyes, he couldn't help feeling guilty. Li Menjiao raised her head, her eyes full of worry and concern. I want to ask you, husband, what happened? You didn't come home so late and didn't answer the phone. I'm really worried. As she spoke, tears began to well up in her eyes. Phone, Lin Xuan hurriedly touched his pocket. Only then did I realize that I forgot to take my phone when I came down from the office just now. Honey, I'm sorry, I left my phone in the office. Lin Xuan gently stroked Li Menjiao's fair face, his tone full of self-blame and guilt. I thought something happened to you. Li Menjiao held Lin Xuan's back tightly with her small hands. I'm sorry, honey, it's my fault. Lin Xuan also lowered his head and gently rubbed Li Menjiao with his cheek. The two of them hugged each other tightly like this. After an unknown amount of time, Li Menjiao slowly raised her head again, her beautiful eyes staring straight at Lin Xuan, and asked softly, Husband, what happened? Why didn't you come home so late? You are sitting here by the river alone. Lin Xuan met Li Menjiao's gaze and saw that her eyes were bright and lively, as if they had been kissed by an angel. Those eyes were like a clear lake or the deep night sky, hiding endless tenderness and affection. Such pure and beautiful eyes made it impossible for Lin Xuan to lie to her. He sighed slightly, then mustered up the courage to speak. Wife, our Xuanmeng mobile phone may be discontinued. Afterwards, Lin Xuan held Li Menjiao in his arms and sat on a bench by the river, telling her everything that had happened tonight. Li Menjiao was very shocked at first, but then gradually returned to her previous gentle expression. Wife, this is what happened. Country M has cut off our chips, and we won't be able to continue producing the Xuanmeng Dream 1 mobile phone starting next week. Lin Xuan said to Li Menjiao with a worried look on his face. So, husband, you will stay here alone to find a solution, Li Menjiao said softly. Yeah, Lin Xuan nodded. After hearing this, Li Menjiao put her long and straight legs on Lin Xuan's thighs, and then hung her whole body on him. Her delicate little face also moved close to Lin Xuan, gently rubbing his cheek back and forth. Hubby, you've been great. No matter what happens, the kids and I will always be there to support you. As Li Menjiao spoke, the warm breath she exhaled gently brushed across Lin Xuan's face, as if a spring breeze blew away the haze in his heart. Yes, I have a beloved wife and lovely children. What if Xuan Meng mobile phone cannot be sold normally for the time being? Now is not the time to despair. Thinking of this, Lin Xuan's originally tense nerves gradually relaxed, and the corners of his mouth unconsciously rose, outlining a faint smile. He gazed at Li Menjiao in his arms affectionately, and then gently kissed her smooth jade-like forehead. Thank you, honey. You're welcome, Tilda. Li Menjiao smiled. By the way, wife, how did you know I was here? Lin Xuan asked. This idiot. Li Menjiao pointed at the black diamond watch on Lin Xuan's hand with her little finger. Both of their watches have always had real-time positioning functions. Then she continued to poke Lin Xuan's belly with her little hand and asked, Husband, it's so late, are you hungry? As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a clearly audible stomach growl. Lin Xuan was stunned at first, then burst into laughter. Honey, are you hungry? When Li Menjiao heard this, her cheeks instantly flushed with shyness. Then Lin Xuan stood up, turned around and squatted with his back to Li Menjiao. Honey, where are we going? Li Menjiao asked happily. Take my smart wife out for a midnight snack, Lin Xuan said gently. Li Menjiao jumped up with joy and landed steadily on Lin Xuan's broad and warm back, with her arms tightly around his neck. The two of them stayed together and slowly left the quiet riverside. The dim light from the street lamps perfectly illuminated the two of them snuggling together, making it look particularly warm and romantic. Honey, I want to eat barbecue Tilda. Chapter 463, System Reappearance. Lin Xuan carried Li Menjiao to a nearby late-night barbecue stall. Honey, you can put me down now, Li Menjiao said softly. Lin Xuan, however, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, showing a sly smile and responded, No, just go and order food like this. After saying that, he not only did not stop, but instead quickened his pace and walked straight towards the barbecue stall. No, this will be embarrassing. Li Menjiao cried out softly in anxiety and began to twist her body gently and struggle. Lin Xuan didn't listen and still carried her forward towards the barbecue stall. Seeing this, Li Menjiao felt embarrassed and annoyed. She couldn't help but open her little mouth and bite Lin Xuan's shoulder. Only then did Lin Xuan let go of Li Menjiao and touch the place where he had just been bitten. After landing, Li Menjiao glared at Lin Xuan angrily, pouted her lips and muttered, Humph, who told you to be disobedient? Now you know it hurts, you deserve it. After saying that, she turned around and walked quickly to the barbecue stall. After standing still, she selected some skewers that she and her husband liked and gave them to the boss. The barbecue stall owner took a look at the ingredients in the basket. In addition to the meat, there are also a lot of kidneys, oysters, and leeks. He raised his head and glanced at Lin Xuan with a look that every man could understand. This kid is so happy, having such a bright and charming girlfriend. The total is 103 yuan. Please find an empty seat and sit down first. The barbecue will be ready soon. Okay, thank you, boss, Li Menjiao said with a smile. Then she pulled Lin Xuan to find an empty seat and sat down. Honey, does it still hurt? Li Menjiao poked Lin Xuan's face and said with a smile on her face. It hurts so much. Lin Xuan deliberately pretended to look aggrieved. Hearing this, Li Menjiao couldn't help but burst out laughing, rolled her eyes at Lin Xuan coquettishly, and said unhappily, Come on, you always look like this every time I bite you, even though I didn't use much force. Then let me bite you and try. Lin Xuan hugged Li Menjiao and said with a smile, No, he's still outside. Li Menjiao quickly pushed Lin Xuan away with both hands, saying coquettishly with a blushing face. Not long after, the fragrant barbecue was finally served on the table. Li Menjiao was as happy as a child. She couldn't wait to pick up a string of golden and crispy chicken legs and started to eat them in small bites. The crispy outside and tender inside, coupled with the rich and mellow taste of spices, instantly fills the entire mouth, making people unable to stop. She ate with gusto, and from time to time playfully passed a bunch of roasted kidneys and a few roasted leeks to Lin Xuan, saying playfully, Hubby, eat more of these, it's good for your health. Wife, what does this mean? Lin Xuan said with a smile. Nothing. Li Menjiao blinked her beautiful eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly, pretending to be innocent. Wife, just wait for me when we get back, Lin Xuan said with a smile. As a result, after returning, Li Menjiao was tortured badly by Lin Xuan. Her face was exhausted, and she lay limply on Lin Xuan's broad and warm chest, feeling his strong heartbeat, and a happy smile involuntarily appeared on the corner of her mouth. Gradually, I fell into a drowsy sleep. Lin Xuan also looked at his wife in his arms lovingly, gently combing her soft hair with his fingers. He carefully adjusted his position so that he could hug Li Menjiao more tightly. Then he gently pressed his lips against her cheek, slowly closed his eyes, and prepared to fall asleep together. Suddenly, a long-lost voice came into my mind. "Master host, are you there?" "It's the system." Lin Xuan suddenly opened his eyes, sat up from the bed in an instant, and shouted loudly. Li Menjiao was startled. She trembled all over and opened her eyes dazedly. She looked at Lin Xuan beside her with a confused look and asked incoherently, "What?" "Nothing, honey. I was just talking in my